Welcome to the first annual SoG Game of the Year Award, hosted by a Slice of Gaming podcast. I am your host, Moonlight150, and call us Slice of Gaming Ultimate because everyone is here for this special occasion to reflect on the past year of gaming of 2023. We're not going to do any funny intros today because everyone's here, so everyone can just introduce themselves. So first up, we're going to bring up Bench,
Hi, happy to be here.
Cyber,
Work here.
Here's a funny intro.
Dark,
Hey, how's it going?
Fusion,
I'm ready for Alan Wake 2 to win.
Benji Bop.
Hey, sorry guys, Moonlight couldn't make it, so oh wait, no, he is here. Hi.
Jat.
2024 is our year, guys. I can feel it.
It is. It's our year. And Wolf was there too.
It's insane how all these lazy ass part timers who do jack shit for the podcast get introduced before me. Bench JC gets introduced first. He does nothing. Oh my God.
If his, he just went down the Discord list. That's
Yeah, I
what
just went down the
out of
Discord
order.
list.
Yeah, maybe have like a nickname that starts with an A.
Oh, I didn't realize it.
Yeah,
though.
that's
It's
my name.
alphabetical.
This is insane. My real name starts with an A. This is great.
We got to implement that somehow. Anyway, so we have a special podcast episode for you today. It's our Game of the Year discussion. So what we did was all 8 of us here submitted on a form of various topics such as best narrative, best characters, and whatnot. And we're all going to submit our nominations, and then we're going to have a nice discussion, hopefully a nice argument as well thrown in there, courtesy of Wolf.
What the fuck is this? Oh, wait, did you tell us what platforms?
Oh no, you have the list, so why don't you do that real
YouTube,
quick?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, which is just dead now, so it's not even a rest in peace. That shit's just gone.
Oh, is it gone
and
now?
Audible.
Finally, it
Yeah, I
died
think
over the
it's gone.
Christmas
It
break.
ended up, yeah, it's like an end of the year thing. And then Audible, like the podcast, follow us on Twitter at A Slice of Gaming, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm running the. I couldn't pull up that list. Yeah, because
got
for
me.
our audio only listeners, unfortunately, there is a visual aspect to this episode. We have a nice little slideshow showing off all of our nominees as well as our top 12. So, along with the topic discussions that we'll be having, we also all listed off our top 12 games of the year. Each one got assigned a point in a ranked choice voting platform. So, like, first place got 12 points, second got 11, all the way down to 12, which only got 1 point. I added up all those together, and I'm going to present them to everyone here tonight. I'm the only one who knows all the answers, so it'll be fun to show everyone how they all played out. I'm sure everyone's got a guess of what games will probably be near the top, but we'll get there when we get there. So let's just get this started. I do want to give a quick warning to anyone listening to this. There will probably be some minor spoiler talk for some certain games based on the nominees that have been listed, and probably we'll need to talk about some minor spoilers
put
if we
a
talk about them.
marker.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll try to avoid
beforehand.
major spoilers, but they'll probably be minor ones. Just some games that I already know will probably get mentioned, spoiler talk-wise, so I'll just list them off now in case you're worried. Alan Wake 2, Final Fantasy 16, Fire Emblem Engage, Hi-Fi Rush, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Spider-Man 2, just like all the big name games pretty much are all going to get probably talked about here. And I think that is it for the intro, so let's just get on started. Actually, we're going to start with a nice light topic today. So it's actually not gaming related, it's actually the podcast related. So everyone submitted what their favorite moment in these first 6 months of A Slice of Gaming podcast. And I've got to say, none of you understood the assignment.
That's what's wrong with these little kids. You know, you give them a little.
We might have to
simple
cut
prompt,
this for
and they
next year.
can't read.
So I'm just gonna, before I show the slide, I'm just gonna read them off because it's funnier that way. So first up, this one should be disqualified. It is Wolf showing up late every episode.
This is bullshit. What the fuck is that about?
You know,
what the hell?
It should be disqualified for 2 different reasons. One, it's not a moment. 2, that's not even recorded in the podcast, so it's not a Slice of Gaming.
Fusion's later. I want to point that out. Fusion is always later.
Why am I getting slandered?
You're so late, you don't even appear on
Ricochet.
podcasts.
This is crazy.
All right, and the second submission is a little bit better. It is our story versus gameplay episode, or the discussion we had
literal
in that episode.
morons. I want to point this out. I'm still mad.
He's still
Little
mad.
kids playing a video game on story mode, looking at the story without actually looking at the. Do you play a game? I hate these people.
Story for the win.
Again, little kid. He's the youngest one. I want to point that out. Bob, tell him about how much more you like gameplay.
It's good.
He's staying out of this. All right. So our next submission for this was me ranting about factions for an extended period of time, proceeding to peak my audio. I wonder who that was.
Yeah, listen. Okay, listen. All right. I was a little heated that episode. I want to apologize
little?
for anyone who watched that episode with headphones on. Listen, okay. I'm starting to realize the pattern here.
Well, it's
That
also
must
a
have
little
been-
narcissistic to vote for yourself. I mean, I'll just say it.
Yeah.
All right.
These guys barely show up on episodes. Like every day, like Fusion or Bench is like, I can't make it. I'm busy doing like life stuff. It's crazy. Dark is the real one. He's always there.
All right. The next is, oh, gee, I wonder who this is from. Hey, this is Jat. All moments of Slice of Gaming are great, but I really found all the rants from Wolf very funny.
You know, that's
I
about
feel
it.
so loved. I feel so loved.
It's good content, you know. It just adds to it, and the podcast is not the same without you, man.
Yeah, I wonder
Funny.
if there's like a theme with all these moments here. They're all centered around Wolf.
How many fucking rants do I go on? Goddamn.
was the
Next, we
highlight of this
also
year.
have the GTA 6 announcement and everyone going nuts over it.
No, I'm everyone, by the way. I want to point that
Yeah,
out.
it was just him.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
I know. I like. Did we really?
No, because that
Wait,
podcast was stupid. Because I was like, "Hey guys, what did you think?" You're like, you were like fucking
His mic
blowing your
already.
drinks and spitting
Speaking
and
of him
all this
peaking his audio.
blubber. Literal children. I want to point that out. All right, continue.
All right. Next, we have the world premiere incident. Another Wolf moment there.
I'm still pissed about that. I want to point
Wait.
that out.
I
forgot
forget this
about
one.
that.
I literally so you weren't on this one. I said, all right, guys, just to like shout out world premiere. What if
Because
we do one
Jeff
last
Keighley,
world
this was
premiere?
when Jeff Keighley announced that he was retiring. the
Oh,
world
that's
premiere.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that
and I
was
like-
funny.
I
They
was
made
like,
it a short
okay,
too. I
guys,
liked it so
one
much. I
last-
made it a short.
One last world premiere. 3, 2, 1. World. No one else did it.
Yep.
And Fusion was like, I thought we were doing it this way.
I
I gotta
you
talk to
didn't
Fusion more.
explain it well.
I didn't explain it well. I think it was simple.
All right.
Terrible podcast.
Last couple. Once again, not a moment, but the entirety of the Final Fantasy 16 spoiler cast.
Me versus the world.
I thought it was really funny.
Also known as Bench versus the World.
But no,
And
Bob
then-
was also fighting. He was like, man, I love
Yeah,
this game.
that's why I submitted this, because I thought it was like the most like well-rounded discussion between like someone who loved the game, someone who hated the game, and then two people kind of like going back and forth in the middle.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, that was.
I was gonna say if I didn't remember the world premiere part, my other favorite moment probably would have been you guys in the Starfield meal prep thinking you spotted an alien in the background and
Oh my God,
getting
yeah.
freaked out.
What was it that we?
Wait, Yeah, wait.
forgot.
So we thought it was an alien, and what happened?
I don't know. You'd all just go like, let's move
seemed
on.
like
I'm
an
getting
alien or
getting
something.
freaked out.
I forget what it actually was.
Many aliens were in
remember
Starfield.
You cut.
Let's move on.
Yeah, and the last submission for this is should remakes be considered for Game of the Year discussion?
That was a really good discussion.
That was a good
actually.
one. Yeah, that was a good episode.
I
You're
do-
wrong. I guess we should
Oh,
say
okay.
we did consider remakes for Game of the Year, huh?
We had a discussion about it. I do want to shout out one other discussion, and that was our big live service discussion that we had with Beef Hammer. That was a really high quality discussion. I think we all kind of showed our
Yep.
strengths in understanding our points of the industry. Bench randomly pulling out MMO knowledge, with respect to that. So
He's a legend.
Yeah,
you know?
I give shit to Bench. The man knows his stuff. I respect it.
I
All right,
respect
so we've
you.
finally moved on to the slideshow. Now everyone
Okay,
can
better.
see that I pulled them all up here. I wish I could have gone like the extra mile and pulled clips or something, but that would have been way too much.
You don't gotta.
All right. So moving on to our first real category that everyone put out nominations for. So best narrative. We had 4 votes for Alan Wake 2, 1 vote for Diablo 4, 1 vote for Final Fantasy 16, and
What the
1 vote
fuck
for
put
the,
Zelda?
the Legend of Zelda Tears of the
Speak up.
Kingdom.
It's
All right,
Zelda
now
fan.
fight.
Speak up. Speak up. Who's the Zelda fan?
It had to have been dark.
It's
it had,
not.
No, it was
It's Bob.
It was
It's
Bob.
Bob. It's Bob.
It's Bob. It's fucking Bob.
Wait, was it me?
I bet you it was Bob. There's no way it was.
I thought I honestly thought I put Star Ocean down.
Oh gosh.
No, yeah, because their names are real
Hold
similar.
on, I got all
Cyber,
the-
Was it you?
I got.
I mean,
all
if
of
it
them right
was
here.
me, then I totally messed up because I was supposed to be Star
Yeah,
Ocean.
I put
Yeah. Oh, yep.
Diablo.
Here it is. Yeah. Final Fantasy 16 spoiler cast. Yeah. Best narrative. Legend of
Wait.
Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't know why I put that. I'm gonna be honest.
Dark. You put Diablo 4. Actually, I want to know what was so good about the Diablo 4 one.
So if with Diablo 4, I really got into the story. Like once you learn all the terms of everything of Diablo, the story is actually really freaking good. I was like, okay, wait a minute, they're actually cooking with this. Everything else about the game sucked post launch. The story was fucking lit.
I like
That's
the
probably
story.
a hot take, but I was really invested in that story. I was like, that shit is fucking hidden.
And to Dark's defense, like he didn't get to Alan Wake 2 or like Final Fantasy 16. So like,
Oh no, I'm not like accusing him. I was just
yeah, I was
curious.
because I think the Diablo
I-
4 story is pretty cool too.
Even if
Like,
I would have been
enjoyed
able
it.
to play Final Fantasy 16, I wouldn't have picked. I wasn't that
I
high on
respect.
16.
Yeah, I
Okay,
wonder
for-
who chose Final Fantasy 16, by the way.
Yep. I will say, Alan Wake will probably win this because there's no way it's not. I did not get
Yes,
to Alan
perfect.
Wake 2. However, I did play a lot of Remedy games, all of them up until Alan Wake 2. But yeah, I chose Final Fantasy 16. I just thought the themes, the characters, and the world were all just really good strengths to the game, and it constantly kept me entertained in like the 70 hours I played the game. So I enjoyed it.
I just think I just want to talk real quick about Zelda. That story fucking sucks. I'm sorry. I just have to say it like outright. It is a bad story. Like which is fine. I don't go into Zelda games for story. It's still a 10 out of 10 game to me. But that story
Wait.
is awful. It is just not
think
an interesting story.
Zelda or
it's
Final
not.
Fantasy?
Zelda.
No.
Okay, he was talking about Final Fantasy. That's why I'm confused here.
Oh no. I was saying Zelda had a dog shit story.
I think
Which is fine.
Zelda's
I don't
story
say Zelda
was
games have a story.
okay. I think the main issue the story has was that it was fragmented. Like you can watch the last part of the story without
it's-
seeing anything else by pure mistake. I'm like,
That's
it
really
should have at least made it in order,
it's so
regardless
silly
of how you
because
found the pieces.
yeah, exactly, because you collect the tiers and it gives you the cutscenes. And the issue that everyone had with how Breath of the Wild story is yeah, it's weird that we're kind of getting this story segmented and then they just did it again. And like it's even worse now because there's actually cool moments. Every time Ganondorf's on screen, I'm like, this story is hype. But the problem is he's not even on screen enough for me to really say that. I wasn't really interested in any of the characters, and there also every time you beat a dungeon, it was the same cutscene where it's like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm a divine guardian. You know how it should be." It's like
And then we
that's
got our
it.
ass
It's the
beat
same
by
exact
Ganon.
cutscene.
Okay,
So silly.
I'll defend it. I don't. It's not the best story. Like it's not best narrative, or probably even like my top 4 or 5 of the year. But I think it had some really good moments. There were a lot of just different, like some of my several of my favorite like Zelda franchise moments are from Tears of the Kingdom. But the story definitely isn't just where the game shined.
Yeah, and I'll give you that. Like definitely moments. There were some really high quality moments. It's just when we're talking about a pure story based experience, like the actual story, I just think it is extremely weak.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but
also ironic though that we're gonna say that Zelda's story is very fragmented, and yet Alan Wake 2's story is very fragmented. I'm just putting it out there.
yeah,
I
well,
think
well,
That
Yeah,
is
sorry,
kind
go
of
ahead, Jet.
Oh no, I was gonna say like I do kind of agree with that because it will confuse you, especially if like you're switching back and forth between Saga and Alan, and then it's like that's there's some parts that are like hard to keep track of, and then there's also manuscripts which it's like a whole other plot of its own that you're following.
Yeah, well, just before we talk about Alan Wake, I guess just going back to Zelda real quick, I will say that you're talking about narrative moments and some strong moments. That's just how Zelda has always been, really. Because like if you played any Zelda game before this, like they usually are very methodic in the way that they tell a story, and then you have these strong moments that stick with you. So I agree with Bench when he says like maybe not the best narrative, but like the things that are there are pretty cool.
I'll
yeah, and I mean,
also
if we're talking about best moment, then there's an argument, I would say. But it really just comes down to like the moments versus the actual like narrative story. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, like, as someone who did, I guess, win the tier lottery and got them in an order that didn't spoil anything, but left like just the right amount of confusion and like solving the mystery and then getting the moments kind of in the correct order. Like, I did kind of pop for those things because I did think it was like a very interesting way that it was telling the story, and I really enjoyed that. Even if it's still very surface level, I still thought like the the highs were really high and there weren't really any lows because I thought it was all at least somewhat interesting. Like rather than like, no offense, Final Fantasy 16, which I also really liked and also had really high highs. I think there are also lower lows on that one, and that's why I didn't want to vote for that one as much.
So purely and honestly, like I think we can all agree, Alan Wake 2 wins the category. Like I feel like we haven't
Yeah.
talked about it enough,
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
what
easily.
that narrative does, no other game is really going for a story like that. I have issues with Alan Wake 2, the narrative is the last thing I have issues with because my God, the way that they tell that story, integrating the live action while also being willing to get as weird as they do and really delve into the idea of the mind of a writer, very fascinating stuff. I was a
Yeah.
huge fan of it.
Yeah, and not only that, but also the amount of foreshadowing they have on that game, and the amount of times that they tell you literally everything that's gonna happen in the game from the beginning of the game in like little cycles, whatever. I don't want to get into a big spoiler here. We talked about that before, but the theme the theme is throughout the game, and like Wolf said, like it's just masterfully written to tell you this one loop or this one cycle, this one narrative throughout the entire thing, and it's very present as you're playing it. I really enjoy that.
So okay,
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2 wins. I do.
Do we want to
Sorry,
do
Min,
like top
you were
three, or we just want to declare a winner?
Oh no, we have a top three. I got it
Okay.
all set up. Real quick, Dark, I gotta point the finger at you. Baldur's Gate 3? You didn't have that over Diablo 4?
So Baldur's Gate 3's narrative was kind of like we talked about just the pure story. I think it was
pretty basic.
okay, but the highlight of the story of Baldur's Gate 3 was the individual character stories. If it was like if
I
we
feel
go
like
in
that
like
counts with narrative though.
nah, I consider the main story narrative like narrative, and then you got character stories. Like if it were if we were counting it like that, I would put Baldur's Gate 3 solely for Krolak's story. I thought it was that well written, but
Same.
just the base story about the squids and the aliens, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't really care about any of
Listen.
this.
It's a
Okay,
Wait,
demon
there's
yeah.
squids and
this is
aliens in
kind
Baldur's Gate 3?
Okay, you lost me there because I thought the fucking story was sick as hell. I'm a sucker for basic storylines that are willing to go crazy, and I think that's kind of what it did, where you don't really know who those main villains are until the end of Act 2, and then you meet them, and it leads to just this crazy ass like I don't know what you call convergence of all the plot lines and everything in Act 3 that overall hit for me. And I
I
don't know. To me, I think
I mean,
Baldur's Gate 3 needs to be
if
top
you
I
want to dive
actually
into it,
found I actually found that a lot of the main villains weren't just that appealing to me, and I think that was a big
that's
part on
crazy.
why towards the end of the game that I just wasn't as interested as I was when the mystery was still there.
I mean,
I
the
like the
Emperor.
first of the three villains.
That's the best for sure.
Yeah,
but
he was the
still,
best villain.
The other two I did not care about. I'm like, I'm gonna kill both of you regardless. I was just bullshit
I
until I got to that.
I just think I just really love the idea of like what they kind of symbolize for that part of the game. It's like what their viewpoints on how Baldur's Gate and the world should be run. You know, anarchy versus tyrannical nature, like all these like
Yeah.
different political ideologies and how they view the world needs to be run. And you could say, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. And I love that. I'm a sucker for stories that allow you to really branch out and do crazy shit. And to me, I don't know. I just think that's easily puts in top three. Personally, to me, I know you don't. I think character storylines are eligible because, like, what is that? What else is that eligible in? Like, I feel like that is part of a narrative.
No, yeah, I'd say it's a narrative, but also
I put it under
there
about
were
the
only a
character.
handful of characters that I liked, and I'm definitely the lowest here on Baldur's Gate 3. And it's still a great game. It's just the story fell apart for me at least in the last act.
But the thing
Man,
with the
that's crazy
characters,
because
right? You
I
can
don't think
beat
the story got good until the last act.
like if you really think about it, right? The thing with the character stories, you can beat Baldur's Gate 3 by yourself with no party.
Yeah.
Why would you
You
do
can
that?
say that
I don't
about
know.
every other game. Well,
No,
no,
but the
you can
thing
say
is,
that about every other game.
yeah, but that's the reason why I didn't include them because they're not like you can miss out
but
on these stories.
no, but that's a main narrative versus a side narrative, which is still part of the narrative. Like that's saying, like that's
I guess.
any RPG. Any RPG, you can just not recruit the other characters, and so those characters are not part of the main narrative at all. Would you still count? Eh, It's
And
part of the
Dark,
choice of an RPG.
well, and Dark, I
That you
think
can go ahead.
not being able to have any party members is also like one of the game's strengths because it plans for that. Like I'll give that to
Yeah,
Baldur's Gate 3. It plans for pretty much every possible outcome in its story, and that's just an impressive feat.
Oh
Who
yeah.
does not want to praise this game. He's so
I'm-
like
I'm call-
apprehensive on praising it.
I literally just called it an impressive feat.
Yeah, it kind of
What a
sounds like you guys are
normie.
talking yourselves into Baldur's Gate 3 being
I was about to
nominated.
say, should I just throw Baldur's Gate
It's a
3
tough-
into here?
Yeah.
To me, I think it should be
Diablo
top.
vote.
Personally, I just think it should be top 3. That I feel like I've put more than enough reasons to allow it to the top 3 at the very least. I'm fine if it's number 3. I just want it in the top.
Since we should probably disqualify Bob's Legend of Zelda entry.
Yeah, let's get Zelda out of here.
What would you put, Bob, if you could change it?
Oh, Star Ocean.
Oh, Star Ocean. Okay.
Well, okay,
All right.
let's think about this. So what's number 2? I feel like
Final
to me,
Fantasy.
I feel like Baldur's Gate 3 needs to be on this
We just want to
list.
throw. I'm gonna
fine
We
with
sticky
didn't
note
vote
Baldur's
for
Gate
it
3 on
though.
the
Like
side.
I don't know. Like
Yes,
I don't know
I
who
don't
can
know.
say that.
Because we can only have one vote.
Yeah, you
Bob.
can only have one.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's more chaotic if it doesn't make the list.
That is unfair. That is so
I'd
unfair.
be
Because
fine with it making the list. Because it seems like Dark would have voted for it had he looked at it with Wolf's lens.
But
Yeah, I
also,
feel
I
like-
mean, everyone who voted for Alan Wake 2 could have been like, I don't know, Alan Wake 2 will get some votes. I'll vote for Baldur's Gate. Like, I don't know.
Really weird. No, I'm not gonna pull some political BS.
I respect.
I mean, you are though. You're putting something that no one voted for on the list.
I
I
put
res-
Alan Wake 2. What are you talking about?
I
My
know,
th-
and you're
okay.
trying to put Baldur's Gate 3 on the list.
Yes,
No,
no,
I
that's not-
see. Hold on, I see what you're
go
both
ahead.
saying. My thing is, if we're truly going to do a top 3 every time, it's going to be really hard because you're going to have situations like this where you have 3 of you guys arguing for like 2nd or 3rd place when only 3 of you have played Baldur's Gate, while the rest of us haven't. So we have no input on the narrative of Baldur's Gate.
Also, just a
Fusion,
heads
it's
up,
really good.
a
I mean,
lot of these
it's Divinity
slides-
Original Sin.
and just let you know, a lot of these slides are like 4, like very rare. Like a lot of people went onto one thing, and then there was like some stragglers of one other vote. It's gonna look a lot like this right now, where we see all votes on one thing, and then just ones on other. So it's a lot of 4. So the fact we're doing top 3 just means we just don't consider 1, which is kind of off.
Do we want to just make it one then? Like, because Bob's
I think-
getting mad at me.
No, I think personally it will flow better if we're just like, let's do
What if we
one.
just
We
do a
can talk
runner-up?
about we can talk about a runner-up or something. But I do think the runner-up should be on our list. Like whatever the 4 show up on the thing, I think it probably should be up there because those
think
are the
the
games we're
runner-up-
actively talking about.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea that like we all brought up these games and then we bring up like someone's 2nd place vote. It's like, well, you didn't vote for it, so like,
No, that's so silly though. Because I am saying I'm not gonna say, you know what? No, actually, everyone's gonna vote for Alan Wake 2, so I'm gonna actually vote for Baldur'sAte 3. That is such a silly way of viewing it. I'm gonna
Wait,
go
but-
with what I want to vote for.
That's
but
a different
you're
vote.
also like discounting like Diablo 4 or Final Fantasy 16, which are
I'm not.
people's votes. But you're trying to put Baldur's Gate 3 up there when it wasn't
That
like.
is-
Like, what's the point of voting if we're just going to put games that no one voted for on there? That's all I'm kind of.
Yeah. I'm starting to think now next year we're gonna do like
think the
ranked choice
voting-
of every category. You could put like 3 entries.
Let's just
do-
have one because Bob's getting mad at me, and I don't
I
like.
mean,
when he's
one is fine. I think one.
I think
Yeah,
one
let's
is fine,
just
too.
let's stick with 1. All right.
Let's just
So we're
because
all
it's gonna-
agreeing
it's
on
gonna
Alan Wake 2.
It's gonna
Yeah.
flow better. You'll have less. We're gonna have. We need less moments of, hey, only 2 or 3 people are talking about this one game for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that too.
When we want a whole conversation with everyone here, and it's gonna be very hard if we're arguing about the 3rd narrative or the 3rd best art direction. It's gonna be hard.
Alan Wake wins.
All right, so Alan
What's
Wake
Final
2 wins
Fantasy
then.
16 doing up there? Hang on, I gotta like start some shit real quick. That narrative sucked. Let's be honest with ourselves here. We
Love
had
Final
some
Fantasy
cool
16
moments.
narrative.
That narrative is so silly.
What
Where
narrative?
you just had the weirdest shit going on in the middle for you, and then it's like, you know what? Actually, the Bahamut is here. And it's like, what's Bahamut?
I
Like it feels
disagree.
like they were adding stuff for the sake of adding stuff. That narrative.
No,
is
I
terrible.
couldn't disagree more.
Oh yeah,
I-
let's fight.
I mean, I
Final
disagree.
Final
I
Fantasy?
disagree, but I think it's more of just like there's good moments, but I think there's also moments where it shoots itself in the foot. Not necessarily that it's all bad, but like I think they kind of got away from the narrative that they were
Like-
building to at a point, and that's my issue with it.
I'm
That
also
confrontation with mom was so stupid.
bro.
Oh
No,
my
it
god,
wasn't.
Clive was like the most dumbass protagonist too. Joshua, Joshua, Joshua. What the fuck was that? All right, let's move on. This is sick.
Bro,
All right.
this is painful.
Just
wanna
Alan Wake
say
just
that
leave
Wolf is
Bench
right.
versus the world again.
Let's go, Alan.
No,
Wake
it's just
2.
Wolf just starting shit for no reason.
I'm
That's
not
what I was
starting
hoping
shit.
for.
I'm just saying my personal opinion on a game. I think it's all fair.
All
I could be
right.
wrong. Wake 2.
So now we're moving on to best moment in a game. These are the moments that just make us go, man, I love video games. So right now we have. I'm just gonna move the slide over so I can
Please tell me my moment
accurately.
is up there.
So we have 4
Oh,
votes for the Herald of Darkness from Alan Wake 2, 2 votes for the Bahamut fight from Final Fantasy 16, 1 vote for playing as Venom in Spider-Man 2, and You Are the Fire Emblem from Fire Emblem Engage.
Okay, real quick.
We're
I
gonna
know
have to talk
Bench
about it.
voted for. I know Bench voted for Bahamut. Who the fuck else voted for that? The cutscene.
Me,
The
because it
glorified
was a
cutscene.
really cool moment.
It was a glorified cutscene. You were watching a movie. You got some popcorn. You were like watching a movie. It's like, wow, okay, this is a really good movie. It's not a video game.
No.
It's
Hey,
a video game.
it was even
No.
at 24 FPS too. So
It was 24 FPS.
Was it really?
Dude, I was like
It was
watching that. I'm like,
crashing PS5s. I remember that.
the
fight was-
PS5 was
Y'all
so
were
crazy.
hating.
sick.
It's
Like-
crazy how a fight that was literally a cutscene, and we're all like, "Bravo, man, bravo!"
This
so
isn't
Because
best
it was
fight.
really fucking cool. What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
because it was
it's
a
a- this-
cutscene. It's a
this is
boss
a-
fight. If you're a
Wolf,
boss fight,
Fundamentally,
you're a
this is
boss fight-
best moment. Sure,
Yeah,
you
we're
think
not
it's a
talking about best
cutscene?
fight.
We're talking about
No, no.
best moment. We think it's a good
'cause I know-
fight. You
no,
don't
no.
have to. But
Bench,
fundamentally,
Bench. I know for a fact you voted for it in best boss fight too. That's
I
the
don't
thing.
think I did.
Yeah,
No,
I didn't
I
either.
did.
Because it's not the best boss fight, but it is the
You know
best moment.
All right, fair.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't vote like double down on it, then okay.
No,
I,
I-
yeah, I remember what I voted for. It wasn't that. But like,
I really am just
You don't-
starting shit.
you really are starting shit.
Yeah,
and
this
you're like,
is bullshit, dude.
Love you guys.
So to reset here and actually give it its flowers for a second before we move on, I do think like the whole like it was built like that whole moment was built because before the fight even starts, like Clive and Joshua and I'm forgetting her name now in the moment.
Annabella.
No, the
Jill.
yes, Jill running into his mom and
Oh,
like
man.
they're like the new like son and all of the family conflicts and like airing that all out in real time. That are honestly this is also the moment that Clive or like Ben Starr like
Like,
solidified himself
yeah.
as like an amazing performance because him talking about why his mom couldn't love him and how she was like doing this to like betray the family and then like just all of the weird backwards ass thinking she was doing to try and like set her like bloodline up when she already had like 2 sons who like loved her and wanted to do right by her, and then to like also then bring in Bahamut, who is also Bench, help me out here, what's his name? Dion? Yeah,
Dion.
like bringing in Dion, who has
You need to
also
remember
got
his name.
screwed by Clive's mom, Annabella, because she like is using that new son to usurp the throne, and obviously there were some other things going on. So like all of them kind of being intertwined here, and then you have this just literally a galactic fight that just
Yep.
upped the ante for like 30 straight minutes. I could not believe what I was like watching and playing, and I thought like that this was. Yeah, go ahead.
It's like the first time Clive and Joshua meet after like 13 plus years. Maybe.
Well, yeah. So I guess
Yeah.
that's a good point too. Yeah, because they were kind of like following each other and like this kind of like will they, won't they, which is weird. But and then like them joining in battle together and like
alternating between Phoenix and Ifrit, and then eventually merging and learning that also leads into the story a little bit more. And then you pretty
Exactly.
much just like have a galactic fight in space, and it's just sick as hell. And then at the end, like Annabella can't take the truth about what happened, and you know what happens from there.
So I could not. This was unfortunately like the highest moment for me with this game. I was so ready to give it a 10 out of 10 because of this fight, and it's unfortunate what happens like later in the game when it kind of falls off. But like this fight is like seared into my brain. I just couldn't stop thinking about it when I played it.
Real quick.
I had a friend. 1 second, and
Sorry,
you
go
won't
ahead.
even shit on it. I had like a friend over, and I wanted to show them this fight. So, but the only way to do that, like, not the greatest thing, I had to replay the whole level and that's like an hour and a half. And I did it just to show them this fight. Because when I watched it the first time, I was losing my ever loving mind. Like it was crazy. I was jumping around. It was crazy.
And then your friend saw the fight and was like, "Damn, it's just a glorified cutscene." Listen, okay. All I'll say is that whole confrontation. Fusion agreed with me on the FF16 spoiler cast, by the way. With the mom was the silliest moment in that game because she did all this heinous shit, and they're like, "Okay, mom, let's go." Like, wait, you're not gonna kill her? Like, after all that awful stuff, you're not even gonna put her in prison? You're just gonna say like, it's all chill. Like, that's silly. Come on, guys.
Their character arc throughout the until then was to not look after revenge. They'd gotten over that hatred to a certain point for that moment to happen.
They've gotten over the hatred. She doomed their entire kingdom. You don't just get over that. It's
They were
silly.
still mad, but like not to the point of wanting revenge. That was Clive's entire character arc.
Literally,
first half
the
of the game.
whole point of the game was just to get revenge. And then right at this moment, Fusion, it's the same shit with Last of Us 2. Right at this moment, never mind. I learned. Stupid. I hate
Anyways, I think we all know the winner here. It's
Yeah,
Herald
Herald
of
of
Darkness,
Come on.
baby!
Not even a
Herald of
fucking
like
Yeah.
I don't think this is like top 15, top 20 like video game moments for me. I love Herald of Darkness, and it's just like it was a big enough moment to be at the Game Awards, and that doesn't happen very often. And like it was, it's just amazing. It's just an amazing moment where you just get to it and you just see it. You know what I mean? Like no one
Well, I
expected
will-
it, and
moment,
especially
we
in
can't
that
really
game.
sell it until you play the game because like they
Exactly.
showed it in the Game Awards. In the game, it's different and it's way cooler.
Yeah, can I just say that like you're talking about how the Bahamut fly whatever is like a glorified cutscene. You can say the same thing about Herald of Darkness,
Yeah, I
but the
was
way
about
that
to
they
say.
okay, wait,
It's not a
but
boss fight. Go
the
ahead.
way they present it, like it's still interactive. You're still moving yourself, and they wait for you because I don't know if y'all were playing this way, but like I was just looking around at everything they had on
Same.
the scene, right? And I was
Oh,
taking my time, and then you see the animations guiding you to keep going, and the game waits for you. So that's how you make a proper glorified cutscene, in my opinion, because it's not just me sitting there watching something; it's me participating in this interactive environment, which has freaking live
You're in the
action.
moment.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like
man. They utilized the
doesn't
live action scene so well.
yeah, like this was just a perfect moment. I was smiling throughout the whole thing, and it was amazing.
I can't imagine getting to that moment and not having your stone. Like this was the part where Alan Wake 2 really turned on me and said, "You know what? Actually, this game is really fucking cool, and it's doing something special that I think other games need to be doing."
Dark, you want
But
to
yeah,
talk
that's
about Fire Emblem?
yeah.
Alright,
Actually,
so-
I'm gonna deafen myself for this one.
Yeah, so this is heavy spoiler territory for anyone who hasn't played this game. This moment is so fucking stupid. Okay, I was so hyped for this game pre-launch. The gameplay was incredible. The story was bad. The story was bad, but trying to remember exactly what happened. But I think, oh yeah, you end up dying and you come back, and Marv has this moment where he's dead serious. He looks into the camera, and like he's explaining how you came back to life, and he's like, "You are the Fire Emblem." And when that happened, I absolutely lost my shit. I was laughing for so long. It was so stupid. It's not a good moment. Like overall, it's not a good moment, but it's so bad. It stuck with me the entire. Because this game came out, I think it came out like around January or so. I could be wrong. I think it was like the end
Yeah.
of January.
Yep,
It came
it
out.
was mid-January.
Yeah,
It
it was
stood
mid.
with me the entire year. I kept thinking about that stupid ass fucking moment that I had to put it here.
I respect that.
I mean, I haven't played the game, but just reading "You Are the Fire Emblem" makes me want to gag
It's
and like
so
puke.
stupid.
So
Yeah, it takes a while for it to happen, but when it happens, like already the plot is goofy as hell. Like this main character has family issues, but now suddenly this
Yeah.
this was the peak moment of the game.
I will say, yeah, this is. I actually did like when the main character died. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, then he came back as the Fire Emblem, and that was funny.
I'll
That
say
shit was fucking hilarious.
just I assume Moon you put playing as Venom. Whoever put playing as Venom was based because
That was
Yeah,
fun.
that's what I
That
was
was
actually going to
awesome.
say during our Herald of Darkness talk is that while I do think it's overall a very cool thing, at the end of the day, without spoiling too much, you're just doing your same Alan Wake puzzle, walking around stuff while this video plays around you. So from hearing from what you all have to say about the Bahamut fight, that is something that I would probably give like best moment to. So I'm actually, even though I voted for playing as Venom, I know I'm alone on that. If we were to have to do like a collective vote out of these four, I would actually give my vote to the Bahamut fight.
I mean, I
Oh,
appreciate,
okay.
but I think Herald of Darkness is
Yeah.
still winning.
Yeah.
And honestly, I will say, as someone who voted for the Bahamut fight, I did love like Herald of Darkness is probably my number 2, because it's one of those things. I mean, we didn't really touch on it, but just from a visual and like mechanic, like game development perspective, how they were able to pull that off, like that's never been done before, and I think that deserves like, or at least if it has been, not to this level and not to this fidelity and
Yeah.
like execution. And I do think they should, like Remedy should get a lot of credit for that, because yeah, it's incredible how they were able to do that, and it really does come out of nowhere. And definitely my high point for the game.
Yeah, I just
I-
never got the chance to play it, so
It's
I
still
like
gonna
it.
hit for you when you. I promise.
It's still gonna
Yeah,
hit.
well,
Yeah. So yeah, but I guess we'll
I
just
do-
settle on Herald of Darkness.
Real quick, I do want to shout out playing as Venom. That
cool.
was my moment of the year. That fucking sequence was honestly 10 out of 10. And like everything about that moment just coming, it was very much expected, but like when you get to that whole scene, you become like, it is that moment of, oh shit, I'm playing Venom. And the whole fight with Craig, I have so much praise to say, but like that whole sequence to me just exemplified like why I love Spider-Man and why I love Insomniac. And it really just comes down to like you go through that whole sequence and then you get to the helicopter, and the helicopter takes you to Times fucking Square, and Craven's like, yo, what's up? And it's like, oh shit. You realize where like what's gonna happen, and to me it just again exemplifies like
Yeah,
why
the best
I
realization
love
for me during
Spider-Man.
that moment was like, oh, we're gonna fight Craven as Venom. Like, oh, we're not Spider-Man. We don't get to hold back.
Yeah, I think it also was just a very good end to Craven's character arc. He got what he wanted.
100%.
Yeah, my reaction. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say my reaction to this like scene, like right before like you're about to play as him, like the camera pans around and I'm like, oh wow, they're showing Venom. What if you could play as him? But I didn't think they would actually do it, and then they let you do it, and then I just it was
And he
just
was as
fun.
powerful as you'd hoped he was.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so I think so for the docket, Wolf, we're settling on Herald of Darkness.
Yes, sir.
All
What's
right.
next?
So after all that bickering and arguing, mainly about Final Fantasy 16, this is basically the spoiler cast part 2 now at this
thanks,
point.
Wolf.
What did I do? What did I do?
We're gonna move on to a lighter topic, a more fun topic, and that is our backlog game of the year. Because we don't play just only 2023 games, we play a lot of other stuff too. And I
Did
thought this was
someone
good.
put a fucking series? You don't
Damn
get
right
to
I
do
did.
that.
So-
You don't fucking get to do that.
That's so. Oh my god.
You choose one
Damn.
game, Bench, right
Nope.
fucking
Ben,
now.
Ben.
You say your one game.
Nope.
Choose your one game, right
Nope,
fucking
I'm
now.
talking about the whole.
Hey,
You have to pick
young
one.
man, do you see an S next to game? Do you see an S
Sorry.
next to game?
I
That's
put
not
it.
plural. That's not fucking plural.
Yeah.
Lighthearted topic, by the way.
Yeah, lighthearted topic. So this was, I thought, was going to be like our first section, or maybe only section where we had 8 different entries to talk about. No, it turns out 3 of us played Persona 4 Golden and all decided to vote for it.
I wish I got to play it.
Shout out.
Okay, I want to know who the other. So I know Moon, you did.
It was
Yeah.
me.
Dark did. Who's the third? Because I didn't put it as my vote.
That's me. I was
Ah.
gonna vote for Yakuza
Yeah, this
Zero.
was my big surprise when I was counting up all the votes, and I'm like, wait, who's the third person? And then I like do a process of elimination to figure out. Grant, Cyber, yours was the hardest to decipher. I was able to determine everyone's votes by a lot of answers, but I could not figure out Cyber's form until I did a process of elimination. Okay, it's like no, and then it's like, oh, it's only Cyber left. This has to be his. I'm like, wait, you played Persona 4 Golden this year?
Yeah, I did. It was like back in March or something. That's actually when I started being more active in Discord too. Was when I was playing Persona 4 because I wanted to understand it better. So and the community seemed to love it. So yeah, I love that game. I just didn't put Yakuza 0 there because I had played Yakuza 0 before, and this was my first time playing Persona 4 Golden. So yeah,
But yeah,
I really do like the game.
as the panel's already figured out, yes, Bench did put, as he wrote it specifically, the Legend of Heroes Trails series.
So you
Yep.
don't get to do that. It's
That's what I'm
game.
talking. That's what
Hey,
I'm
Bench,
talking
what's your
about.
favorite one? What's your favorite one?
You're gonna let me talk.
Okay, go ahead. What's your favorite one?
I'm talking about in general.
There's only one winner.
I will
But go
say,
ahead.
the favorite like backlog game I played this year actually was not Trails. I think the best single game I played not released this year was Red Dead 2. However, I think Trail series had the more impactful on me because I started it in last December, and through the entire like 2023, I made my way through almost each game, and I'm still only haven't played Reverie, but playing just an entire franchise and seeing the collective world building and characters, just incredible. Like some of the best of all time gaming moments for me. The music, just this is easily in my top 3 gaming franchises. It just left such a big impact me off after Dark finally pushed me to play through it this year, and I mean, it's not ending anytime soon, so I'm happy for it to keep going.
Which one's your favorite?
I mean,
Uh,
bench like I will. I hate that I'm taking Wolf's side now, but I think you could.
go!
But like, okay, seriously, if you boil it down, you could. Any of us could say that about any of our favorite franchises that we've played.
Yep.
So I, I don't know.
Honestly, honestly, the reason I put the series is just because I wanted to talk about my experience throughout the entire
fair.
year.
He
with it, 'cause
wanted
I
the
thought it-
drama.
because I thought it was just I wanted to talk about it and thought it was important at least to me throughout the entire year. So, but my favorite of the games, it's honestly still tied between Cold Steel 3 and Azure, both just incredible games in their own right.
There we go.
That's 2
respect that.
games.
Yeah, you're gonna get what
Hey,
you're gonna get.
we got 2. We narrowed it down to 2. We don't need to go any farther.
We narrowed it down from 10 to 2. We're good. All right, but I want to hear Bob about Riders Republic.
Yeah, this is easily the one. Like, you look at all these games, like, what is Blood thinks he's on the team? Like, what is this? What is this doing here? But I picked up Riders Republic. I think on the summer Steam sale, it was down to $20, and I had never heard. Like, I had heard like middling at best reviews of this game, but it was like just interesting enough to where, especially if it's on sale, like I'd want to try it. And I do like extreme sports games, and I mean, I snowboard in real life, so kind of like blends into that. So I always have like a liking to these kind of games, and I think it really did kind of blow me away at how fun this game is and how Ubisoft was able to kind of combine all of these things together, not really seamlessly, but at least in a fun enough way to where it's new and unique. And I don't think any other sports game is really doing that. I want to say they tried something similar with Steep. I don't think that was them, but I think one of the snow sports games tried something similar. But really, what it came down to with this, because I mean, yeah, okay, you're doing all these sports. What makes it different? What it came down to is every 30 minutes in whatever server you're in, there would be, and I can't remember the name, mass race. Um, it would match make 60 people all in the same lobby with collision, which makes it the most chaotic thing ever. And you will do 3 like almost like decathlon like style, like 3 different events in the same race. So like you'll start on a bike, and then you'll go to the snowboard, or you'll go to the wingsuit, or you'll go to the rocket suit, or you'll go to the dirt bike, or you'll go, and like they had like these other vehicles that like you could play with, like the hoverboard or the rocket skis. And that was where I was like, oh no, this is honestly one of the most fun multiplayer experiences I've ever had, and like made me want to grind like the base game to like upgrade my gear, because the first time I won one of these things, because it's the sweatiest thing ever, it felt amazing. So shout out to Riders Republic. I think honestly, it still has a pretty decent server count, and it's also a fun game with friends. I think if it's on sale and you are interested in any sort of like extreme sports or sports slash kind of racing games, I would definitely give it check it out, because it was way more fun than I ever anticipated.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Moving
game.
up the
I
list,
actually-
let's hear from our number 1 Hollow Knight fan in the server. It's Fusion.
That's what I'm
Fusion,
saying.
I was
Yeah,
the first
Fusion
Hollow
was
Knight
fighting
fan
for
here.
this one. Wait. Let's slow down. Fusion was
Uh,
actually having a dilemma with me. I remember. If you want to talk
yeah,
about that.
yeah. I played a lot of really good games in 2023 that were on my backlog. So like, I was narrowing this down, and I came out to Hollow Knight. Like Cyberpunk was up there, Final Fantasy VII was up there, but like I did narrow it down to Hollow Knight, and just Hollow Knight's a game that I played back like in 2019, I want to say. Like I gave it a shot like years ago, like 4 years ago. I put like 10 hours into it, and it just didn't click for some reason then. And I just kept hearing over the years like Hollow Knight's this indie masterpiece. Like it's so good, it's a really good. And then finally I sat down in 2023 and I played it again from the start, and then just something clicked this time. And it's just so special to me now. I've become like the #1 Silk Song believer, and I say it's coming every
poor man.
day, and it somehow doesn't. But I'm still holding out. It's coming out next week probably at this rate. Who knows? But
Oh, God.
I
Get your
just, I
clown
just
makeup ready.
okay, wow, that's crazy. But like, I just love Hollow Knight. I know it's not going to click for everyone, but it's one of those games where like there's certain games where it's like if you give it a shot and it doesn't work, take a break and then come back, because I promise you at some point coming back to Hollow Knight, it's going to click for you and you're going to like fall in love with it. I think like that's just the type of game it is. That was my favorite backlog game.
Okay, quick question about
And,
that. So I have done that about 3 or 4 times now, and
Another one.
I get to like the first boss or something. I'm like, man, this is actually very boring. So at what point should I play until so it gets fun?
You've gotten to the very
Past
first
the
boss.
first boss for sure. Because
Yeah.
the first boss, that whole sequence is the weakest part of the game.
Yeah, you're in the very first section still if you've only gotten through the first. I would say try to at least get through the next area of the map, because the next area of the map like opens up and it's just like a lot more colors. Like you're still on like the bland version of Hollow Knight where you're not seeing a lot of colors and like it's very gray tone, which a lot of the game is that color palette.
I
But
was
like
gonna say.
yeah, a lot of the game is that, and I understand that. But they have beautiful spots. Like I forget the name. It's called like the frugal something, but like it's very green and luscious and like the different enemy types and you're seeing more color. It's like I'd say try to at least get there to see like the biome like diversity that the game does offer. If you're getting there and you still don't like it, it might just not be a game for you. You know, you can move on. Like it's probably not for everyone, but I just think it's one of those games where like it might take multiple chances. Like I've talked to people where it takes 4 to 5 times where finally it clicks for them, and when it clicks, it's really special. But if it doesn't click for you, like don't feel bad that it didn't.
I do want to point out, Fusion made the joke about being the first Hollow Knight fan. You know, because he
wasn't a
knows
joke.
I played it first, by the way. But like, it's like it's his game. Like I love Hollow Knight, but I don't think I love it anywhere near as much as Fusion does. So I totally understand like why you have such a special connection to it, because I do think it is a really smart game in a lot of ways. But man, I just really hate bugs. That's the one thing that stops me from like gushing over it.
He's passing the torch to me, guys. Live on podcast.
Live on stream. Look.
Yeah.
And then Jet or Wolf, you want to talk about God of War 2018 or Fallout New Vegas real quick?
Come on, man. I played God of War 2018 in 2018. Chat, you go ahead.
Oh, all right. So I played in 2023, even after Ragnarok is out and everything. But yeah, so this game, I am really happy that I played it. Like, even I was playing this uh, on the Steam Deck, and like the man, I was just amazed at like how how the story was. Like the story itself, I guess, if you break it down, it's just a father and son going on a journey to like to drop like the mother's ashes, right? Like across like on the hills and everything. And so um it- and so the real important part is like the journey to get there. And man, I was invested in this throughout. The story was really good and the world building around it. But my favorite part, of course, was Kratos' combat, where you just throw the axe, grab it back, and I really loved it.
And I guess I'll take the Fallout New Vegas love. I usually am not the biggest Obsidian. I used to not really be the biggest Obsidian fan. Bop, Cyber. I wasn't the biggest fan of Outer Worlds. I apologize. I just thought it was okay.
Boo.
I know I'm.
It's okay because I know what you're about to say, so I'm gonna let it slide.
To me, Fallout New Vegas is kind of the exemplification of why I love Fallout. It reminded me how much I love Fallout. is that fucking universe. It is genuinely one of the best worlds in gaming. The world building, the political intrigue, the story, all the story of how the nukes even fell in the first place is absolutely fascinating. So many theories and world building, and I feel like the Fallout IP has gone through a lot, especially after 76 and 4, which I love 4, but like a lot of people did not love. But what Fallout New Vegas did reminded me is, man, Obsidian is really fucking good when it comes to branching storylines. They understand how to take a basic storyline and say, hey, look at all these different things that you can do. And it reminded me, I used to love BGS after Starfield happened, but BGS, one of the things that they always struggle with is those essential NPCs where it's like, oh, you kill someone and they don't actually die. Whereas Fallout New Vegas, you could just kill everyone and nothing of consequence happens. They think about every possible scenario, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Well done. There's so many different choices on who you can take to lead the Mojave Wasteland, who has control of the Hoover Dam. That's kind of the big story intrigue. And what I love is that none of the choices are good. You have the NCR, you have the Caesar's Legion, all these factions, and none of them is just a clear, this is the good guy one, this is the bad guy one. It is each one has pros and major cons to where no one is really going to be happy in the Mojave Wasteland. And that really is just the whole exemplification of Fallout as a franchise, is no one is happy because of the problems that our ancestors did. And to me, Fallout New Vegas is my favorite Fallout game. It's in my top 25 favorite games of all time now, which is a huge mark because very few games can make it nowadays. In a lot of ways, this is a game that I think everyone needs to play. It is one of the best RPGs of all time.
I need to play it.
All I'm hearing is that Wolf should play Pillars of Eternity next.
Honestly, I do. That's something I want to check out.
I mean, it's
And-
canon to Avowed, so yeah.
And then Dark and Cyber, you want to talk about Persona 4, or do we want to move on?
All right, so Persona 4. I didn't. This was actually a really good year for me, backlog wise. But Persona 4, I don't know what it was about it, but everything about this game clicked. And to me, I'm very like protective of like the games that enter like my top 5 as like a very like if you make it up there, it means that the game means a lot to me. This game instantly, when I beat it, instantly went to like my number 2 favorite game of all time. I don't know what crack they were using to make this game, but Atlas needs to stay on it. It was incredible from start to finish.
I
Hang on,
agree with
real quick.
that.
I'm just gonna. Sorry, go ahead. Please go ahead.
No, yeah, so I agree with that. Like, I was very skeptical coming in Persona. I do like, anime stuff and very lightly. I'm not a very weeby person. Um, so I was kind of scared. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go play this pseudo visual novel Pokemon kind of a thing, and I just fell in love with it. Like, the mechanics are really good. The gameplay loop is very much engaging. I could not stop thinking about Persona while I was playing it. And after playing Persona 4, I loved it so much that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spend the next like 2 months or so only playing Persona games, and I beat Persona 3 and 5 right after that. But yeah, Persona 4 is special. It's a fantastic game.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so
That's
I
everything?
guess we're gonna move on. So next up, I was like, wasn't that a nice calming topic to talk about? Now we get to go to boss fights.
Oh, God.
So we got 2 votes for Final Fantasy 16 against Bahamut, and we got
Who
3
the
bosses
fuck?
voted for Hi-Fi Rush. We got Kale boss fight, the Corsica boss fight, and the Rockford boss fight from Hi-Fi Rush. We got Balteus from Armored Core 6. We got Ibis from Armored Core 6 as well, and Craven in Spider-Man 2.
Hey, listen, real quick. I just want to point out, I would have voted for Ibis. I did not remember its name, so I just went with Craven.
Wolf, I'm disappointed in you.
I
thought
don't.
you'd
I
have my
didn't remember
back.
his name.
I thought you'd
No,
have my
okay.
back.
No, but that's the thing. I'm changing my vote to that because I genuinely just forgot its name.
Like, it was the best.
Easily. Yeah, without
Like-
question. Ibis is a fucking masterpiece of a boss fight. It is, to me, Armored Core 6 was a high quality From Software game for so long, but I was like, man, I hope the boss fights get better. And then I got to Ibis, and it's like, this is why I love From Soft boss fights. They are intense. They are demanding. They show you this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna fucking figure this boss fight out no matter what. And I absolutely loved it for that.
Yeah, the game trains you throughout the game on, because the movement is very different than most games in Armored Core 6. You have to really like master the 3D movement, and beating Ibis, like you feel the mastery after that fight. Like just
100%.
everything clicked, and then you like the second phase like comes out of nowhere. That was just incredible. Like honestly, this boss fight didn't take me that many tries, just
Yeah, I was
because
mad.
I like. Yeah, I know, but it took me like 5 max. I can't remember the number, but like just it was such a satisfying fight to fight, and it was fun. Like beating Sekiro recently, there's some really good fights in there, but some of them I wouldn't describe as fun. But this is just a fun fight, just a very you're action packed. Like you always have to have your eyes peeled. Like just I enjoyed this fight so much.
The scale, I do want to point out the scale of like Armored Core 6 boss fights are so epic in scale.
Yeah.
Like just the size of them. Like there's one that's literally just the size of a factory. And
Yep.
you get to Ibis and it is just basically a duel. And he's
It's
just
a
like,
duel.
yeah, okay, let's fucking go, man. And it leads to just such an epic confrontation that genuinely reminded me of some of the best of Sekiro's boss fights.
I mean, yeah, just I love like the duel, like 1 versus 1, like kind of similar body stature is always just like a great trope in any like game like this. It's why I liked Sekiro a lot as well, like that in fight, just man versus man, even though it's like machine, but it's just such satisfying fight.
Yeah,
Real Go ahead, Cyber.
yeah, I just want to put it in there because I'm pretty sure I voted for Balteus. And basically everything they all said about like overcoming the difficulty or learning how to play the game. I think for me the stepping stone was Balteus because like I struggled really hard to beat Balteus. Took me several tries. I remember like Moon and I were stuck on Balteus
yeah.
for a while.
We were like
but then,
exchanging builds to figure out how to beat it.
yeah, and like when I built like when I did my Mac in the way that I could beat it and I learned how to play with it, that's when the game clicked for me. And I think I only died like maybe twice, or once even, on most of the bosses, including Ibis later on, because I had learned the game. And like Bench was saying, it's just fun. It's fun to go through and say, hey, I know this is a little puzzle, like a real-time dynamic puzzle, and but I already know the answer, kind of a thing, and the answer, is in your skill and whatever, and it just feels really good to play. So yeah,
That's
Would you be willing to support the Ibis train?
support
Bring
the
it to
Ibis train.
victory?
Come on.
yeah, I
Because
can support the Ibis train. Yeah, I
I
just
just sorry, go ahead, please.
Volteus is great as well. Like everything you
Yeah, they're
said
both
is that as
amazing
well.
fights.
I definitely, weirdly enough, I had more trouble with the Chapter 2 boss than Balteus, but Balteus is just like it feels impossible at first. Like just you,
Yeah, because like you it just fires thousands of missiles and it's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I'm screwed.
just the amount of colors that you see in front of you, and you're like, where do I go? So yeah,
for sure.
no, yeah, but I can support the Ibis train. Um,
All right, does
again,
anyone want to fight and
I will
support
say
someone
no.
else?
I will say I beat
Hang.
Balteus pre-patch, so that means I'm better than everyone.
Yeah, I
else.
beat Palteus free patch too. High five.
Hey, so did I. Let's go.
hey, so did I. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, anyone who beat him post patch, not a real gamer. I do real quick want to point out my vote for Craven. I know I said I changed my vote. I did change my vote to Ibis, but I just want to say real quick with Craven, that moment when you're Venom and you fight Craven is such a like all time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, is this when you fight Craven as
Yeah.
Spider-Man or as Venom?
as Venom? Because
Yeah,
that
I
genuine like
figured.
surprise
yeah.
when
Yeah.
you just jump into the arena and Craven shows up, and it's like, oh shit, you realize what's gonna happen, and because the whole thing about like Craven wanting a good death is like, oh, he's never gonna get that because Spider-Man doesn't kill, but then it's like, wait, I'm Venom. If Venom fucking kills, it's an all-time fight, and combat-wise, it is a really fucking mechanically strong fight as well.
I will say my favorite fight from that game is Miles versus Peter, but that just goes back to me liking that man versus man kind of like.
Yeah,
That
duel
was a good
experience.
fight.
Yeah.
Real quick, sorry, Jack, did you have something to say about Craven? I'm so sorry.
Oh no. Nothing about Craven itself. Yeah, I was just like gonna point out that there's 3 Hi-Fi Rush bosses, and that's pretty incredible. That just shows how incredible
Yeah.
that game is for boss fights.
Well, I didn't
Yeah,
vote
I mean,
for it. Corsica was great.
I think all of these fights
Yeah.
are like top tier in their own way. My personal favorite is Kale, but that's just because I'm a Nine Inch Nails fan, and they play a Nine Inch Nails song for that fight. But I do got to shout out Rockford just for that music.
Yeah, the Rockfort music, that's
page
actually my
opens
vote is Rockfort, and that's because of the music and just the cool boss fight of itself with him being the multiple stages of him and the whole wolf costume and all that. It's amazing.
I think Corsica would have been my favorite from that game because that's just a different fight. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
And
a
who
that
totally different
and
fight.
yep, that was my vote. And I think that was kind of the moment where this game really like changed for me because they were doing cool stuff and I was like, oh, like this is a lot of fun. And then with that fight, it's like, no, you're not. This is not a duel. You don't get to attack. You are specifically parrying. You are trying to talk Corsica down. You are trying to reason with her. But of course, for anyone who, has seen Chai, he is a literal moron, but in the best way, where he doesn't really do that and she keeps attacking him. But the pairing, just like the idea that like your boss fight is all pairing, and then the way they do it with like these super long and like honestly kind of hard
It was. It was
beat
the
parries.
hardest fight for me.
Yeah, I heard that from a lot of people, and like obviously I'm also a drummer, so I loved it. Like this is my bread and butter right here, like some funky ass beats that I can play with, which is why it was, not to brag, a breeze, but like just how they like it's just the most different, like it's the most different boss fight, most unique boss fight I think
It's
I've
most
ever
memorable,
played.
easily.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I do think something that helped with Hi-Fi Rush was having a backgrounded music for sure. That helped me a lot, keeping tempo throughout pretty much the entire game.
Now I'm just
So
imagining
then,
trying
like-
to play the Corsica boss fight on like a Guitar Hero drum set.
yeah.
Like I hear people who had problems with Hi-Fi Rush and keeping tempo. I just didn't have those problems at all.
Oh, I
Yeah,
Bro
did.
just said he's built different.
I'm gonna be honest. I genuinely think the people who said Hi-Fi Rush didn't click with them, I would honestly wager that they were playing it on a TV and didn't realize that TVs and like sound bars have inherent like delays on them. And so they probably thought they were on beat, but the delay between the soundbar actually made them behind, and they never figured it out. That's just my like gatekeeping, like
played it on
conspiracy
TV, it was
theory,
great.
but like I don't understand. I mean, and granted, some people just don't have rhythm. I mean, that's totally understandable, and like that shouldn't be their fault. But I think for a lot of people, it was like maybe factors they didn't realize they could control.
Yeah, just my 2 cents on that. I think Bob's 100% right. But also, going along with controllers, like some people don't play with like official controllers, don't wire controllers, and you get input delay there as well because the game has several ways of signaling you to be on beat that's external from the sound, because not all of us have ears as good as benches apparently. But yeah, like so like, but if your controller, if your setup is not conducive to low input latency gaming, then yes, you're gonna have a hard time with that.
Right.
I say this from someone who who has played Hi-Fi Rush via the cloud and did not have a
Oh
very good experience
no!
that way. So yeah,
Couldn't
but
even
also Hi-Fi Rush.
imagine.
Yeah, so I know what it is like to play Hi-Fi Rush when you have latency. So there's that.
So then
Also,
who
I
picked?
like how Bahamut has gotten 2 votes
Yeah, okay,
out of here, and no one
let's,
talked
let's-
about it.
Wait, yeah, we gotta finish
Confusing.
Kale.
Okay, yeah, let's finish.
Yeah,
Kale
let's
first.
finish Kale and
Okay,
Hi-Fi
we're
Rush,
going
and
through
then
all
we
of
can
them?
get to the
Okay.
elephant
Jab.
in the room.
Okay, let's go to Kale.
Jap voted for Kale. That fight is phenomenal.
It was
Yeah.
so phenomenal. And here's the weird thing though, like I've heard of the band Nine Inch Nails, but like I didn't really appreciate their music until this game. And
Oh yeah.
man,
There are some-
that fight. Oh yeah, go ahead.
There are some people here who say Kale is not a good boss fight. Will you please stand up?
Yeah, Dark. Let's speak up. Dark.
Yeah, this
I
fight was
think I'll
like-
also stand up. I won't say he's the
Oh my
worst boss
Oh
fight,
my gosh.
but he was the least
people.
memorable out of all of them.
No, this
I think
fight was
for the
overhyped.
final
Dude,
boss fight, it was a
summons
little
light-
disappointing.
No, you overhyped
Summons
this fight.
lightning. Summons
I don't-
lightning, and you fight on the top of a fucking CEO building. And you're like, well, I like Corsica. She's a woman because I like women. Okay, God. Oh my god. I'm kidding.
I don't think that was my reasoning.
I'm kidding.
In my opinion, the best boss fight in that game was Roguefort, because he's the one that turns into the wolf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fight was incredible. Kale was just underwhelming. And I was playing on normal, and I didn't have any issues with tempo or the base or anything. He was just an underwhelming fight. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, you just had to break his shields and then attack him. It was so simplistic after everything else the game thrown at you, I'm like, okay, this is like okay. That was my reaction. Like, oh, okay, then the game's
Yeah,
done.
going from Corsica to Rockfort and then Kale is like there is definitely a step down in how interesting the boss. I won't say he was a bad boss fight. It was just uninteresting
okay.
compared to what came before it.
Yeah,
Hang
if I
on,
could
you're
jump
Rock-
in real quick.
Rockford was
Okay.
incredible.
This
Yeah,
is
let Fusion.
this was my only problem with Kale was that Rockfort was right before him. Like he's literally the boss right before Kale. So like, and I think Rockfort's the best boss in the game. So it's like you go from
Fit you
that
guys
boss,
into some 9-inch nails.
and I think all of them use it. But you just go from that boss and what he did for me, and I go into Kale, and I'm just like, Kale was awesome. Like it's a really good boss fight, but I just didn't feel like it was the best in the game. And I'm one of those people when your best boss fight isn't your last boss fight, it kind of bothers me. I'm like, I know every game is probably not going to end that way,
I
but like
disagree.
I like it when it's like when you're when it's your last boss fight, throw everything you have at me. Like I want this to be your best one, and for Hyper Rush, it just feel like it wasn't.
Fusion
I
hates
don't think it
Spider-Man 2
need-
confirmed.
I don't think the last boss fight needs to be the best boss fight. I do agree that like I am very like a strickler when it comes to like endings, final bosses, all that stuff. But like it's not that the final boss needs to be like the best one without question. I just think it has to be good.
I think
like at least strong enough.
I think in terms of like the location of the bus boss, I think it can be anywhere. But Kale just felt uninspired compared to everything else. Kale felt uninspired in terms of the game, and I just didn't vibe with him at all.
Okay, I
Man,
will
that's
say
crazy,
we
Chad.
we did kind of railroad Jet on this.
I'm sorry.
Did
Jet.
you? I mean, it was all good conversation, but I do feel bad because I kind of want to give Jet a chance to actually talk about Kale.
No, it's all right. Like, see, the thing is, like, I had a like a tough time picking from these three boss fights because I really liked all of them, and I guess like now I'm thinking about it because like Roquefort and Corsica, they do feel like I guess more grand in terms of like how they're presented and unique, like you guys were saying. But I guess I just felt like satisfying with how Kale was, where it was just like a little bit simpler, and we're keeping it basic, but it just still felt satisfying as like yeah, this is the last fight. Maybe that's what was going on in my head at that point.
Traditional.
Like yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And yeah, like I'm down if any of those three were to win. Like all are incredible.
Okay, but before we get there, I think we gotta talk about the elephant in the room. the Bahamut-sized elephant. Fusion, you want to speak up, young man? I know you've been talking in chat.
I mean, and okay, I will say I love the Bahamut fight, but when I was putting this list together, I was the last one days before. It was the day that I thought we were going to record. So this was a hard category for me because like I didn't have time to remember all my boss fights, and like Bahamut, like they were talking about best moment, was a boss fight I remembered very well. Maybe not because the boss fight element, but for just the moment, I was like, okay, I loved Bahamut when it happened. So I put it. I think personally, Rockfort would be my favorite boss of the year. But with that being said, I will defend Bahamut a little bit. Bahamut, like I don't care, call it a cutscene, call it QTEs, whatever you want. Like that boss fight is still a moment that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. I don't care that it's not like a I didn't have to hold my controller during half of it. I don't care because like you told me best boss fight is everything. It's not just the combat, it's the what's happening in the background, it's the music, it's the visuals. Bahamut had that. And like
Fusion is spitting.
so for
PlayStation.
so for me, Bahamut just really hit. But like it's also if you're going for a pure like boss fight where it's like you have to mechanically be good, you have to do this, it does everything really well. Like I said, it probably would be Rockfort when I'm thinking of like best boss fight because I said on podcast months ago that Bahamut wasn't even my best boss in the game, like it wasn't my favorite. So like I'm a hypocrite now, but I still think Bahamut's a good enough fight where it's like it should not be thrown to the side and being like, oh, what you like Bahamut as your favorite boss of the year? Like I guarantee
There are
you
many
look at
people like
hundreds of
that.
lists, Bahamut will be number one because it's one of the most memorable boss fights of all time in gaming.
PlayStation first party games always get shit for being
not first
glorified
party.
movies. No, I'm not saying that. No, let me finish. PlayStation first party games always get shit on for getting glorified movies. Final Fantasy game does a glorified movie. Franchise. That's all it is. Let's be set aside our biases. Let's be honest with ourselves. That's clear.
I
You
like
guys have a
glorified
bias
movies. So.
because it's Final Fantasy. I get it. I get it. It's okay.
Let's
So
let
understand.
Ibis
who?
win.
Wait, who's the
With
second
this
person that voted for
glorified
Bahamut?
The person who didn't play the game.
Did I
Dark.
vote for Bahamut? I don't even remember, to be honest. But to
Yeah,
be honest, I
that's
would have
You
given
had
it to
to have
Bahamut.
voted for Bahamut because you
I
didn't vote
think
for
it-
anyone else.
Okay, so I have two things. Either I skipped this because I was like, when I did the entries, I was like dazed, or I did vote for Bahamut because he would have been my best boss fight. Because
He's a
I
good boss.
watching.
Not
I
putting
did-
Bahamut. I'm gonna say that right now. We're not like with how
I
much we're
watched-
praising everyone else, and then we just get
Ibis
like it's a
wins.
glorified cutscene. Yeah,
No,
I
it
just
doesn't.
No,
think-
I think
the
I think
whole-
we compromise, and we
Oh,
retroactively give it best moment.
No, we are not
I'm
giving
just
it
fucking-
best
No,
moment.
I
just,
think-
I'm just fucking around. Just fucking around.
I don't know.
Don't even
So,
think about that.
I don't have a PS, so I watched the whole playthrough of the game. So that's just how I do things for games I can't play, right? Bahamut was the highlight of FF16. The fight, the way it played out, everything, I was like, okay, there's Bahamut.
See, I understand
Which
because
I'm-
you were watching the game, so you didn't have to play that
Oh,
travesty.
boy.
of a
Oh
game.
my god.
All
he
I'm
had a
saying-
real experience, the
Well,
actual
I
movie
just want to
watching.
say, hey guys, we got the DMC, like the Devil May Cry combat designer on this team, and they just said, you know what, make the game easy, make it where you just have to mash one button to play through the game, and that's all you have to do to win that game. No
Thank you.
combos, no steep learning curves. It's crazy.
Thank you.
It's like, okay, you know what? Let me at least play the game on hard mode. No, you don't get to play on hard mode, you idiot. Play through the game on normal first. Fucking stupid. God.
Okay, guys. This
Okay,
isn't Final
so
Fantasy
I have to
16
intervene
podcast.
here. I did mess up on this.
Uh-oh.
So Bahamut did only get one vote. What I missed out on was another entry. It was Dark's entry. He put the final boss of Baldur's Gate 3.
No, I didn't.
Ah.
No, I didn't. Wait a minute. I know for a
Wait,
fact I
wait,
didn't do
wait.
that.
Oh, no, I did want to shout out with Baldur's Gate 3 Raphael's.
Wait, then who? Wait,
That's the one
who's
I
Yeah,
like.
second?
Raphael's fight's great.
That
Wait,
fight is incredible.
when you fight a Ninja Turtle? What?
Wait, who was second?
I think I might have skipped the final boss fight. I know for a fact
You
I
might
did
have
not
just
put the
done-
final boss of.
Either way,
Baldur's
it doesn't really matter. Bahamut's not going to win. I think
No,
who
you
had
gotta
the
be-
most votes here was the
Wait.
Armored Core
Wait,
boss.
did I
Dark-
put the final?
Well,
I don't
no, would it be
remember.
Rockford?
Dark.
It's either
Dark, did you
Ibis or
put
Rock-
story versus gameplay as your favorite moment?
I did.
Yeah, so you put final boss of
I
VG3.
did. What the fuck?
Bro was fucking knocked
Yeah,
out.
he was
How much
on the
liquor did you
goop.
drink?
Hey, that's fine. It's not going to win.
I mean, listen,
Okay,
I
if you want to
actually
think
really
about
like
it,
the
let's talk
final
about it real
boss
quick.
of that
The
game.
final boss of that game was pretty cool.
Eh.
Oh my god! You know,
It was
dude,
cool
you
in
know
the
what's
sense-
crazy? He was saying how much he loved this game. By the way, I want to point that out. And now he's like, people
I
were
know,
saying
the
Baldur's Gate
final-
3 was better than Zelda, and now he's like, oh, actually, the game's bad. I never liked it.
No, I actually did not like the final boss fight. I thought it was just they throw a bunch of enemies at you and then you like go inside
Cause
another.
it's a video game. You boss, of course it's not gonna be one enemy, dude. They send out a dragon on you, a fucking
Yeah.
dragon. And you're like, no, this isn't Zelda. I hate
I
Okay,
don't know. I
Zelda
just wasn't a
fights.
big fan of the boss fight.
So with this boss fight, you're able to summon all your allies, and it was like a really cool thing.
Yes,
Now
it's
that I'm
so
like
hype.
not like dazed like I was at the time, I probably would have given it to Bahamut.
I personally, okay, here's my thing. I think if we're gonna go with the Baldur's Gate 3 fight to hype up, personally, I would go with Raphael.
Yeah, that was the best.
Bob, Jack, you
Fights.
both keep
Oh.
deafing. Raphael, that fight, if you don't know what happens, Dark, you might actually want to deafen too because you didn't fight him. It is literally like you start the fight
Yeah.
and it turns into a musical. And it
Yeah,
turns
it's
into
really
a
good.
Disney musical. And there, like, he starts singing the song while this epic, like, choir starts singing as well. This beautiful singer, as just the music alone carries that fight. And the actual fight is pretty awesome. To me, that is like
Yeah.
an exemplification
it
of why I
felt-
love Baldur's Gate 3.
it
And
was a
you
good
can
fight.
silence him and he stops singing. That is such an amazing attention.
I really need to
detail.
play Baldur's
Absolutely
Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3 is
it's
worth it. It's a
fucking
fantastic game.
incredible game.
All right,
Good
so
game.
have we reached a decision? Since we're all
I mean,
with the
everybody.
Yeah,
conclusion
so-
of Bahamut only having one vote and Baldur's Gate 3
Ibis.
having one vote, we're all at one vote. So have we reached a consensus?
Ibis.
Ibis.
It was
think
either
it's-
Ibis or
It's either
Roquefort, I
Ibis or
think.
Rockford.
Yeah, it's either Ibis or
Yeah,
Roquefort. Or Rockfort.
Roxford, yeah. I'm down.
So me,
Ibis.
Cyber, and Bench are Ibis, and what are the other people's names? Moon, Bop, and Fusion are Rockford. So we're actually tied. Jat, which
Wait,
one? Oh, Jat
Yeah.
didn't play Armored Core.
So yeah, I have to pick Rockford.
Ibis was so good.
Ibis is like an exemplification of what makes FromSoft so good. It is the FromSoft boss fight of this year.
What if these bosses
That's
just hold
great.
hands and win together?
Oh my god, Bob.
Wait,
Bob,
what? Who's the last vote?
Dark.
We're 4v3
wait,
right now. When it
I mean,
comes down to go.
I only played Hi-Fi,
No,
so
we're
I guess I have to go.
yeah, so it's like
Alright.
more people played.
This is tragic.
I mean,
Alright.
that's how that works.
Democracy wins again.
Democracy.
Hey, that's fair.
I'll get to
I'm
our
going
report this bit.
Scandinavia. I think I just want to say Ibis should have won because that fight is
It should have
absolutely
won it.
phenomenal.
This is a robbery. You're
This is a
live
rigged vote.
watching
It's okay.
robbery.
But
Alright. Well, that went on
it's not
longer
even
than
the
I thought
best
it would.
boss fight from Hi-Fi Rush. This is insane.
All right.
All right, that's fine.
Let's move
That's a
on
great boss
to best male performance.
Oh, I love men.
So we have 4 votes for Ben Starr as Clive from Final Fantasy 16.
Oh my god, dude, he literally just says Joshua.
Let
Even, like,
him get through the fucking nominations first.
We got Andrew Wincott as Raphael from Baldur's Gate 3. We have Cameron Monaghan as Cal Kestis from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We have the combination of Sam Lake and James McCaffrey as Alex Casey from Alan Wake 2. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Ilka Villi and Matthew Peretta as Alan Wake in Alan Wake 2. And for those who don't know, in terms of the Alan Wake characters, Sam Lake is the body actor and James McCaffrey does the voice, whereas same thing, Ilka Villi is the body of Alan Wake and Matthew Peretta is the voice. So that's why I combined them.
Ben Starr wins.
Literally, all he says is Joshua, Joshua, and motherfuckers are like, oh my god, performance of the year. Like this guy's
No.
voice is like, it's basic. It's like a 7
it's
out of
not.
10 voice performance. I just want to point that out. People
No,
only
it's
want to put
not.
it because they like Final Fantasy. That's it. I understand.
Nope.
It's okay.
No.
I know you guys love this franchise. I know it means a lot to you. But like, if we can't think
Wolf.
critically, that's okay. I understand.
Wolf.
Wolf, he did a good job. Come on.
Wolf.
He
This
was
is
fine.
No, I think
With
no, I
probably one
Wolf, I
moment.
don't like I think the point we're trying to make here is we know Clive isn't the best written character, and that's why Ben Starr deserves it because he actually made Clive like a likable
I
like
wouldn't-
a
I
good
wouldn't
character.
go that far, but he poured his heart into the role,
No.
and you can feel it. Like whenever
I don't
Joshua
know, I
dies in the
There
prologue.
is no Clive without Ben Starr. He's the reason.
There
why
is-
the
I-
game exists.
Maybe that's a better game then, because then Clive wouldn't exist, and maybe we would actually get a pretty interesting story instead of this Joshua, this whole fucking revenge bullshit ass story that barely fucking goes anywhere. When you get to the actual fucking revenge, it's like, oh, never mind, actually, because this dog shit fucking writing team can't fucking write a character for
That has
life.
nothing to do with Ben Starr. You're getting
he's
off
just-
topic.
Ben Starr is fine, but to me, all these other actors did way better. All these
No,
other actors
I
deserve
disagree.
way more. But like everyone's like, oh well, Ben Starr's on Twitter and he's saying cool things. He's a cool guy.
That's not
but
it
that's
either.
not- you can't.
Not it.
That is the only reason. That is the only reason.
No,
You guys
it's
saw him on
not,
a
Wolf.
podcast.
Like, this is such a weird, like, tangent, dude. Like, it was a good performance. 4 people voted for it. It wasn't
Yeah.
just me and Bench.
I
I
voted
can-
for him.
I can name probably like
You
5 or
didn't
6.
play the game. This is insane.
It's a performance. I don't need a freaking.
You
I
don't
can-
know that. It's like it's crazy. Like, but maybe vote for the games you tried.
Wolf, we
I don't
get it.
know.
You
That's
didn't
weird.
like Ben Starr's performance. Drop it. Like, seriously, can we please have an actual conversation about it?
Yeah, we can.
Alright, fine.
I think there's like 5 different moments I could probably name that he just poured his heart into the performance, and it like sent shivers down my spine. Just the amount. It's pretty crazy the performance he gave as Clive.
He made me tear up a couple times, and I don't do that a lot, like playing games. But he definitely like made an emotional connection with me as well.
So Cameron Monaghan from Jedi Survivor. Who voted for him? I want to talk about that because he was actually.
Oh
great.
yeah, he was okay. Good. Yeah, so I think I mean first off, it's pretty impressive that they look exactly the same. But I just really liked how he played this character in that because in Jedi Fallen Order, like this wasn't an established character in the Star Wars universe or anything. So you get to know him as someone who's who's going through a lot in that game. So you see his journey. But now he's already been through a lot, and he has a beard, and he has a bit of scars and everything. So just seeing him like take the character to another level, like I don't know. I just thought that his portrayal and his like dialogue delivery and everything was really good.
I voted for Raphael. I think when it comes to like playing a villain, I think Andrew Wincott absolutely fucking exemplified that performance in the best way possible. he came off as the sniveling, devilly contract. Like he very much plays the devil in every way possible without spoiling it. And I just the whole like House of Hope confrontation was like just an exact viewpoint of why I think Andrew Wincott deserves as many awards as possible for that absolutely splendid performance. And I do want to shout out Shadowheart's voice actress as well, who I forget the name of, but she was incredible as well. That's a female voice actress. I forget.
Spoiling for the next category. Okay.
I think Ben Star wins.
Well, wait.
We
What
didn't
about the
even
Alan
talk
Wake
about
2?
the other
one.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No one was talking. So
Andrew Alan Wake Eraser, by the way.
I haven't played it.
Yeah. Who? Wait. So who? Then who voted for Alan
Fusion,
Wake?
speak up.
I didn't vote for Alan Wake.
I
I
voted
think I
for Alan
voted
Wake.
for.
Oh my God! You also voted for. I hate. Fusion.
Okay.
I know.
Stop.
Stop.
Was
So who voted for
basic-ass
Alex Casey?
performance.
I think it was me.
Okay.
Listen, it's cool. Okay, it's Sam Lake. The voice is the guy who made what's his face?
Max Payne.
Max Payne. Yeah, they're both cool, and they made me care about the Alan Wake sections a lot more. I love seeing the little, the little circle thing that you make it black or white. I can remember, to get more Sam Lake goodness, and you can actually see a naked Sam Lake in the game. So
Hey,
there's that.
The level of care that Sam Lake has, like you can tell that is a game director who genuinely cares about the game he's making. The fact that he is an actor in it, and he's a really fucking good actor all with it.
Yeah. Also, just one quick thing. Rest in peace to James McCaffrey.
Of course,
Good
rest in
point.
peace.
No, you
didn't
put
know, I
Alan.
didn't like
You put Alan though, didn't you?
Yeah, I put Alan
I
Wake.
didn't.
Yeah. I didn't
Yeah,
play
Alan
many
Wake
of the big
performance was
male performance big games this year. I've realized.
I think Alan did solid. I
Yeah,
like
Alan
his
did do
performance.
Yeah,
solid.
Alan was amazing.
He just like he was only half the game. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah, I'll get to it in the next
He
category.
was pretty
Okay.
cool in Alan Wake 1.
he's a cool
I
dude.
liked Alex Casey's character a lot. I think
I
that would
love
probably
Alex
be my
Casey.
favorite from
Yeah, Alex
Alan
Casey
Wake
was
2.
phenomenal. Yeah,
All
so I
right,
think
are we
Alex
just gonna
Casey
settle
wins.
on Ben Star?
I
Yeah,
think so.
think
I think Sam Lake and James McCaffrey 100% deserve it. So I think we all agree.
No.
James McCaffrey.
Who was the fourth vote for Ben Star?
Dark.
Dark. It was
I
me, you, Dark.
Guy who didn't.
Ben.
Got
yeah,
it.
guy who
Okay,
didn't play
got
the
it,
game,
got it,
by the
got it,
way.
okay.
I want to point that out real quick. So we got a guy who didn't play the game, a guy who didn't really like the game that much, another guy who didn't like the game that much, and a guy who only likes it because it's the FF14 director.
Yeah, but I like the
Sure.
male performance, and that's the category. Therefore, that is the winner.
I just say all I'm saying.
You're
I
not
think
making
there were
any
better
sense.
performances. I think Torgo was a better performance. if I'm
Okay.
being honest.
Let's move on.
All
Rudy.
right. Let's move on to the best female performance. We have 3 votes for Melanie Liburd, who played Saga Anderson in Alan Wake 2, Laura Bailey for MJ Watson in Spider-Man 2, Jennifer English for Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate 3, Lily Gao for Ada Wong in the Resident Evil 4 remake, and Sarah, I'm probably going to butcher this, El Male for Corsica in Hi-Fi Rush.
It's Elmale.
El Male? Okay.
Well,
Me and Fusion,
anyone have
we
any
voted-
thoughts?
Fusion, did you also vote for Laura Bailey?
Dark Bailey. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I mean,
I
Oh yeah, Laura Bailey is awesome.
for a character that I just wasn't a massive fan of in Spider-Man 2, she definitely carried that character because there were so many different points where I personally think she's the best voice performance in the game, male or female. I just think she put her all into that character, and I think was it her voicing when Scream and all that, or was that someone else? Because that was great.
That was most likely her with a filter.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, so I just like, especially towards the middle and end of the game, she really brought her all, and it was very good. Fusion.
Yeah, basically everything. I remember in our Spider-Man 2 spoiler cast, that's why I said I was like, I think Laura Bailey had the best performance, male or female, in that game. I think, especially in specific moments where like you could really hear it in her voice, where she cared for Peter in certain moments where like Peter was near death or in a big fight, or like she came across where it's like I think in 2018 Spider-Man she's fine, but in this she had more moments to like show emotion as MJ, and I think she does like really well as MJ. And it's like it kind of is just, I've said it before, like Laura Bailey is just, she's very good at like everything, and that's why she's in so much stuff. So it's always hard to be like to give her an award. Like it's always hard to just always talk about Laura Bailey because she's talked about a lot, but she's just really good at her job.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like she gets the amount of roles that she gets because she's just a genuinely talented voice actress.
Yeah, she's very good.
I voted for Jennifer English as Shadowheart. Obviously, Shadowheart's the one I romanced, but also just like the absolute acting chops of the performance of Shadowheart, really showcasing like kind of her struggles, her personal journey, in ways that I feel like not a lot of characters were able to this year. And to me, it's just like exemplify. It just shows why I love the game so much. It's just how much care and attention they give to all the voice actresses. And I do also want to shout out Carlax's voice actress, who also gave a memorable performance.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think Shadowheart's voice actress was very good and helped bring that character to life even more.
I was the one who voted for Lily. If you guys know, when Resident Evil 4 dropped, I played the ever living shit out of this game. And I was also a big fan of the original, so I know that when her performance first came out, she was getting a lot of hate. I disagreed with it completely, but really when Separate Ways came out and her performance in that, it really solidified. Like she was probably the best female performance I've seen. Even with playing Baldur's Gate and some other titles, she did an outstanding job and kind of really personified the remade version of Ada in the remake series.
I'll
kinda
say for
sucked, in my
Saga
opinion.
though, that Saga kind of carried the game for me. Like
I'm
Alan Wake was fine,
surprised.
but I was more interested in Saga's story more than Alan's at that point. So she kind of
Man,
carried the game for me.
That's interesting because I feel like I was on the opposite side. Like I still cared about Saga, but like to me, Alan was the main reason I was playing because like I just found the whole writer's dilemma interesting. I do think she did a good job though. I wouldn't say she was my number one vote, but like definitely one I respected.
I could,
Um,
if I could jump over, Saga. Saga's someone where I love as a character, and I love playing against her side, but I felt like the voice actress never was like this is a really good like performance out of the actual voice actress. I think the character is really well written and everything else is about her, but I feel like the actual way she's portraying lines and saying lines, there was never like I would not be upset if she won by any means. I'd be like, okay, Saga, you know what I mean? But there's not really a moment in that story. Like I can think of these other characters, at least the ones I've played, and think of a moment from the story where they give this emotional speech or they give something and it comes out. And when I think about Saga, I don't think of a single like moment in the game where like she gave out this groundbreaking performance, unless I'm just forgetting it.
well, to
Yes.
be
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the part I really liked it was just near it was near the end of the game, and I don't like give too much spoilers, but yeah, like you'll know the part where it's literally just her and
Okay.
and her voices, and I thought
Mhm.
that was like a really well done scene. But yeah, go ahead, Simon.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that one reason why I really like Saga's performance is exactly because of what Fusion said, like how she's kind of inoffensive as a performer in her role. And the reason why I say that is because like she is kind of the main character. Well, she is kind of one of the main characters, right? A co-protagonist in the game, but kind of not because like she comes in later, and in the eyes of someone who didn't play the first game, even though I did play the first game, but you know I imagine myself as like, okay, so if I didn't play the first game, how would I feel? I think like you said, like Saga's character was very well written for that, and the fact that the performance was inoffensive to me, that was like, kind of like invisible. It didn't get in the way of me caring about the world through Saga's eyes, is what made her performance really good. I mean that to say, I thought that she fit in every situation that she was in, that she didn't stand out in a, I guess, in a very positive or a very negative way, which to me, as someone who like has a iffy relationship with voice acting in games, is that if she didn't stand out, that's a very good thing. So I just thought that she fit. That's why I voted for Melanie on her work in Saga.
That's 100% like I understand where you're coming from, and like I said, if Saga, I would vote like if we're going in the section of like who do you guys want to vote for, she already has the most votes. I would throw a vote up for Saga.
I was gonna try and rally behind MJ, but it's fine.
I mean, I
I'm
would give it to MJ, but Laura Bailey also
I'm
has every award. Like,
like I love Shadowheart. I'm fine with giving it to Saga, but I fought enough. I'm ready
Can
to
we
lay down my sword.
can we talk about Corsica real quick because
I was
that
about to
was
say,
my
let's talk about
Oh
nomination.
yeah, I'm sorry. Please, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I just thought Corsica's character was honestly I honestly between both, I want to shout out Peppermint. I don't know her voice actor's name off the top of my head, but she was also very good in Hi-Fi Rush. But I think what settled it for me with Corsica was she was, I think, the most like she was a very well written character, and I think Sarah's performance really elevated that because, I mean, spoilers for Hi-Fi Rush, she is like an enemy when you start the game, and she turns into an ally, and there's a lot of like through that whole transition, and then like how she acted before and how she acted after, I feel like are very like it's still her, but there's very small details that make it different, and I think that just like goes to show how good her performance was. So
Yeah.
I really liked her
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah, her accent was awesome as well. I'm
That
pretty
too,
sure
yeah.
the actress
You
is
know,
Scottish,
you know, when
right?
you type in Corsica Hi-Fi Rush into Google, the first thing that comes up is accent.
Yeah, I think it's Scottish if I remember. But
Just
yeah,
to jump in real quick.
oh yeah, go ahead, Fuchsia.
It's funny that Erica Lumbeck is the one who voices her, and she also voices Black Cat in Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 2018. They're the
Oh.
same
Yeah,
voice
Erica
actor.
Lindbeck is
And
amazing.
also Futaba in Persona 5.
And
Oh,
Blaze
wow.
the Cat from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hell yes.
Shout out Erica.
He's a legend.
Erica's amazing. But no, I think
Uh,
I'm fine with Melanie winning. I mean, like it is seeming to be. Again, I kind of am on the side of Fusion of being like a bit like, oh, she was good, but like I personally like, to me the game really stood out with Alan. But like I think Cyber's argument swayed me to allow letting it win. Letting it win. I'm not the
Letting it
gatekeeper.
win.
Yeah.
My
All right, very well, I
apologies
guess we'll
if I sound like one. Goddamn.
Unless
right.
any like I'm down with it. I
Yeah,
know
but-
MJ, me and Binks would fight for MJ, but I don't think we're gonna win that bench.
Yeah.
Like Laura Bailey's really good, but she doesn't have enough screen time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is MJ did not get a lot of screen time as much as I thought she would.
I think she got a decent amount, but like I get what you mean.
Yeah, what she did get was really good, but it was just so infrequent.
For sure.
All right, so yeah, Melanie Liber will go with that, and then I will go to best score. Bring out your trumpets. We have 4 votes for Hi-Fi Rush, 2 votes for Alan Wake 2, 1 vote for Final Fantasy 16, and 1 vote for Star Ocean: The Second Story R.
Oh, I was so scared I was gonna lose this one. Okay, we're good.
Final Fantasy's gonna lose, so I'll go first, and then let y'all talk about Hi-Fi after that. So unless Bob,
Yeah,
you
please
wanna
go ahead.
So I think
No.
Final Fantasy 16 score is just pretty much incredible. I still listen to it on a pretty regular daily basis. It's made by someone who also does 14, so I was going in knowing I'd like it, and it still like blew my socks off. Just pretty much every moment there should be like a banger song. There was a banger song, and they like Bahamut. A lot that helped it was the score. Like that score that just the choir and everything really didn't carry the fight, but also it just added to it. And then you have what Titan, which was like a rap song, and it comes out of nowhere, and it's actually like sung by some members on the development team, which is pretty cool. And then you
That
have
Titan theme was sick. I'll give you that for sure. That fight is that song is
yeah,
awesome.
and then you have just I mean the main themes, Joshua's theme, Clive's theme. Just whenever there needs to be a good song to help bring the moment to life, there just is. And I think that was really good for the game.
I will also add that I think if I didn't choose Star Ocean: The Second Story R, I would have given it to Final Fantasy 16 for all of the reasons Bench said. And it's like it's one of those things where like what Square Enix is able to get out of their orchestras and their just the music that they are able to produce is kind of incredible because it really no one is very few games I should say are going to the level that I think the Final Fantasy soundtracks go to, and that it goes for 14, for 7 remake, for 15. Like I think it is quite simply incredible what they're able to pull off. And yeah, all the songs I think already mentioned I would have mentioned anyways.
Yeah,
So yeah,
like going into talking about just like the Square Enix and its music thing, like playing an MMO, you wouldn't think it would have almost a soundtrack at all. you have like one of my favorite soundtracks in gaming, which is just, I guess, shows their strengths for sure.
Yeah. And
I will
so
say, if I didn't vote for Hi-Fi Rush, or if Hi-Fi Rush didn't come out this year, I probably would have given it to Star Ocean, the second story R. While I enjoy the music performances like Herald of Darkness, and I can't remember the name of the one where you're playing a Saga and the Old Gods of Asgards are playing on top of their van. That was also
yeah,
that
Dark
was
Ocean
so
Summoning.
good.
But besides that, I can't remember any other music from that game. But whereas Star Ocean had a bunch of amazing soundtracks, like in your just random ass caves had like this epic music. I entered my first cave in that game. I'm like, what on earth is playing right now? It sounded so intense. So I would have given it to Star Ocean if Hi-Fi Rush didn't come out.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that, since that was the one I voted for, I was really impressed with Star Ocean. This was one of the reasons that like I ended up loving this game as much as I did, because I was not expecting the music to go this hard. And I think for me, it's like obviously Final Fantasy 16 has this incredible like backing with their instruments and their orchestras and everything, but what Star Ocean is able to do with like just, I guess, more not like generic or general, but like I guess the typical like array of what you could use for a soundtrack, what they're able to get out of it, I thought was honestly amazing. And just the mix of fantasy and sci-fi and how they're able to play off of those, like incredibly, because you'll get like these really heavy like sci-fi themes, and then you go to this like more or like bigger town in the game, and it's like the choir's still playing. It's like very, godlike just atmosphere, and I was genuinely impressed. I do want to shout out real quick. Stab the Sword of Justice was awesome. Rescue Operation is probably the one you're talking about, Moon, in the caves. The Coliseum was great. Ceramite was great. Endlessly was great, and then Look Forward.
And also just
were
the
all
regular
fantastic.
battle theme is also really good too.
Yeah, and that's Stab the Sword of Justice. Yeah,
Okay.
it is. I listen to that song all the time. It is just so good. If you listen to any song from that game, "Stab the Sword of Justice" is incredible. It is an incredible theme. So
We got so okay. I know I voted for Alan Wake 2. Who else voted for it?
I voted for Alan Wake 2, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
Actually, I
Fusion. This
know
is
for
why
a
you're my
fact.
boy. Yeah, no, I mean this is just a really solid soundtrack from beginning to end. It is one of those things where like a lot of the heavy lifting is just the chapter end songs. It
Yeah.
is very much like those moments when you finish a chapter and you sit there, you kind of have this like nice visual while listening to a very high quality piece of music. But like to me, like I think about all the songs in that game, most of them are in my like music playlist. Obviously, Herald of Darkness, like that's just the duh choice. But like not even just that, like Dark Ocean Summoning, but like Wide Awake. There's other names. I'm bad with names. Fusion, do you have any thoughts on that soundtrack?
I love that soundtrack, but I do listen, like, that's the type of video game soundtrack that I can listen on like Spotify. Like I can show other people Alan Wake 2 music and they like it. They're not like, oh, this is nerdy. Like
Oh yeah,
it's a good sound. My only pushback, as you already said it, the best music is like the end of chapter stuff
oh yeah.
compared to the rest of these games. You're getting the music while you're walking through because that's the type of game. Hi-Fi Rush is all the music. So like I understand why someone didn't pick Alan Wake 2, because if you're not thinking of the in the chapter songs, you're just like, what music in Alan Wake 2, you know what I mean? But the music that is there is like genuinely so good, and it's like always written for the game. Like you said, it's just it's an awesome soundtrack, and I think it's one of like gonna be one of my personal favorites. But for best score, it has a caveat of it just not, the music really never comes into like the gameplay or like any of the other things you would think of when you think of best score in a video game.
And with that a game that does that is Hi-Fi Rush. And I mean, listen, I didn't vote for it, but this was my second option. This soundtrack is absolutely a banger from beginning to end.
Yeah. So yeah, like you guys mentioned a little bit, this game has this weird like unfair advantage where it's the whole game is based around the music, and the fact that like if the music didn't go hard, I don't think I would like this game as much as I did. I think like the music just really makes the game and sets it up, and like just hitting the beat to it just feels satisfying.
Not only that, but also like a lot of things in the game move alongside the rhythm of the soundtrack, and the noises the game makes also go along with it. So it's funny because I have the soundtrack on Steam for Hi-Fi Rush, and I was listening to it, and I was like, man, this sounds good, but it's missing something. And what it's missing is just the sound effects that the game has. As you know, you're walking around and jumping and doing the dashes or hitting stuff, and all of those extra noises, the guitar riffs that they have, they're extra. They just add so much, and everything just comes together as you're playing the game. And it's an experience that you can only get when you are playing the game because of the sound effects that come in it. So yeah, it's a fantastically designed musical experience.
The fact that the whole game is on beat is a gaming feat in and of itself, where every like cutscene, they have these sound effects that go along with the music, with the beat of the song, in ways that I'm just like, how the fuck did they do this?
Can I throw a curveball here?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As someone who has voted for every other hi-fi or has voted Hi-Fi Rush more than anyone
no,
else
Bob.
so far, I am
Bob.
actually going to push back on this.
Oh my god. Is it because it's licensed? I don't want to hear
No,
this.
no, 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 no. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the licensed music.
Okay, okay.
I think it actually has more to do with what Cyber said, where I think the game is really good at setting up just the perfect amount of music to where it's not taking over the game. You have to add that like last layer to make it all click, and with the enemies and everything being on time. Like I think, and that's more of an audio design thing. And I think that's, again, I think this game absolutely deserved best audio design this year. But I don't think that's a score thing. I think the score, now granted, like they're still great. All the licensed music in that game is great. And like the Rockfort fight in particular, we kind of touched on it during his boss fight. That music is fantastic. But I do think like moment to moment in that game, I outside of what is it, the where you're about to go into the museum and face I can't remember her name.
Rockford.
No, the
Corsica?
blonde. No, the blonde.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Oh yeah,
I
I can't remember her name. She's like the least memorable.
Yeah, but like she had
Yeah.
she had the more persona kind of jazzy style music, and that part I was like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. But I think for the most part, the game score was kind of designed to not like have you not focus on it because you're adding that extra layer that makes it
Yeah.
great.
You know
I
what?
have
I'm
no
kind of
qualms
siding with
with it.
Bob.
What, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna side with you on that and say, yeah, Hi-Fi Rush is less of a score thing and more of an audio design achievement.
Yeah, and it's like I have no qualms with it winning because I obviously love the game and I do love the songs that are in there. I just think it's in the same way that like Alan Wake 2, I like a lot of those songs, but they don't like it. Just the way they are implemented, I think kind of oh yes, thank you, Jap. Mimosa was her name. Of the boss that I was talking about earlier.
I don't remember her.
I just think the like when you because I did the same thing as Cyber and I listened to this score on its own. I'm like, yeah, this actually doesn't hit. Like I'm not listening to this like I would a Final Fantasy 16. Any of the other three soundtracks I have on a playlist, I don't really have Hi-Fi Rush on my playlist, and I think when you separate it from the game, it actually falls a lot more flat. But that was a really long tangent. I still really like the game. I just thought that would be an interesting perspective to add.
Yeah, so just going
I,
along with that, just real quick, I understand that, but also like, I think we can't really take away from the score design if the score was designed for the video game, and it was designed to go along with the audio design and audio effects that we have in the game. So that's why like I'm totally comfortable giving Hi-Fi Rush's score my vote, because even though it might not stand as well as strong on its own, it wasn't designed for that. You know what I mean? Like design was when you're playing the game. Um, so I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a totally fair opinion, and that's why I'm like not even trying to push back. I think it's just like personal differences between where we kind of define that line. But I do think it was kind of an interesting perspective to bring up. But I have no qualms with the winning best score.
Just to bookend it, I understand your viewpoint of like not it's not a soundtrack you would listen to like outside of like playing the game. Like I get that. I only have one Hi-Fi Rush song in my playlist, so like I agree there. But I think just the way it's incorporated in the game to me is why it kind of deserves that win. Is it's a video game at the end of the day, and the way that you can utilize a soundtrack in a video game is you can't do that in other mediums, and I think that's really impressive for Hi-Fi Rush to be able to utilize that to the fullest extent.
I'm definitely more on Bop's leaning side on it being a little lower on it than y'all, but I'm still fine with it winning for sure.
I love all
Hi-Fi
four of
Rush.
these scores, to be honest. Like, this is like the least offensive category to me.
Yeah, I want to listen to that Star Ocean soundtrack now that you've been hyping it up.
I guess
It's hard to
Alex needs-
find.
That's what
Yeah, I
the
mean,
fans
you know,
are saying.
trust me, like as a Live Alive fan, I know that feeling. Thank you, Square Enix.
Yeah, right.
All right. So were you just settling for Hi-Fi Rush?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So we've talked about a lot of big AAA and some AA games. Let's talk indies. So now we have the best indie category. 4 votes for Sea of Stars, 2 votes for Cassette Beasts, 1 vote for Cocoon, and 1 vote for Venba.
Damn, this is fucked. All right, let me just hype up Cocoon real quick because I think this game is doing things that I is kind of the reason I play indie games, because you were not going to see games like this in the AAA space. The fact that they're able to mind bend and do these insane puzzles in ways that I genuinely am shocked by how well constructed these puzzles are, because they genuinely feel like there are points where I was like, I have no idea what to do, and I'm sitting there for like 10 minutes trying to figure this out, and like at no point was I ever like, this is bullshit, I need to look up a guide, because I genuinely feel like every puzzle was so well designed to allow you, the player, to figure it out all on your own. And I'm a guide gamer. I use guides all the time because, like, you know, I don't want to get stuck on a game. This was the game where I'm like, I don't need a guide because genuinely the puzzles are just that well designed. But I do think that because this was a Playdead team, I think the weakest part of this game is that it lacks kind of that environmental storytelling and kind of like aesthetic and vibe that I love so much about Limbo and Inside, especially Inside. So I think that's kind of the thing that prevents Cocoon from being like that 10 out of 10 masterpiece that those games at Inside is, at least.
All right, I guess I'll go ahead and be the sole voter for Venba, but yeah, this was just I think like the reason I picked this was because this was the indie that I played that really just resonated with me the most. I think probably the game that resonated with me the most at like another level where because it's about this like this couple that migrates from India to Canada in the like earlier late 90s, which is exactly what my parents did. And it's a cute like cozy game where you're cooking like where you're cooking South Indian dishes, and I've eaten these dishes before, like idlis, which are rice cakes, or like you make a biryani, which is like rice mixed with like meat in it and like all these spices. And yeah, I just thought it's a very fun, cute game. Although the story itself is very sad because it's about how a mother is like she's raising her son, and then as her son grows older, he's like getting a bit more distant. But yeah, I still highly recommend checking out this game. It only takes like an hour and a half to beat.
Real quick, I just want to point out Cyber did have to leave, so we appreciate all his input. Obviously, it's not like his votes don't matter or anything anymore, but like he had to take care of some business.
But we will call him out on every single one in the next categories.
We appreciate him being here with us. Real quick, Dark, I'm just gonna shout you out real quick. You told me you voted for Cassette Beast because it was the only indie you played this year, and I know that's a lie.
Okay, hold on. Look, I mentioned it before. When I did the entries, I was dazed. Right? I wasn't all there. I
Dazed were you,
completely
man?
forgot about Sea of Stars. That being said,
You also
If-
played Cocoon. You were the first one of us to play Cocoon.
No, he
No, I
hates it.
wasn't.
I don't want to
No,
talk about it.
Bop. I think it was.
It
I
was
wasn't the
me,
first.
actually.
Bop was the first. I played a second. I was like, this game is ass, and then I dropped it.
Oh my god, dude, we're celebrating games. We don't say bad things about the
Oh,
games. that
I'm
are
gonna
good, you know?
murder you.
No, so anyways, besides the whole Sea of Stars thing, the other pick would have been Cassette Beast, but it felt really refreshing that somebody else did the Pokemon formula, and it was done pretty cool, in my opinion. It felt really fresh. I didn't go through the whole game because I just finished playing 2 Pokemon games back to back at the time. I did Pokemon Platinum, and then I did Pokemon the Diamond and Pearl remake back to back, and then I went to Cassette Beast, which was not a good idea, but it does deserve praise.
And to add on to that, I am the other person who voted for Cassette Beast, and I was not dazed. I am very confident that this is my best indie pick of the year. For a lot of the same reasons that Dark mentioned, I'm a big Pokemon fan. I have such a love-hate relationship, especially the last few generations, and yeah, it was really refreshing to see. I think the other thing that's important here is that this isn't the first time someone tried to make a Pokemon game. It's a very common thing for these developers to try and like cash in on that formula, because obviously why wouldn't you? It's the biggest Pokemon is the biggest franchise in the world. Um, like literally grosses the most amount of money. So, but for whatever reason, I think mainly the reason is like the Pokemon themselves are what sells, and when you can't use those designs, it's really hard to kind of invoke those same feelings. But what Cassette Beast did really well is they were able to both figure out a way to like I think the designs of a lot of these beasts were like really well done, but also just like their gameplay mechanics, they were able to toe this line that I think a lot of other games can't get that balance of like, well, this is too much like Pokemon. Well, this is very tongue in cheek, making fun of Pokemon. Like they really just were able to nail it. Where I think after like 5 hours, I was like, oh no, I can completely treat this like a separate game, and it's great because it is a real RPG. You have real companions who are like written pretty decently well, and there is so many things that like the gameplay loop in this game is so addicting because there are so many things to do. They throw so many side quests at you. Even filling out the Pokédex or the equivalent of one was a lot of fun. And honestly, at the end of the game, like I did kind of like that's the other thing. The story is relatively interesting, and at the end of the game, I really did like have like an emotional connection with this game, and I never thought I'd have that from a Pokemon clone because I've played so many of them, and they just don't hit. Like I just go on autopilot. But with Cassette Beast, it was a different animal, and I will also say, Dark Horse best score. There's a lot of great music in that game.
About Sea
Yeah,
of
I need to really
Stars.
get to it.
I played Sea of Stars and voted for it. I only voted for it because it was the only indie game I played this year.
Okay, dude.
I'm definitely lower on it than the rest of the guys here. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. I just don't think it's, having played The Messenger before, I just don't think it's their best work. I found a lot of troubles with the party. I thought just none of the characters, besides like Garl, were like interesting at all. I found the main story just to be pretty flat. The music was great, just didn't hit for me like I hoped it would. But I voted for it.
Well, it hit for me, and I did vote it. It is. I think it's. I've played every game but Vinba on this list. I dropped Cassette Beast. I think Cassette Beast is. I'm not gonna call it bad. It's probably good. I got like
You
4 or
just don't
5
like
hours in.
Pokemon Fusion, so you don't like that game.
Yeah, I've never really played Pokemon. If that's what Pokemon's like, I probably won't like Pokemon. It just wasn't. When Bob said the gameplay loop was like fun and addicting, I thought the total opposite. I was bored, which is it could be a me thing. I don't play Pokemon. Um, but I don't have to bash Cassette Beast to bring Sea of Stars up. I just think Sea of Stars was just so good all around. Where Bink says he doesn't remember the characters. I remember a lot of the characters and a lot of the boss fights. I thought the boss fights were awesome and the combat was awesome. And the art style is one of like the best looking games I played all year. I just thought like, go ahead.
Oh, you can finish.
I was just gonna say like for me, I played a lot of indies this year and none of them came close to Sea of Stars. For me, I just thought like for a total package, complete polish. Did not run into a single bug. Was not a single glitch. Like across the board, it was just like 25 hours of just pure like this is a really good game. I think it went a little long towards the end. I could see some pacing arguments, but like I think overall, I think one thing that Sea of Stars did better than every other indie and even most of the AAA games I played this year was the world building was second to none. I thought they created a world that was so good, and from the very beginning, with lore notes and just the story and everything else, they made this world so believable.
It's also the same version as the world as the Messenger. So getting to, I think it's called Mesa Island, is the exact same island that the Messenger is based on.
Okay.
Yeah, so Fusion, I agree with everything you said. Which brings this like the one negative thing I had of the game. I know a lot of other people share the same mindset. This game has an incredible true ending that is tied behind 100% completion of the game. Why in the world would they do it?
I don't like the true ending.
I like the true ending. I thought it was good. I thought they
I like what the
handled
story
it really
does in
well.
the true ending, but I'm not going to play that to do it.
Yeah, I
But
watched it
you
as
have to
well.
100% the game to reach the true end, and it
I'm
is
not
very
finding other
tedious.
seashells.
It is very tedious to do that because you have to get all the fucking seashells, and it's a whole thing. But besides that, the game was really good.
That's why YouTube exists, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
YouTube saved the day with that.
I thought the combat was like really like I thought the combat was really fun. Like that was a combat system where like
Yeah, see that's where I push back on this game. Like I agree with most other things, but I will push back on the combat. It's good for what it is, but my problem with it, it never evolves past what it is. When you start that game
That's
to
fair.
end that game, you're doing pretty much the exact same thing. Very little gets added to that combat that makes it diverse or just interesting in any kind of way. Like it's very solid and it does its job, but it doesn't get anywhere beyond that. And so I had a problem with that where I was now dreading doing any more fights because I'm like, just gotta do
Yeah.
all this again.
Like I think it's definitely harkening like the Chrono Trigger, like Mario and Luigi stuff, and I just think Mario and Luigi games are just the better RPGs. I think combat's more interesting and all that. So
I will say one thing about combat. It's nice that you don't have surprise encounters and you have like the more
Oh, for
modern
sure.
stuff. So like
Yeah, that's
you
nice.
didn't have to run into like you could just skip entire encounters on your way to your objective if you wanted to, where you're just like, I don't want to fight these basic enemies. Let me just walk past them and not fight them. Like
Yep.
at least you had that. And I thought the boss designs were phenomenal. Like
Oh, yeah, a
when
lot
I
of the
played,
bosses
I'm
were
like,
interesting.
yeah, the bosses were really good, and a lot of the bosses had like a narrative behind them where it was just like they had important world lore, and you're like talking about like even just side bosses you would find and like random stuff. They always had something that like would build up this world that they're telling you about.
I mean, like Graves or whatever his name is becomes a main antagonist
Yeah.
that's in the messenger, and that was I thought was really cool world building. And yeah,
So from everything I'm hearing, I think Jet's argument for Benba really sold me. That's Sea of Stars winner. Shout out to Benba. I want to try that now.
These
I
are
will say too, going back to Sea of Stars, it's the one indie game this year I regret I didn't have enough time to get to, because I definitely am excited to play that.
it's the only indie game I played, so don't feel too bad.
Oh my god, what is
Yeah, I
this
feel like
indie
it's the. I
haters
think it's the
fusion?
only one I did too this year.
it's a good game.
All right, so we're all settling on Sea of Stars.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So going from all these wonderful single player games to the trenches of multiplayer, we have best multiplayer.
Can't
we
give
had
it to Fortnite.
we have 3 votes for Fortnite, 3 votes for the finals, 1 for F-Zero 99, and 1 for Street Fighter 6.
We can't give it to Fortnite, guys. Let's be.
Damn right
let's
we
like-
can.
I
No,
don't think
we can't.
Fortnite.
It
I don't
didn't
think
come out
Fortnite
this
should
year.
count either. But
Yeah.
No, okay, hold on, hold on.
I
Let's
also
be
don't
This was
think-
part. No, Dark was dazed. Remember?
No, no,
Yeah,
not
right,
Dark
right,
Mode.
right, right.
I have a good argument for this one.
Oh.
Fortnite continues to evolve with
we should
every
have had the
season,
best ongoing category.
but we
He's
didn't.
spinning.
So
If
anyway,
we did,
Fortnite. Yeah, if we did, yeah, but Fortnite continues to evolve with every season, and the multiplayer continue to improve every season. So yeah, that's why I should.
And I see
mean-
what you're saying, but Fortnite could win best multiplayer every single year. It'd be like
Yeah.
if Final Fantasy
if
14
every
was
year
up
was like
every year
this.
for best game of the year. You know what I mean? It'd be
It'd
like
be so unfair. Like it's so weird. Where because we made an argument, we decided not to allow DLC on the big game of the year list, but Fortnite gets to win best multiplayer despite not coming out this year. That's extremely unfair to these other games.
Well, I'm still. Can I talk about Fortnite even if it does
yeah,
win?
you can talk about it.
Fortnite. I played like the shit out of Fortnite, like 2 years straight. It's the only thing I played, and I dropped it for like several years. And like late December, mid December last year, I really got back into it. Throughout all of 2023, I've just been Fortnite's been a game I always play whenever. I mean, a lot of us on the podcast have played many hours of Fortnite together this year. And it's always just like super fun. We talk, like yell at each other. A good memory always comes out whenever we play Fortnite together. I don't think there hasn't been a time that I like didn't smile and laugh when we played Fortnite. And it's just been
Yeah.
something I constantly played this year.
Yeah, I'm not discounting that it's not a great game. I think it's a very solid game, and I think that big update where they added all those modes was sick. But I also just, to me, I think it's a little unfair for it to win the
This
category.
just feels more like a us group selection than a overall Fortnite having a good multiplayer this season. So I think that might have something to do with it.
That's true.
I'll go
'Cause
real quick.
this was like the past year that a big group of us in the group got back into Fortnite.
We literally there were like times when we played just several days a week for several hours. It was always blast.
It was like a nightly thing for us.
Real quick. I was the one who voted F099 for the pure
Yeah,
reason
for
that I
Fortnite.
didn't play any other multiplayer games this year. But it was really fun.
Yeah,
I
that's my
enjoyed
other
it
thing.
a
Is I
lot.
didn't play any other multiplayer games this year.
F099 was great. I
Yeah,
did
it's a very
enjoy
solid
it. It was a cool concept, and like it seemed like well enough thought out, and it was a lot of fun. I did like my time with it too.
Yeah, it just doesn't have that staying power that I think Tetris 99 and even Pac-Man 99 to me had. But I
And
still think it's a game I'm willing to go back to every now and then.
And I think something that like struggles and why I picked Fortnite is I don't have the time in the world to balance more multiplayer games than like what Fortnite is. Which
Too
makes
bad.
some of-
More live service.
I think things are looking better in that, not going that
I
direction.
really
But I
hope
mean,
so, man.
I just find it hard to like Fortnite's the only multiplayer game of note I played this year. I did play Street Fighter 6.
Didn't
I
both
mean-
of you play some Diablo? That counts as multiplayer.
I played like
Nobody
didn't play
played a
Diablo.
multiplayer
I
though.
didn't play
Don't get Wolf
multiplayer.
started on Diablo multiplayer.
I dropped it after the prologue, and not because it was a bad game.
That's right.
It's just I left for like 2 weeks and just played Switch
My
games.
viewpoint. Sorry. Am I good? I just
Yeah.
didn't want to cut you off. My viewpoint on Diablo is as simple as this. If I am playing your game single player, I do not have to be connected to the fucking internet. I was fighting a boss, and the game started lagging in a single player video game. So you know what I did? I quit the game, and for the first time in 5 years, I sold a game back to GameStop.
Wow.
That's how fucking angry I was. That dog shit, always online single player crap, done with it. I refuse to support any game like that. But I bet the multiplayer is fun. I did multiplayer for a little bit. It was like, it worked.
Well, speaking of
do.
multiplayer that wasn't voted on this list, Jet, were you the one that voted for Street Fighter 6?
Damn right, I did. All right, so I mostly played this like around the first week, maybe 2 weeks when it launched, and I tha- I think that's like what I did more of than single player, where like I would go into these lobbies, and I really like the lobby system where it's basically like you're in this lobby with a bunch of other people, and then you go into these arcade cabinets to verse people, or like you can directly walk up to like these other, I guess, like just players just hanging around in this world, and like, and then you're like, hey, what, you want to challenge me? And then you fight each other, and yeah, it's so far I've been playing on Steam Deck. It's been smooth, and it's just been a really fun time. This is like the last Street Fighter game I played was Street Fighter 2. So going to a modern Street
Damn.
Fighter game, yeah, it was pretty nice. And also, I could be wrong if I don't know if this is in the offline mode, but in the online mode, there's also like cabinets where you can play the original Street Fighters. Like you can play Street Fighter 2
Yep.
within Street
Yeah,
Fighter 6.
it's on
And
the
Yeah.
offline
spin-offs
mode.
and stuff.
That was sick.
Yeah, I also
Yeah.
played Street Fighter 6, and it's another game came out at the same time as Diablo. I finished Zelda, played some Street Fighter, and then I had to leave for like 2 weeks, and then Final Fantasy was out. But that like week that I played it, I really enjoyed my time with it. I got decent with Cammy, and I'm starting from beginning. I think I made progress enough to like learn the game, and I had fun with it. It's a very well made fighting game for sure.
I
Are you
think
fun-
The
I mean,
finals? Who picked
Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
know
we
who else
got-
voted for this because
I
I
voted
did.
for the finals. I think the
Ooh.
finals is
Cyber
phenomenal.
voted for it.
And
Oh,
Cyber
did he?
voted.
Okay.
I mean, I tried it. I think I'm not a fan of like the battlefield style of shooting in games. It's nothing against the game itself, but it's just that style of aiming and shooting never felt as good as like the Call of Duty. But I respect it's a good game.
I think I need Street Fighter should win this category.
Well,
Okay,
we
Fusion,
haven't
you want to
actually
talk
talked
about it
the
first
finals yet.
before we
Yeah,
even
finals.
like
No,
just totally blow
That's
past it?
crazy.
Yeah, I think the finals is fantastic, and I've played a decent amount with it. My biggest complaint is the mode. I'm not a huge fan of the actual mode in the game, but like the shooting, the optimization, like this is the best feeling shooter that's released in the market in like in my opinion, since like the Halo Infinite at launch, like I think Halo Infinite felt amazing. It still feels good, but like the finals, the destruction, the gameplay, there's some balancing issues. I will say that as someone who takes the games competitively, like there's definitely balancing issues, but I feel like the finals has legs and it can if they do it right, it can continue to have legs and can be like a really good shooter on the market. The maps are fantastic. Again, like I said, the shooting is awesome because it's the former like Battlefield devs and Call of Duty devs working together. Like I said, the movement, everything just feels really good. I know you play. How much have you played of it, Bob?
Actually, I should go check Steam. I'll open it up while I'm talking. I've played a considerable amount of this game. It is probably the game I didn't expect to like grab me as much as it did this year because I was floored with how much I ended up loving this game. I'm pulling it up. So I have between Steam and Xbox 20 hours, and like the game released in December. So I feel like that should say a lot. But yeah, basically, um, what Fusion said, yeah, I think that's the game's strongest suit is its foundation because the shooting is really good. The weapons and the class system, even though like you said, they're not like fully balanced. I think they're all very interesting and unique and offer like different ways to play the game. And then the destruction is it truly is amazing because there have been so many times where like you do something and I think it really bothers me when games because like obviously it's very hard it's like very CPU intensive to have like these destructible environments, so a lot of games don't go for it. But this game has blown my mind so many times where like, oh, the objective is on the floor above. All right, just RPG the floor out, like, and then bring the objective down to you. Now we have the advantage. Or like, there's a one map where it's on a floating platform with like these giant support beam or like support hooks basically like floating in the sky. You can just shoot those down and the whole platform drops, and now you're facing everyone on the ground floor. No one has an advantage anymore. And like stuff like that, it doesn't really, like Fusion said, it doesn't really matter what the game mode is. That in itself is a fundamental thing you can build on, and it doesn't really matter the game mode. It's such a fun and addicting thing. But at the same time, the game modes are really fun. I tend to play the tournaments because I think those are the most interesting. Um, but yeah, I think it's a really good shooter. It's like a really addicting gameplay loop. Like I think it's one of those games where like F-Zero 99 is a great example. I won a game of F-Zero 99. I was like, okay, I won. Like I don't know if I really want to keep doing this anymore. But with the finals, it's like you win. And it's like, okay, but I still want to keep going. Like I know I could have done better, or I want to try out a new ability, or I want to try out a new weapon, or I want to try out a new class. And I think it's really refreshing because I feel like I mean it's kind of been brought up. There hasn't really been. I mean, the fact that Fortnite has 3 votes for best multiplayer. No hate to Fortnite. I hate it, but I will at least respect the fact that it has that staying power. But I think that's also because there really hasn't been a multiplayer shooter to come out recently. I mean, it was Apex for a while, Halo released, but like I think the finals really is like the first multiplayer shooter game in a long time to be like, no, we figured it out, and I think it has a very high future. I mean, I'm not calling it the Fortnite killer by any means, but I really love what I've played of this game.
This topic right here is the topic we call like. This is why Twitch streamers say gaming is dead. Because
Right.
they look at this list and they're like, there's nothing to play. Because
Right.
like on the multiplayer side there hasn't, which is why the finals has been so refreshing. We're like I just think as it's a true 2023 game. It's very good for what it has right now. Like it's not like microtransaction to like out of the wazoo. Like everything's pretty balanced in that section. It's a free to play game. I just think as a foundation, like I feel like this game in 2024, like we're gonna look back like 10 months from now, and it's gonna be like the finals has 100,000 plus on Steam like every day. Like this game, as long as they keep up with it. The problem with these type of shooters, these free-to-play shooters, they usually get to a point where they get
just
a
give
huge
up.
player base and they can't keep the content coming, and then people get bored because in a day like there's something's always fighting for your attention, and where Fortnite can release something every single day, and you're the finals, you're like it's gonna take us a few weeks to do anything. Like people just get bored so quickly, and that's how a game dies. So I'm hoping the finals gameplay loop at its core is good enough to keep people at least coming back. So I'm
Yeah. There's also one thing I wanted to bring up about the finals. Just the silly thing. It's like the AI voices for the
yeah, they
announcers,
do
where
have
it's
that.
like it's like I don't know. To me, it's like it doesn't really affect the quality of the game, but it is just a weird thing. Like I get
your
maybe
voice
not
actors.
wanting to pay the voice. Like, if you don't want to hire voice actors, like at the very least, just get a developer in the booth or something. I don't know. It just sounds it's such a weird shortcut. Like that's the place you save money
And
on.
what they have AI is so useless to the game. Like you wouldn't
Yeah,
need it.
exactly.
Like, it's bad. Like,
That's what I was gonna bring up. Like, I'm shocked that this is what they're bragging about, like with AI, because it's like there's at most 40, 50 voice lines. It
Yeah.
is not that deep, and it's like,
You could have recorded it in
why
an
did you
hour.
not
Just get the
pay
programmer
voice
in there.
actors? Yeah, it's actually kind of crazy in that
and you're
regard.
never hearing it because you're in a gunfight or something. Like you're never paying.
Yeah,
like,
right.
in
I'm
these
not
type of
really
games,
paying
you're never
attention
paying
to it.
attention to the
Yeah.
announcer or anything like that. It's just not how you play the game. So it's very weird that they pulled that.
I'll say you say finals is like a really strong foundation. To me, I think why I want to shout out Street Fighter for this category as well. That is just a fucking amazing fighting game. I'm
Yep.
not a Street Fighter fan. I'll say it right now.
It's only gonna
But
get
like
better.
what they're doing with that game is unreal in the sense of like they said, hey, this Street Fighter 5, we listened, we understand where your complaints are. Here's content, here's characters, here's a game that actually has style, looks amazing, plays perfectly from the Street Fighter fans' perspective. They're like, this is exactly what we wanted. I have not seen a single complaint about this game, not even from the online side where you're saying usually it's like, oh, the netcode is weak. No one's complaining about the internet, like the way that the game connects. That is unreal that a game could come out and just be the best fighting game in like years, at least to a lot of
They-
people.
I would put
they
my
went
vote
on
behind
have-
Street Fighter 6.
They
I
went
have
on their
some complaints with
passionate.
Street Fighter.
They went on their passionate 10-minute final speech, and we're just not going to give the award to that, huh?
So with Street Fighter,
Listen.
this is off the high heels of 5, which is a mess of all things considered. But the problem with 6 is that even though it has a super strong foundation, its character variety was lacking. Where a lot of the characters that were there weren't it's not enough to sustain it. Where so like Street Fighter is one of those games where next year when they're gonna do like another version, it'll be like Street Fighter 6 Ultra or whatever it's gonna be. Because they always do this. That's how they've been doing this for years. Then in my opinion, I recommend it to somebody. But right now, I feel like I don't even think the first season pass is fully finished yet. It's not worth it yet, in my opinion. Just because of the lack of character variety.
Bob
My vote
Fusion,
goes for Street
how
Fighter.
strong is finals? Like, is this I want to say this. Is it the multiplayer game that like, oh man, I want to play a multiplayer game, and is that the one you load up?
Yes, 100%.
Yes, but I'll sit here and tell you. Like for me, if everyone else wanted to go Street Fighter 6, I wouldn't push back hard enough. As long as I think for me it's between the finals and Street Fighter 6, and I'm
I
fine
totally
with either
get
one.
wanting to give it to a game that came out in 2023.
Yeah, like I'm fine with both of those. F-Zero, I don't think anyone here is gonna really fight
Oh,
for it. I'm not
God,
holding off, but I don't
Fusion.
think anyone
I'm
else is
kidding,
gonna
I'm kidding.
truly fight
You're
for
right.
it. My thing is,
I'll go
like,
for Street
so
Fighter
in between
6.
those two, and I'm not gonna like if you guys want Street Fighter 6 to be the winner, it's a fantastic game. I just think the finals is doing something new. There's how many other Street Fighters is there? Like, do they have non-numbered Street Fighters?
it's
So
the
there's only
finals.
6, but
Finals is just a new Battlefield game,
there's
really.
more
Like,
than
People-
six
how
Street Fighters.
new does it
People
feel?
People liked didn't like the last Street Fighter, and
The last
they're
Street Fighter was
taking
bad.
the
Yeah.
they took
Street
all
Fighter
the
6 is
feedback.
like a refinement. It is bringing back a franchise that has
Street Fighter
been on
6
the
came back
heels.
towards that end. Like it got a little bit
Yeah,
better.
but like
it was
that's
bad.
not going to be how it's remembered.
Yeah, the legacy
Yeah.
of 5 is going to be it's a bad game.
6 has a good foundation and everything. It just needs more characters and stuff, which is going to be added with time.
Of course.
I'm
I say
fine
we
with
give it to
whatever
the-
you guys want.
I'm with the Tekken 8 open beta that happened in October. You know, I
I'm
think
with
that's
Remnant 2. Where's it at? Throw Remnant 2.
yeah. Where's the Remnant 2 fan base?
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with Street Fighter 6 because I haven't played it, and honestly, I'm not a fighting game fan,
I
and
haven't played it, and I'm not.
I know people really like it, so like I'm not. It's as long as it's not Fortnite. like I'm fine with it, but I think the finals is like the first, because I will also say I've been trying to get back into Halo multiplayer throughout the year, and it just still doesn't stick with me, and like the finals is the first game in a while where I'm like, it's actually drawing away from my single player games, because it's like, no, I just want to play this, and then like 3 hours go by, it's like, oh shit, there goes all my gaming for the night.
I personally think. I fully respect it. I mean, I want to re-download the finals now. You guys kind of sold me in
I'll play with you
re-downloading it,
guys.
So yeah, I mean,
No,
I
you
don't
won't.
play on PlayStation. So.
Crossplay. It's crossplay.
It's crossplay.
Oh, it's crossplay.
Yeah.
It's down
And
everything.
if you
yeah.
play
Fusion
with
doesn't like me
I
though.
would play with you guys. I would play with you. But
and
that's
even
another
if
story.
even if you play with PC people, you still have aim assist, so there's not any of that weird bullshit.
I'd be down to
Okay,
try and
yeah,
figure that
I'll
out
download it.
soon. Me
We can
too.
play.
But it sounds like Street Fighter. I have no
many-
problem
Yeah,
with
Street
Street
Fighter
Fighter
wins,
winning.
Yep, same.
Listen,
I
you
think
got a new
Finals is
finals
the
player.
clear
with
winner.
Me too. I'll join with y'all.
Shout out to Street Fighter 6. It just to me, it deserves it. But like, shout out to the finals though. And Fortnite.
All right. Well, that went a lot longer than I thought it would. All right. So now let's get all artsy fartsy with best art direction. So we have 3 votes for Alan
Wow,
Wake
this is
2,
surprising.
3 votes for Hi-Fi Rush, 1 vote for Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, and 1 vote for Lies of P.
Okay, so I really want to know who voted for Liza P. Actually, I'm interested.
I think it was me. I could be wrong.
Let me
God,
go
bro,
check.
how
If
It
it
drunk
is,
is-
were
I
you?
know. I stand by it. I'm just trying to remember if I either picked Liza P or Hi-Fi Rush. I can't remember.
would-
off the top of my head.
I think it would
I'm pretty
have to
sure
be
it was me,
you
though.
because only me, you, and Wolf played Liza P. and I didn't
Cyber
vote.
would have voted for Alan Wake too, so yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I was just saying it had to have
Yeah,
been.
like Liza P's art style, it was realistic, but it was also like, I don't know how to describe it. It was really refreshing. Just from everything I've played, it was really refreshing. Just the whole experience overall was refreshing. But the art style, you would just explore and find these cool locations. I'm like, shit, this
It
is.
looks like a FromSoft game. Like it's the closest to like Souls-like game has gone to like nailing the FromSoft aesthetic.
Yeah, that's another
And-
thing too. But in
And
terms
also,
of
I
just,
mean,
like,
sorry, please, go ahead. It's your
I
section.
forgot the name of the style of clothes. I want to say like it starts with a V. I can't remember the tip of my tongue.
Victorian.
Yeah, Victorian. I love that art style. And, like,
Oh
the
yes,
whole,
it was
the whole
Dark who
game
voted
is,
for it.
yeah, the whole game is like that, and that's just something I really vibe with.
It was very inspired, for sure.
Honestly,
I also, I mean, to me, it's like Liza P is this is the highest compliment I can give that game. It was the closest game to ever making like feeling like Bloodborne, and that is a top 7 game of all time for me. So that's a very high praise. Just absolutely nailed the art direction, and really just that like dark fairy tale aesthetic, which I am such a sucker for, and I wish more games did that.
I voted
Um,
for Armored Core 6. I'm kind of upset I'm the only one that did, but I just thought like the vibes through the art direction in that game were just pretty immaculate. Just everything you walk and I mean you could have taken a screenshot of just about everything and it looked like someone drew it. I think that's the best compliment I could give that.
Armored Core
And
6 nails scale specifically.
yep, and I just think that I mean the mech designs and everything that flow into the art direction. I do think I'm someone who likes diversity in game locations, and Armored Core 6 doesn't really have that. Yet I still really liked the locations just due to the feelings and the art direction of them really vibed with me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just FromSoft's art design team just flexing
Yep.
over and
I'd-
over as
I'd
they
vote
always have.
for Hi-Fi though, if because that won't win.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
speaking
like,
of
the re-
Hi-Fi Rush,
Yeah, let's talk about this.
so I think the reason this really solidified my vote was, I think if you look at, like, I think the most common reasonings for it would be, obviously they're using the full color palette. It's very bright. It's very vibrant. It's very inviting. It just gives off like fun energy. And I also think what is it what's that? What's the word? The animation style.
Saturday morning cartoon.
Saturday morning cartoon.
I mean, yes, but I'm talking, or cell shading is.
Oh
is
yes,
there-
Yes.
Yeah. Like I think that was like really well done, but I think the two things I really want to highlight on top of those reasons is that I'm really glad I replayed this game recently, because I remembered that they there's like randomly they'll just switch to 2D and then they'll switch to 3D and like in both cutscenes and in game. And then they have like times where it's in like half frame kind of like comic booky skips, and then there's times where it's obviously like full like fledged 60 FPS. And then and like that in itself, like you don't see a lot of. Like I think we talk about I think a great example of this was when Spider-Man, you have the Spider-Verse suit and it's actually in the cut frame time to make it look like a comic book. Like this game's doing that too, and it's doing it like in the games and then in transitions. And I just really appreciated that they went that extra mile because they didn't need to. Like the art was already great. And then the other thing I want to point out is that all of the levels, or at least the main areas, feel so distinct. So you have, Rekka's like the kind of intro, and then like Rekka's HR, and then you have, I can't remember his name, but the budget or the R&D guy. You're like in the volcano and kind of the generated area, and then you have Mimosa's area, which is like the fair and the museum and the festival and everything, and then you have Roquefort's area, and then you have Kale, and it's like they're all so visually distinct, and they have their own like character to it. So I really love the direction of our art direction of Hi-Fi Rush, and I think they do a lot to justify that.
I know we mentioned this earlier, but like it really does just look and feel like a Saturday morning cartoon. And I grew up with cartoons and like everything there, so that's kind of why this game is very special to me in an art direction category. Obviously, this is the one I voted for because I feel like it is just playing a Saturday morning cartoon. It reminds me of something I would watch on like Cartoon Network. A lot of those like mecha shows that they had that was very much anime inspired, but they were Western cartoons. Stuff I grew up on, and to me, Hi-Fi Rush alludes so much of that while also just telling the heartfelt story that genuinely fits with the art style. And to me, that's why it wins because the art style fits with the story, and they collide so well together to just create this mashup that is a dream in heaven, and genuinely is a game I think about more than I'd like to admit.
Who else voted in Alan Wake? I know Cyber
I know
did.
Cyber
Wait,
did.
who was
Yeah,
who was the third
Oh yeah,
Hi-Fi
who was
Rush
the
vote?
third height?
I was.
Okay,
Wait,
yeah.
so it's me, Bob Benson. Okay, good.
Any final
Okay.
thoughts, Moon, before we go to Alan Wake?
Pretty much just what everyone's saying.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
No, pretty much what all you were saying. It's such a unique style too. It's not just your typical cell shading like you'd see like in Borderlands that a lot of other cell shaders try to replicate, but just the fact that not only does like the actual game look interesting, but like just look at the picture that I chose here with the style of like the logo and all that. They settled on a design and they went for it all full hog, and I greatly appreciate it. And we need more games that just like commit to something like that. And yeah, I just don't see what people are going for with Alan Wake 2. Did Alan Wake 2 win Best Art Direction at the Game Awards? Can't
Yes.
remember.
I think it
Yeah,
did.
Because yeah, Alan Wake 2 is a visually impressive game, but it's just here's hyper realistic. Is that an art direction? I don't think so. That's just I want to make this game look as
I
real
think
as
it is.
possible.
I think like visual fidelity, it's Alan Wake 2 with a bullet.
Yeah, it's a visual fidelity thing, but in terms but when I think of art direction, I think of like you pick a style of how you're designing your world, your characters and all that, and you go into that. And that's what Hi-Fi Rush did. Whereas Alan Wake is just, yeah, we're gonna make this game that looks very realistic because it has to match alongside our live action segments.
Yeah,
You're a
yeah.
hater.
So yes, so I've Fusion and and Cyber, we voted for Alan Wake 2, and I'm gonna go and say like I really liked the art direction that they went more so with Alan's sections than Saga's, where like where
Oh yeah.
the sceneries, like the settings, would just like it it would just pop out, and like the color schemes and everything would look really nice. Like even the lighting effects in some of these scenes, like even just in the slide here, like the red lighting, I thought all around was like pretty impressive.
The hotel level when you change the story theme to like
Yeah.
demonic,
Yeah,
and there's
that was
this
cool.
just red light that hues throughout the entire area, and that was the one part, like the jump, like the horror wasn't as much there for me. That was the part where I genuinely did feel like a oh shit moment, like actual fear in a lot of ways, and I think
That's
they
my
absolutely nailed
that's
that
my
section.
thing with Alan Wake 2 is like art direction. Like I put lighting in there, but you put everything in there. Like Alan Wake 2's lighting is absurd. Like the
Yeah,
way they
it's
use
really good
lighting in
lighting.
certain areas, and like the interior designs. Like you go into like a building and just everything is well crafted down to the T of just everything. You're looking at everything and everything just like perfectly like hand drawn or whatever, however they did it. And like this is, I have no issue with Hi-Fi Rush, but I feel so strongly about Alan Wake 2, and this isn't like the Keeleys, but like this is the award Remedy somehow always walks away with. In 2019, they won it with Control. Like Remedy games have this certain style where they're all very realistic, but they all have something slightly. They're not like they're realistic, but they're not Naughty Dog type realism. They all have like this little flair where it adds and it looks like a Remedy game because it's in the Remedy engine. I have no issue if Hi-Fi Rush was the winner. I'm just saying I feel strongly that like Alan Wake 2 is the best looking game, which doesn't always have to be best art direction, but I think it's easily the best looking game of the year and like maybe top 5 ever. I just think the interior design, the lighting, the way they use reflections and everything is just so well made.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's all like polished and has like no issues and like I don't know. But Hi-Fi Rush also looks amazing and it's the most unique art style of the year. So
I would just say that I would categorize stuff like lighting and design stuff like that more to game direction more than art direction. That's how I would feel. That's how I would compartmentalize it. So, but that's just me.
Also, Fusion, I mean, you said it yourself. Hi-Fi Rush is the most unique game of the year, and if there's one thing I value so much in the AAA gaming industry is uniqueness. And I think Hi-Fi Rush there's no other game that looks like that game. And that's why I want to give it to Hi-Fi over Alan Wake 2, which everything you're saying is correct. With the way that they utilize those environments, the lighting, the shading, all that, it is really gorgeous. But Hi-Fi Rush is doing something that these games are not. And that's why I think it should go to that.
And I'll just kind of to wrap up on the Hi-Fi Rush gang. I think what Fusion's saying, like it just like Will said, I think he's totally right. But I think the one point that he made that I think really makes me feel strongly more about Hi-Fi Rush is it's realistic with some flair. Now, that is, I think, both in Saga's and Alan's like chapters, like there's some incredible like flair, and when you change the scene, like it is incredible. But like there's still a lot of parts where it's like you're just in a small, sleepy town, and it's like, I'm not saying that as like a negative, but I think it's like those scenes, like there is a lot of that where it's like I'm not really like it is just kind of realistic in what it is, whereas I feel like Hi-Fi, there's just so much there, and I don't think there was ever that level of I don't know. I don't want to use like I don't want to use this as like a way to tear down Alan Wake 2. I'm just saying like I never got that in Hi-Fi Rush, whereas like Alan Wake 2, like the parts that are really good are good. It's not that the whole way, and it couldn't be because that's part of the reason why the game is what it is. But I think just for art direction, I feel way more strongly about Hi-Fi
Yeah,
Rush.
like I would vote more for Lies of P for purely art direction or before I would vote for Alan Wake 2. Just because
Yeah,
it's so
I
it's so
think I'd
unique
agree.
and different looking.
no,
Yeah,
I'll concede Hi-Fi Rush. I have no issue.
yes,
Yeah,
the
they act
same.
like two legends can't coexist.
Exactly, yeah. Like Hi-Fi Rush, like I still really like the art style of it, and I mean, like there are some like I guess licensed games that I played that make me feel like I'm like in that universe, and even though like
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush is original, but like yeah, if it were based off something like you'd feel like you feel like you're in that world.
It's the lighting that like the Alan Wake 2, like the dark place and the way they use the red lights and all. It's so good. But I will sit here and say like Hi-Fi Rush is very unique. It was the most unique, and I have zero issues with it being the best art direction.
I will also say, I mean, we talked about earlier, Herald of Darkness, like that is
Yeah.
art direction right there. That
God.
was awesome.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So good.
Okay.
All right, we're ready to move on.
All right. So moving on to the next category, Fusion, you got to answer something for me. So we are moving on to best trailer / reveal. We have 3 votes for Grand Theft Auto 6 Trailer 1, 2 votes for the Hi-Fi Rush reveal / shadow
What
drop,
the fuck?
Ooh, that's a good
1
one.
vote for the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth gameplay / release day trailer,
Ooh.
1 vote for the
Bench.
marathon reveal at the PS Showcase, and 1 vote for specifically Tears of the Kingdom trailer number 3.
Hell yeah.
Fusion, you voted for Marathon?
Yeah, it is
Are you-
fantastic.
Are you well?
Dude, do you guys remember that trailer?
I mean,
Bro,
it
it
was
was
kind of a
PS
cool trailer.
Do you
I
guys
I mean, I
It wasn't
get
all
it.
that,
The PS showcase was really a brutal time for Fusion, so it's like I need to parse something out of this.
The music in that trailer is fantastic. I
Yeah.
mean, that trailer, like
It's a
there was
good
no.
trailer, yeah.
Don't hate on me for the marathon trailer. I was happy to get to
It's
the
a good
best trailer
trailer.
because
No, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
it's just like the way you for one you have no idea what it is. Like it comes out of nowhere, and like
We
if you're a
still don't know
fan
what
of,
it is.
well, I'm talking about as in you had no idea Bungie was gonna appear or show up or do anything at this showcase. So the fact that Bungie out of nowhere, you're getting this trailer, and there's bits and pieces, and people are like, "Is this Marathon?" Like people who know Marathon would like know maybe little bits of it, but like no one else had any idea this was a Marathon trailer. And the fact that it was just the hype of, "Hey, Marathon, a 25-year-old franchise from Bungie is returning," and the music and the way it sets up and like the art and everything in this trailer, I guess this is my favorite trailer of the year. Like I think it's easily forgettable if you've only watched it once, but I've watched it multiple times. I feel like this is a trailer where if you like sit down and watch it again, you're like, wow, that's a really good trailer. It's not too long. It's like 90 seconds. It's a fantastic
is.
trailer.
Way better than the Fair Games trailer. So I'll give you that. Like it is a good trailer. I'm watching it again. It's like, yeah, this actually does go really hard. But like it is one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, I guess that was revealed this year.
Also, I think it's very funny in Bench's submission of Tears of the Kingdom trailer number 3. Then he provides the link.
Now, okay, listen, Bench. I know we have our differences on a lot of things, but that trailer goes fucking hard.
It does.
It is
Yeah,
an amazing trailer.
It reminds me, leading up to this trailer, there was a lot of hesitation with Tears of the Kingdom because we just didn't know much, and we were wondering if they were going to drop that Switch presentation 2017 trailer like Breath of the Wild got, and this was that, yet somehow surpassed it for me. Like, just I've watched this trailer countless times leading up to launch. It's just hype. It's just you can't the excitement I felt after watching that trailer. Like after this trailer, which I think was like a month and a half before Tears of the Kingdom, there wasn't a day going by where I just like wasn't thinking about Tears of the Kingdom constantly. Like just I couldn't wait after this.
Bob, I can assume that you're Final Fantasy VII.
Hell no. I think that was Dark.
No, I don't think that was me.
Oh, it's
No,
Cyber
Dark
then.
No, I did GTA.
It's
Oh,
Cyber.
Cyber?
No, that was me.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, surprise.
Wait,
Moon's
Matt.
freaking quiet, Moon. Come on, speak up.
Yeah, very good choice. Yeah.
I wanted to see how far many people you would go through before you got to me.
Real quick, wait. So, which specific trailer was this?
Not the
I'm
last
trying to.
This
I
was
had to
in
go.
TGS?
It
Or
was
no,
the
the
one,
Summer
I
Games.
think-
TGS.
Yeah, TGS. I think it was.
That was.
You
I
have
mean,
to
all
sell
the trailers they put out
All
for
the
this.
all of
game
them have been
were
really
great.
good. And they've all
Yeah,
kind
they're
of
great
blended
trailers.
together
Yeah.
for me.
And I liked the music performance with the last one probably the most.
See,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like
This is
that one,
great.
but my problem was that they played the trailer during the
Yeah.
performance. And it's like I want to watch the trailer.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can.
but-
There is a version on Square
Oh,
Enix's
no,
Yeah,
I
it
know,
also
but
wasn't the full
just saying it's
trailer,
silly.
which was
Yeah.
weird.
And it was still a
I-
cool
yeah, it's-
moment.
Yeah, it's a cool moment, but it's just like you could have just not played the trailer and then after the music performance played the trailer. Then that's what I would have done. Hey, it's still a good trailer.
I think the original like one with the release day where we really got to see like Cloud and Sephiroth together and they're like traveling and we're seeing more and more of the game. I think that was the second one.
Summer
That was
Game
like the
Fest.
first one.
Yeah, I just kind of just picked whatever first showed us like actual gameplay. 'cause
Right,
that's,
right.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking forward to.
Just-
Yeah, I think that was a strong showing, but it was like I don't know. It was awesome for the Final Fantasy VII fans, but I don't know.
The scale
You're
of
the
this
Final
game.
Fantasy VII fan.
I agree, but I mean, hey, I mean, if you want to start transitioning to it, I think the Hi-Fi Rush reveal and Shadow Drop.
I wasn't done.
Okay, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
think just the trailers are starting to show the scale of FF7 Rebirth, which is just exciting.
Yeah, 100%. Like it and showing like the open world. Yeah, I think that is like a pretty big deal for this next game.
Mhm.
Yeah, you could pretty much throw any Rebirth trailer in
And
that slot.
it seems like the developers know what they're talking about with crafting this world because they're very much trying to harness the feeling you got when you left Midgar in the original FF7, which is important.
I do want to shout out that Hi-Fi Rush reveal trailer. Bob, that generally was like I forgot, but like, yeah, this was literally just a game that they revealed and then shadow dropped. And the whole trailer was like, I need to play this right now. Like, I remember watching the developer direct, and like the whole time I'm like, oh God, let me load up the Xbox. I need to get this thing installed right now because I just need to like jump right into this thing.
Yeah, and I will say, like, I didn't know the leaks ahead of time. I mean, I was at work that day, so like they leaked and I was like, "Pff, I didn't get to see it, but I watched the developer direct live and I was like, okay, cool. And then they just like drop it and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why does this go so hard? What, like, it was just like sensory overload, and then like to have it drop that same day, it's like, holy shit, this is unbelievable. And then, you know, it obviously helps that it was a great game, but I think just the lightning in a bottle that Xbox captured with how they revealed this game. And side tangent, we're recording this in obviously early January, and there's already rumors of the next developer direct, and there's already rumors of another shadow drop, and it's like, that's not how this works. You can't shadow drop something every single year because it won't have that same impact. And I think that's why it makes Hi-Fi Rush so special. And it's like, I don't want them to replicate that. Like, I think it was just like something you can do every once in a while, but like that was truly a special moment. I'm sorry, Dark, you were saying something.
No, I remember we were having this conversation in the server because it was before Nintendo. I forget when it was. It was earlier this year or last year. They announced like a surprise Nintendo Direct, like out of the blue, and we had a emergency meeting. And I remember very vividly somebody mentioned the possibility of Mario RPG there, and I was like full chested, full everything. I was like, this game is never coming. I The very next
We
week, a game got shown off.
no, that was the
Oh,
later direct. That was the September direct.
yeah, it was
The
last year.
June direct was the one where we had this meeting.
Yeah, I remember it was the same one where we talked about, and then Mario RPG got shown off. I was like, what the fuck?
That was
No,
the
it
summer
wasn't.
Oh, was
Yeah,
it?
that was yeah, we discussed during the summer one. I think we were you're talking about Super Mario RPG, not Paper Mario.
That's what I'm saying. Super Mario RPG.
Oh, I don't know. I just like think of Paper Mario too much, guys. I'm
He
No,
just
okay,
sorry.
always has
Mario
Paper
RPG.
Mario on the brain.
No,
Yeah.
Mario RPG. So I get the mentality that they might not do it, but at the same time, given how things have
There's a
played out,
chance.
I would not be surprised if another show.
I mean,
Anything is
it
possible now.
was the most positive news they've had of the last year that they've struggled with. So I think trying to replicate it could do them some good if they decide to do that.
Real quick, who was the other vote for
Yeah, I'm
Hi-Fi
actually
Rush?
curious.
I think it might have been Cyber because I was also GTA 6.
Okay.
Let me go look.
I
But
mean,
I'll,
listen, we
I
got
just want to talk
GTA
about
6.
briefly because the
Oh, go
news
ahead.
just came out, not like literally the other day, where apparently Hi-Fi Rush has been sitting at Xbox since around mid 2020, and they
No,
just
okay,
couldn't.
so
And they
Okay,
just
yeah, I
it
couldn't
heard the
wasn't
find
that
anywhere
they.
to put it.
It was just a trailer. The
It was
game
just a
wasn't
reveal
It was
done.
supposed to be announced at
Yeah.
least.
Okay, I was
The
making
game
sure
wasn't
we
done
didn't
until it
spread.
got released.
That'd be funny if they just pulled the Nintendo and like waited to reveal the game.
Yeah, that especially with their 2022, that would be actually batshit crazy.
But we gotta talk about Grand Theft Auto 6. Listen, okay, guys, I'm biased. I'll fully admit it. But that trailer was better than I imagined it would be, and I was already like, people know I'm already hyped out of my mind for Grand Theft Auto 6. It is easily my most anticipated game. I am a Rockstar fanboy, and that trailer just reminded me why I love Rockstar. It's just the worlds. It's they create this world that you want to check out, you want to live in, you want to see the sights, the locations, and just it's not even just wow, it looks good. It's the population density. It's seeing how many people. You have to understand what we were dealing with 5, where we thought that was mind blowing back in like 2013. But you look at this trailer and it just looks like 5 console generations ahead. It looks like something that only Rockstar can do because they're the only ones with GTA 5 and online money. And like it exemplifies exactly why I love Rockstar because they just make these trailers that are so perfectly framed and create this environment and world that you want to go into right now. And I understand Fusion had the argument that the GTA 5 trailer is better. And yes, I will agree. I do like the GTA 5 reveal trailer better, but that does not discount how fucking incredible that this trailer was. And I keep hearing the thing, oh, there wasn't any gameplay. There never really is gameplay in these types of trailers. There's never these over the shoulder, here's how it is like playing the game with a controller in the first trailer. they're just trying to set the mood. They're trying to set the like what this world is going to look like, what it's going to be. And I absolutely think they nailed it. And like, Bob was talking about it, like when we were talking about it, it's just they nailed Florida. Like the aesthetic, the nature, the world, it genuinely feels like we're going to Florida. And as a Vice City fan, as someone who's stuck with Grand Theft Auto for a long time, I am just so fucking ready to go back to Vice City.
I picked this
Yes.
one because of the story behind it. So I think the only thing that comes close to this story-wise is probably Hi-Fi, but this game, this trailer had an announcement a month before it came out. An announcement for an announcement trailer, and then you had the day before where it got leaked, and then the Rockstar themselves had to come out and publicly
Buy
release it. It was
Bitcoin.
this whole yeah, that it was dumb, but this whole sequence of events, this story that was being told just for this one trailer. That's why I put it.
Yeah, it was a
It's
ridiculous.
interesting you say that though, because that's actually why I didn't vote for Grand Theft Auto 6 as the best trailer reveal, because I think I'm gonna be honest, the lead up to this trailer was so annoying. Just like everyone like over analyze, like Rockstar obviously not saying anything, and then even though they would like hint to it, and then the overanalyzation for like 6 months, and then the announcement of a trailer coming soon, and then it gets
Calling me
leaked.
out.
It's like I just I didn't like how it was handled. Obviously, some of that was out of their control, especially like with the leak and everything. But I just thought it was a little too much
I
for
mean,
like just on the reveal side. It's still an amazing trailer. I just like if we're talking trailer, I guess it is trailer slash reveal. But if counting the two together, I think Hi-Fi just had a slightly better package.
Oh yeah, just to confirm,
mean-
it was Cyber who voted for Hi-Fi.
Gotcha.
to me, the big thing is like this is the biggest game in the world. Like this is easily the biggest game in the world. So of course you're gonna get a lot of how do you say that word? Analysis. You're
Yeah.
gonna get a lot of over analyzing and whatnot. And of course, like to Rockstar, of course they're gonna say, "Hey, trailer next month." That builds hype. That builds anticipation. And literally, right when the next month started, they didn't wait a few days. They said, "Oh, January 5th, or not January 5th, December 5th." And obviously, that was like kind of caused a ruckus because of buy Bitcoin over here, but still, it led to an exciting, intense reveal section where we were all talking about it. It was like, oh, are we going back to Vice City? We saw that picture where they like teased the like December 5th reveal, and it's like, oh, it's Vice City because the like. And then there was that funny little thing about the seagulls. It's like 3 seagulls, 3 playable protagonists. Very silly stuff, but like that's kind of what I love about hype cycles that I feel is so far gone now. Is just this over analysis of crazy things. I mean, like there was a story about how like the bullet holes in the car in the promo art is braille for when the next reveal trailer is happening.
Hey, there's like
Which
something
is
else with like a T-shirt that they
Yeah.
released in GTA Online, and it was crazy.
yeah, it's like that's the type of like hype cycle that I love, where it's like we're going crazy over the littlest things. It reminds me of like that hype cycle for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is a very special time for me, and that's why like I'm hoping GTA 6 is that same thing for me, like all over again. Jet, you keep wanting to speak. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so with GTA 6, I mean, the first thing I noticed was the fact like because GTA's like what Rockstar does incredibly well with 5 and I'm sure with the previous games is like they're evolving so that the environment is also evolving with the times. Like in this one, you saw all these like like these TikTok or Instagram reels and these are showing like actual things that have happened and I just really like that they're making this really dense environment and like Will said they nailed Florida and the song "Love Is Long Road" was just a
Such a
really
good
good
song.
choice.
Yeah,
Shout
man,
out Tom Petty.
everyone. Tom Petty just shot up the charts when that, like, because it's the biggest game in the world. Like, of course, like everyone's gonna be talking about it. Like, it in 24 hours, it passed GTA 5's reveal trailers like all-time view count. It is like almost at 200 million views right now, which is absolutely insane for a video game trailer. And it just it I know it shouldn't add validity. Obviously, our industry is valid, but it is just kind of that nice feeling like everyone is talking about it, the news, mainstream media, celebrities, all that. And like I know I shouldn't try to seek validation from it. Like obviously, I don't seek validation from those sources, but it also just it really exemplifies just how big this game is, and I'm absolutely ready for it. I think Rockstar is going to hit it out of the park, and this trailer instilled a level of confidence in me that they're going to nail it.
The marathon, am I right? You guys like that trailer?
Hey, I will say with Marathon, Justice, that was the song in that trailer. I love Justice. Great choice of a song on that one too.
No, I'll take anything at this point. So.
It's a good trailer. You got me to watch it again, and it's a cool trailer.
Respect. I'm fine with whatever. I guess like Marathon was one of the few. I think I take in more. The trailer itself was really good, but I like the reveal aspect of like we didn't know it was coming. We knew GTA was coming, which
Yeah.
I am fine if this is what we're gonna pick. But like we knew, like I like when a trailer drops out of nowhere. Like I'm surprised no one picked the Blade trailer because I thought that trailer was kind of
That
like
was a CGI trailer.
yeah, I guess it was
It
CGI,
was a
but
cool
like,
trailer. But
it kind of dropped out of nowhere and it was Blade. But like I'm fine with whatever you guys want.
Yeah, I
So.
do think they should have just dropped the GTA trailer. I don't think they needed to make an announcement out of it. I think it would have been more memorable if
But
they
that
did.
led to the hype cycle. That's what added
We know
to
why
it.
he
Was
did
that
it. 'Cause,
It's not best
well,
hype cycle,
no? But
but
like
I
that, just like I this might be fun.
yeah, and honestly, I'm totally cool with GTA 6 winning
Yep,
it too.
same.
And
Yeah, we'll just give it a GTA. It's a
Yeah.
whole thing.
Oh my god! Let's celebrate! Woo! Grand Theft Auto! Come on, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
I've been so positive on y'all's
we
choices.
like GTA 6. I was like, there was no. Everyone picked so many different things. Like, there's no.
I
All
probably
right.
almost had a shot.
So moving on
No,
from trailers for
Hi-Fi
games that
Rush
aren't out.
It's amazing too. But like, please go ahead.
All right. So moving on from trailers from games that aren't out to expansions of games that ccame out in previous years, we have the best DLC expansion category. We have
yeah,
4
we're
votes for
lost.
Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, 1 vote for Forza Horizon 5 Rally Adventure, 1
Man,
for
who
God of War
voted that
Ragnarok
one?
Valhalla, 1 for Pokemon Scarlet Violet the Indigo Disc, and 1 for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed.
All right, I'm getting ahead of it now. I have been waiting for this moment for like a month because since like the announcement that we were gonna do this, like Wolf has been making a joke that I'd somehow get Forza Horizon on this list.
He did it. He did
And
it.
I'm gonna be honest, in the same way that no one's like, there was only like people only played one like indie game this year. This was the only DLC I played this year, so therefore that's the reason I voted for
You
it.
played Pokemon.
Was the first
No,
one? Yeah, okay. I still liked as much as the Forza DLC's mid. I did not like. I forget. I want to forget that I played the Pokemon DLC, but. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
That's
both
so.
DLCs are
Nothing
good.
really to say about Forza Horizon 5 Rally Adventure. It's a fine DLC, but yeah, it's really the only one I played.
You
this
just
year.
wanted to have Forza up on the screen.
Well, it was just funny that Wolf kept making that joke. I'm like, actually, the way this is gonna shake out.
I know, like I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna happen eventually. I do real quick. So I was God of War Ragnarok Valhalla before that. Moon, can you read what I
Yeah,
wrote?
I was gonna say, like, let me read Wolf's response here in this category. Let's see, where is? Yeah, here it is. Down here. God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. Parentheses, but also Dead Cells Return to Castlevania. Dude, it's so fucking good. I wish Valhalla wasn't this year so I can make that my number 1. End quote.
Man,
They
I wish.
literally Dead Cells is out here being like one of the best indie games of all time, one of the best roguelike games of all time. And then they're like, hey, what if we combine it with one of your all-time favorite franchises, Castlevania? And they fucking did it. And it wasn't just like, oh, it just looks like Castlevania. No, like you got the characters. Shanoa from Order of Ecclesia, which is one of the like lowest selling Castlevania games, but still one of the best Castlevania games. They have her as like one of the merchants, and also just the Dracula boss fight was fucking awesome. And this metal ass fight on the castle, the falling chandeliers, just one of the best DLCs. But stupid God of War Ragnarok had to hit me in the feels. That DLC just fucking nails yet again why I love God of War, why I love this DLC. The fact that it was free. The fact that it was fucking free and it had as much content as it did, to me, Valhalla is a fucking just reminding me why I love this game so much. That ending cutscene, I still go back and watch it every now and then, and I'm like, I still cry because it's fucking beautiful.
I wish I liked Valhalla. In this, is a me problem. It is the story in Valhalla is great. I found out I hate roguelikes because playing that was one of the worst gaming experiences I had this year. I just don't like roguelikes, but the story was great. So and it's
Oh, it's
crazy that it was
impressive.
free.
I'll come in real quick and say Valhalla is amazing. Like very like I like roguelike, so I guess I'm the complete opposite of Biggs, where like
Yes,
I absolutely love roguelike. It's maybe my favorite genre. Like I have so many favorite genres at this point, but I think it's between like Metroidvanias and roguelikes. So like just make every game both. Maybe I don't
No.
know.
Oh my god. That's when the industry finally evolves, is if every
But
game is a roguelike or a Metroidvania.
but at least I like that Binks liked this story because this is very like there is way more story in this free DLC than you would have ever thought you were gonna get.
It's mandatory
Like
if you played.
yeah, it's
Ragnarok.
100% mandatory as
An
like a
epilogue to
if you play
Kratos' story.
Ragnarok. So it is based that you pick this.
And I do need to shout out, like, as someone who's played the original God of War trilogy, the callbacks to the Greek era is fucking insane. Like, there is a weapon you get where I was like, oh my fucking. I could not believe the weapon you got. It's just an insane moment. And just seeing Kratos really reconcile with his past self and understand everything. And it is just, it reminded me, it's like Kratos really is just one of the greatest video game protagonists of all time.
Great DLC. Who picked Pokemon? Was that you, man?
Yeah, because kind of like what we've been saying with I only played one indie this year. Yeah, this was the only DLC I played this year. But I will give Indigo Disc specifically, which is part 2 of the DLC, some credit that it did do a lot of things that a lot of Pokemon fans have been wanting, including wide variety of Pokemon that came back. Not everyone came back, but a good chunk did.
My favorite
The
didn't
high,
come back.
the harder difficulties, which made me drop the DLC because I just don't have the time
Yeah,
or
that
patience
was
for
a
that.
that actually made me dislike the DLC. I thought it was too much of a curve, but I liked the first one a
Children's
lot.
game. I'm kidding.
No. There's some sort of curve in the way you're fighting these Elite Four members
yeah,
that just
like,
makes it feel bad.
One there, the Elite Four for this group, like the 4 that you see in the character art here, they have like legit broken teams in some way.
Like,
So
yes, every pretty much weakness you try and go after, that Pokemon can just trump it because
they
just
have
some-
something to counter it.
It's
yeah,
like the Brilliant Diamond Elite Four and Champion fight.
Harder.
harder.
Oh shit!
And-
Okay.
And the fact that these guys are all like in the 80s, so they're already like high up there. So you have to like either hopefully your main team has been grinded to hell, or you got to go and make a new team and grind it to hell to just get on level. Like I was only like 1 or 2 levels below them, and I was getting smoked. So like
Now
you
you
not
guys
only have
got
to
me
be at,
interested in playing this.
like you not only have to be at level, you probably have to be a good like 5 to 10 levels above them just so they don't wreck you.
Yeah, you actually have to like plan. Like I actually had to take some Pokemon out of the box and use them because I needed that extra type advantage and move advantage.
It wouldn't be so
I-
bad if there was some easier way to grind. And I know there's like the EXP candies, but just to get the EXP candies, you got to go do all those raids. I'm like, it's just so much work.
bad.
Yeah,
So
I will
I
say
admire what they did. They obviously took some feedback regarding what the content should be, and it seems like they've done it really well in this. So I hope continuing going forward, they continue that trend of giving what some of the more diehard fans want, which is
I
like the
like-
greater difficulty and whatnot.
I do think that they have one of my favorite Pokemon characters now of Kieran.
Oh yeah,
who-
that's the other thing is all the characters and the storyline between part 1 and part 2 is probably really good. Not as good as the base Scarlet Violet story, but it's still really good.
like you have Kieran who like starts off as a timid, shy guy, and then he pretty much
He becomes
devolves.
the biggest asshole.
He becomes the biggest asshole, like the biggest asshole of all the rivals, and you just see that like slowly
Hell yeah.
deteriorate, and it was just such a cool thing. And I mean,
That's-
even until the end of that Indigo disc, and then I guess if you want to mute, because I kind of want to say what he does, if you care or not.
I kind of
Do you
care.
care if I? Then can you deafen? Because I do want to say this because it honestly was like pretty wild. Like what he does is, like at the end of the first DLC, he's mad that you got the legendary. So when you're fighting the legendary at the end of the second DLC, he literally just throws a master ball at it before you get to fight it, and he catches it. And then eventually that undoes, but like there's shock in that because it's just like it makes sense that he would do that. And I thought that was very cool. So
Yeah, so that's just going back to what I was saying that Pokemon did do a lot of stuff that the fans wanted. They gave us back the asshole rival. Like all of our rivals for the past 4 games have been nice guys. Like, oh gee golly, you're my best friend, so but you're also my rival. It's like, no, we got the asshole back. So
Yeah, and it wasn't
yeah.
just like, and he fell to that level, which was a fun thing to.
Yeah, it's a fun
experience.
character arc, and it's nice to have like this actual part 1, part 2 DLC storyline. Whereas with Sword and Shield, they were just 2 completely different adventures. Whereas I think I prefer this, where you actually have a, I don't want to call it an epilogue, but like it's what a DLC should be. It's an extra story, and it's a confined story.
And then you have the epilogue coming out in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, we got the epilogue. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I'm excited for that though. Okay, so yeah,
Sorry.
So I picked the Xenoblade expansion. Monosoft, when it comes to their expansion, they are on the same level or even above the Witcher
CDPR, yeah.
expansions. Yeah, CDPR. Their expansion, they're not just like these are like full blown games, 15 to 20 hours long, new combat mechanics and everything. But the really important thing about this game is that it was the conclusion of both the entirety of Xenoblade, the entirety of the saga that Takahashi has been trying to tell for 3 different series, the conclusion of fan favorite characters from the beginning of Xenoblades 1 and 2. And he did the literal impossible with fixing Xenosaga 3's ending and bringing it into Xenoblade to the point now that Xenoblade 4 will likely be connected or is Xenosaga 4 because the 2 endings are matched up now. It is
Yeah,
literally incredible what this man was able to achieve with this DLC. And the fact that it's been getting so much like not that many people have been like talking about it is kind of like insane to me.
I mean it's one of the highest reviewed things of the year too. I'm definitely lower on it than some like Dark. I do think it wasn't balanced super great,
Oh yeah,
but
I
I
had
do think
balancing
it,
issues towards the end. That final boss was
like
fucking
that.
rough.
Yeah, N took me like 2 hours, and I had to like grind and stuff, and I just that kind of soured me on it. But at the conclusion to the 2 characters, I think was that really cared for was really well done, and then also showing some light on getting in some development and stuff, and I thought it was all really good.
So much
Is
ended
Ricky
with
in it?
No, Ricky
Oh.
was in the base game. You find out what happened to him. But
Oh, no, good play.
so much was finished and wrapped up beautifully with this expansion, and it perfectly teases what the future of the series is. That there was no other choice. The only thing that could have possibly come second up to this, in my opinion, was Separate Ways.
And also, then you just have Rex and Shulk, who are
Rex
just like they
Hill
went through
carried it.
hell and back. And they're
Yeah,
like
they
mentors
carried the
now.
expansion.
So,
Shulk has nice hair. I like
and
the
also like
new
the
hairstyle.
dynamic of Glimmer and what's the dude's name?
I'm trying to remember his name. Shulk's kid. I was calling
Yeah,
Shulk's kid.
they're pretty much both kids of Shulk and Rex. However, they don't know it because of the cycle of the game. But seeing them kind of like Shulk and Rex's like feelings towards that, because they just had a really hard time of it post each of their games, was all really good.
Like
All
this,
right, guys, you can. Oh, sorry, Dark, please.
yeah, I was about to say this expansion went so far that Nintendo made a deal with Bandai Namco to get Xenosaga rights. It's fucking insane when you think about how much process went into this expansion. But yeah,
I think the Cyberpunk fans want to be let out of the cage now, though. So
The
you guys can always
cyber
get.
kids. That's what we
Yeah.
call ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
So
start just because I'm mean. This is like without a doubt, I think top 5 expansion I've ever played. Top 5 DLC, top 5 expansion. Like this like solidified Cyberpunk for me as like one of my favorite games. Like in my top 5, like the content they added, the story they added, the writing, just like everything in this expansion, the area is just like so good, and it deserved like all the praise. And it was so cool to see 4 years ago when Cyberpunk launched in that buggy state. We all know what happened. The reviews came out, and Cyberpunk was at like a 70 or something, or like a 60, some crazy low review score, which was quite
The
deserving.
PS4 and Xbox One versions, where the PC version was
Okay.
at like 90.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, the console versions were super messed up. And then to see like the comparison of when this dropped and these reviews came in and it was like a 90, 91, it was just cool to see the comparison where it was kind of seeing like they finally got to where they wanted to get, like the redemption story. But that's just besides that. I just think the genuine writing and the characters that they introduce and the voice acting and the choices and everything they add into this. This is a classic CD Projekt Red expansion if you played Witcher 3 and like those big expansions. And it's just so good, like just straight all around. There's like nothing more I can say except like
There's
but
no-
praise it.
It's just very gray. Like there's no good sides in the story. Both of the choices you have to make are just bad, and the ending is just like somber. And I mean, I really enjoyed this expansion for sure. One of the best things I've played this year.
Yes, same. Like building on that, this expansion just it took like what was really good about like Cyberpunk as a whole, and then you put it into this smaller but dense area, Dogtown, and like we have all these cool missions, and then you also have another big actor in the game, and like I thought the performances were really good as well, and just yeah, just like the condensed story of making a spy thriller, and then you run it like what Bench was saying with the choices, like you run into these dilemmas where either choice you make, it's very gray.
They fixed
Hang
a
on.
lot of the problem with the main game, where the main game didn't give you enough choices. Phantom Liberty was like, we're giving you all the choices. Like, get to making choices, and it's choices that matter. And it's like,
It's a spy thriller.
And then you have
You
that
got
like
me a little interested now.
then you have that like 5-minute ending thing at the credits that just gives you chills.
yeah, it's really good. Like, I do not see this is a category where I don't we're
I
open to
won't let this
discussion,
not win.
but I don't see how
Second is
Cyberpunk does not
Forza,
win.
and like, come on.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
just
this
funny
was
saying
a-
Phantom Liberty next to Forza Horizon
Yeah.
5 Rally Adventure.
Chicken.
Like, this is like that type of I could see, and this came with 2.0, which I know isn't really a part of the expansion, but like it dropped at about the same time. Like 2.0 came out 3 days before they, so it's just like everything surrounding Phantom Liberty is just so positive, and it's like you ask 10 people what their favorite thing about Cyberpunk is, I guarantee half of them would say the Phantom Liberty expansion.
Yeah, and also another thing is like the ease of access, where like you don't have to beat the full game; you just have to beat a certain mission, and then you can just go straight into Dogtown, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you don't have to be the whole game. It takes place in like Act 2 of the game, so like they made it so perfectly where it's just like fits into the narrative. It fits into the already really well written narrative, and the CD Projekt Red was like, let's write an even better narrative into the narrative.
Oh yeah,
But
Cyberpunk wins.
unless anyone thinks
But yeah,
anything
it's
else
like
deserves it.
I'm okay with Cyberpunk winning because Pokemon's just glorified fan service. I mean, some probably could argue for Valhalla.
I think
I mean,
Valhalla's really
listen,
good,
it's my
but
favorite, but like the passion for Phantom Liberty is clear, so I'm fine with it winning.
Okay. All right, so moving on to our final category. Wow, this I thought we were gonna blow through these. Now we took our sweet time to argue. So now the final category, and the only one to have all 8 of us have a different answer.
oh wow.
Ooh, oh god, this is bad.
So
That's not
one
good.
vote for everyone across the board here. So for best character, we have Alan Wake from
Oh,
Alan
no.
Wake 2, Alex Casey from Alan Wake 2, Clive from Final Fantasy 16, Arena from Persona 5 Tactica, Carlock from Baldur's Gate 3, Peppermint from Hi-Fi Rush, Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate 3, and Spider-Man / Peter Parker from Spider-Man 2.
Okay. So who's killing each other? How brutal is this gonna be?
Saying that we just had 8 different that's like
That is
absurd. That never happened.
crazy.
So
I'm
do we also
curious
want to
about-
reveal that this was also the category that got the most changes of votes that people changed later?
Oh, people were
really.
changing this up. Was there any?
I didn't change.
Did anyone have the same vote before they changed this?
No. So,
Oh,
I mean, if you
wow.
want me to reveal it, I'll reveal them.
Yeah,
So-
sure.
No, yeah.
So, originally, instead of Carlock from Baldur's Gate 3, it was Shulk from Xenoblade Future Redeemed. And instead of Peppermint from Hi-Fi Rush, it was Sid from Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, I actually liked Sid a lot. He was awesome.
I thought about Sid.
Let's put Sid on the list.
Dude,
I'm
this is
fine
gonna
with
be
that.
so hard. This is going to be impossible to
Okay.
choose.
Okay.
someone.
I don't.
I wanna-
Okay. Can I
Moon, I know
propose
you
that
voted
we
for
don't have a winner and we just talk about what we
Yeah.
liked about our
Yes.
characters, so we
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
not
I'm
fight?
down with that.
I'm fine with fighting personally.
Whoa.
Oh, we know you are,
It's not
buddy.
surprised at
We're
all.
3 hours in now. We gotta. Yeah.
It's funny. Whoever picked Alex Casey is base because I almost picked that one.
I think that was
I think that's
Cyber.
Cyber. Listen, I'm fine. I mean, I assume Fusion. Did you choose Alan?
No, I chose Peter Parker.
Oh, really? Tell
yeah.
me about this. Hang on.
I
I
think.
think Alan was me.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll
So
go,
Jack was Alan.
let's go from Alan Wake down so Jack can start.
Okay, that's right. Go ahead, Jack.
All right. So uh, after playing Alan Wake 1 and like that game established Alan Wake and like how he's this crazy writer and like what this whole story and he is like his end goal in that game was to like save his wife and whatnot. But now in this one it goes at another level because he's also like he's also ruined this world and it's like calling him a crazy writer now is an understatement because now there were so many layers of him that I really liked. Where like sorry, I'm just like trying to think of how to word this, but his character development throughout the game was incredible, and I think just the expressions, like both the voice actor and the actor brought him to life and in a really special way, and I think I just really appreciate the character by the end of it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love Alan as well. I got to give you credit for that choice. I kind of say it's like I liked Saga, but like to me, Alan was the reason I was playing that game. I just love the idea of like diving into the mind of a writer and really seeing like where his head is going, why he thinks the way he does, and I just love the whole little gimmick of just like. I wrote the story. I did this. It's like I don't know. Something about like his little inner monologues has just added a lot to the game for me.
Hey, his inner monologues were great.
Yeah.
I mean, Fusion, do you also love Alan as well?
Yeah, I really. Alan was like up there in my top 3 of like who to go with, honestly. So like I have no like Alan Wake's an awesome awesome character.
And then Alex Casey. I mean, while we're still on Alan Wake, I assume that was Cyber.
Yeah,
So
Cyber. Okay, I'll do my best Cyber impression. It's like I like his goofy face that he makes.
his face is awesome.
You know,
Yeah, Fusion, go
Alex
ahead.
Casey just like he's just like that dude. Like I don't know, Alex
He's
Casey's
that
just
dude.
like
He's the
just that
homie to
dude.
Saga.
Yeah,
He's the
like,
guy.
he'll just go in there and he'll play the bad cop if he has to. He's just like he's an awesome
You get
character
that
and he's been around for like ever.
moment at the end between like where you realize just how close Saga and Alex were. Where like he came over, he would babysit because like after his wife, and like there is a lot to that storyline between Saga and Alex that isn't just they're partners, and I think that really added a lot to Saga's storyline.
And you have the Alex Casey in like the dark place. Like you just have like there's just a lot. Alex Casey's an awesome character. I assume Clive was bench if I had to guess. And Bench,
No.
okay, is Bench here?
I'm
Bench
back.
here? We're on Clive. Is
What's
this
up,
you?
Bench?
This is me.
Okay.
I think Clive's character arc from the start of FF16 to the end is just magical. Like going from wanting revenge more than anything to growing into a leader and a person people respect, and pretty much a leader of a like rebellion and just a place where people can pretty much slaves like not have to worry about that. Really grew into his role after the midway point of the game, and then like the confrontation with his mom, I thought really showed his character growth, and then just his ending just like really tied it all together.
Moon, I know for a fact you chose Arena.
I really just couldn't settle on a character. So I'm like, you know what? Arena was a highlight of the game, and she is the heart and soul of the whole story. Like the Phantom Thieves
Persona
actually
5
take,
Tactica, by the way.
yeah, Persona 5 Tactica. The Phantom Thieves themselves, all the returning characters that you know from Persona 5, all take a back seat to Arena's and the other new characters, Toshiro's story. And it's all about them, and she's like the leading charge of everything that happens in the story and the character development. So, and what happens when you find out about her and her backstory and all that, I thought it was just a good old time. I really enjoyed. I did not see a lot of it coming, which is always a good thing for me when I don't see a plot element or a character development coming, because I'm usually pretty good at guessing, and when I did not see a couple of them coming, I'm just like, yeah, this is awesome. So I just had to give it to her because of some plot twist later on in the game.
I was the one who picked Warlock.
Yeah, that's my
So
guy.
I didn't romance her in my first playthrough. I romance Shadowheart, but there's a good reason. Karlak, he didn't feel like partner for like someone you would romance, if that makes sense, like a romantic part. She felt like the heart of the crew, and I truly believe she would. I think she had the
Yes.
best story out of the entire crew in Baldur's Gate of all the recruitable characters, and she was just amazing from start to finish, with just how she was. I'm not gonna get into the details because there's people.
I want to get into one detail specifically, but I understand we can't. All I'll say is the ending. I
Oh yeah,
wept. It was really powerful to me. I absolutely love that character so much. Like you said, she's the heart and soul of the crew. She is the homie for life, and she means a lot. Like I absolutely love Carla. She was my number 2.
Okay, so I said earlier that I was not dazed when I made my selections. I think I was on the goop when I changed it from Sid to Peppermint. I think I am changing it back to Sid.
Let's go.
Um, although I mean, I liked Peppermint's. I did like Peppermint's character in Hi-Fi
Yeah,
Rush
Peppermint's great.
and her relationship with obviously, I mean, spoiler, Kale. And kind of just like the relationship between those two, and then her relationship with Chai, and then the seemingly relationship with Corsica. That was an interesting one.
That was an interesting read.
Yeah, I totally just I don't think anyone saw that one coming. But no, I do want to talk about Sid from Final Fantasy 16 because I think he is arguably the strongest point in the beginning of the game, because he is like this renowned character that kind of just he's just so fucking cool, man. Like he just like he's got like a great look to him. His voice is so just like fuck yeah, like that dude just kicks ass. And he like and he's also just like very much a mentor figure for Clive, and so helpful both in the um like for him specifically, but also like for the hideaway and helping all of these people and gaining this community and understand, and like and he's kind of the one who like put the plot in motion for basically the main plot of the game for the majority of it. And I think that he just like it sucks because based on what happens later in the story, uh it takes unfortunate turns, but I think for what we do get from him and what he provides, and his relationship with not just Clive but Benedicta and oh, I can't think of his name. Who's the king of Waloed bench?
Barnabas.
Barnabas, yeah. Like he does have an interesting backstory. He does have his own like little mini arc, and I think he's easily one of the most memorable characters from Final Fantasy 16, and just like a great performance overall.
Peppermint's cool too, though, right, guys?
Yeah.
I like Peppermint.
I do like Corsica more, though. Come on,
Yeah.
Shadowheart. That's
So does
me.
Peppermint.
I mean, I said kind of all my piece about Shadowheart, but like I just think the performance, but also just like the character itself, where she goes from kind of like this uptighty, snooty type character, like fights for Lady Shar and whatnot, but like the development throughout the game, especially in Act 2, going into Act 3, kind of that final confrontation, you get this really emotional scene with her. It just exemplified like why I love Baldur's Gate 3 is just how much like just how much care they give these side characters. This is a companion, and yet she's better written than most protagonists in games. So I just have to give it to Shadowheart for that reason.
Guess I'm last. This was hard for me. I thought of characters for some reason. A lot of good games in 2023, but I felt like for me personally, not like a super memorable character of all the
Yeah,
games I played.
that was
Yeah,
kind of
same.
me too.
So it was like
Mostly.
very hard for me. But like then I thought I'm like Insomniac's Peter Parker is my favorite Spider-Man. I've said it 100 times. Like to this day, it's my favorite version of Spider-Man. Like I love the Spider-Man in the game. I love Peter Parker. I love Yuri voicing him. So like I thought it was another great performance. I love the bonds and the connection between like Peter and Harry in the game and Peter and MJ and just like Peter going through his grief and like all like I just think they just did really well with him in Insomniac's version of the game. So like that's why he was my pick. Like I said, it was really between like Alex Casey, Alan Wake, and Peter Parker. And at the end of the day, I was like, Insomniac just has done it well, and they continue to do it. So like, shout out Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, Peter Parker. I mean, Spider-Man.
All right.
That is
So yeah,
my
I think we'll
Spider-Man.
settle that we're not going to be doing like a vote for this.
I
'cause we all
think
have
me
different
and
votes.
Dark had a really good argument for Karlak. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. Since we all had separate answers. All these characters are great. Play these games.
All right, so that is the end of our category discussions. That went on a lot longer than I thought. Didn't think we'd get so heated on some of these, but the deep dive conversations about a lot of them was really, really appreciated. So, but moving on to the top 12, these are, and how, just a reminder of how this works. Everyone was assigned point values. If you voted for your number one game, it got 12 points. Number two got 11, all the way down to number 12, only got 1 point. So just consider this and take into consideration that I also did I did put the point values on the game to see how many points the collective gave these games. And a max points that a game could get was 96. Or was it 96 or 92? I did the math real quick. But I completely forgot 96
Should be
because that would have
96, yeah.
been 8 of us giving it 12 points. So just think of this as out of 96 instead of 100 because that would have been too easy. Anyway, so moving on to your official Slice of Gaming 12th place game with 18 points is Star Ocean, the second story R.
Wow.
Let's go,
He-
baby!
He actually got it on the list. Shout
Let's
out to you, bro.
fucking go.
Because literally only 2 of us played this, and we both gave it high regards. So it came out to a nice squeaky low 18 points, but it was high enough. That's what's going to show you that once you get into like top 8 or so, it really was a fight of like 1 to 2 points, where everything after like 8 or so got really low. That's why even something as low as 18 points is in the number 12 spot.
Bob, what place did you give this?
That was number 3 for me.
I think it was like 3 or 4 for me. So yeah, that's why it's got 18 points from only 2 people.
Yeah, it must have been 3 because you had 9 and 9.
Yeah.
Um,
Anything
yeah,
else you want to say?
RPG fans, man.
I will say on top of everything we kind of we didn't necessarily talk about like the story in the game itself, but a really fun combat, and just like it is obviously a remake of a 90s like PlayStation JRPG, but I do think what they're adding, also the HD 2D art style was incredible.
It's so good. Oh,
it is very good. If you like any of those games and you kind of want a different combat style than like a turn-based or kind of that kind of limited, I don't want to say limited, but I guess simple action like a Sea of Stars, like Star Ocean gives you like full combat, and it's probably one of the strongest points of the game.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, the combat and the graphics are like high points, especially if you're playing like the PlayStation 5 version on a nice, really, really nice TV. It looks ooh.
Yes, great handheld game too.
All right. So coming in at 11th place,
Oh,
Starfield
no.
with 22
Let's
points.
go.
Let's
Oh
go.
my god. We should have done a top 10. Damn.
Actually, you know what? I was originally going to do a top 10, but then I saw what was 11 and 12. I'm like, okay, we're doing 12.
Yeah.
This is okay. Listen, I am glad that people like Bob enjoy the game for what it is. I appreciate the good things it's doing. I'm trying to be level-headed and nice. You know, I've been told that maybe I've been a little too mean about games that we're celebrating, and I want to celebrate these games. And I think Starfield does good things for sure. But yeah.
Who else voted? I voted for it, obviously, but who else voted for this?
Cyber
I
really
think
liked it.
Cyber did,
Yes, I
Dark
really loved it.
did.
I also put it on my list somewhere.
Nice. Yeah, I
So
mean,
somewhere.
Starfield, especially at this point, because we're recording again in early January, has definitely cooled in a lot of people's opinions. And there's been, when you filter out all the, I think, genuinely disingenuine discussions, there is actual good conversations going on about how this game was designed and developed, and how some of that can feel very out of date, and even for like Bethesda standards, like just not up to they're seemingly standard. But like, I don't know, man. It was a fun space exploration game. I had a lot of fun with it, and I like it kind of sucks where it ended up as a total package. But what can I say? I'm a sucker for gritty sci-fi.
Yeah, and I think that's really it. It's just like if you're a fan of sci-fi, I think you'll get your enjoyment out of Starfield. So, like, I'm happy people enjoyed what they got with this game.
All right. So moving on to now the top 10 with a total of 24 points, only beating Starfield by 2. We have Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon.
This is disrespectful. Should be
This is
higher.
This
disrespectful. I
is
thought
way lower than I thought it was gonna be.
I thought it would be high. God damn it! Well, what was this? Like my number 6, I think, or number
this
5.
was my number like 4 or 5, I think.
This game is freaking insane. It's
So
so
good.
good.
It's so good.
Does anyone else want to talk about it?
I mean, so it's on me and Bench and Cyber's list. From
We
what I
kind
can
of
Yeah.
talked about it at a good length earlier.
Just it's FromSoft showing why they're the best in the
Yep.
industry. That's all I have
it
to
was,
say.
it was the best FromSoft game.
All
Okay,
right.
let's calm down, young man.
So moving on to one with 25 points, so it only beat
Wow.
Armored Core by 1 point, is Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, this is possibly Vinc's nightmare.
Listen, I'll
Well,
take-
guys, I'm glad to have joined the podcast. This has been a great time. Wow,
I'll
this is
take
my
it.
Joker moment.
I feel like
this
ninth is
was
way
so
lower
good.
than I thought.
This was my number 2 for the year.
Yeah,
It's the second
most of the
best
points
game.
came from Bench.
Your second best game I played this year. I just absolutely loved my like 70 hours with it. And then when I was voting, I really liked the DLC, which was also pretty recent at that time. So I mean, I just loved the game.
I respect it. I think this was my number 6. So like it was pretty high for me, but like I thought it was gonna be higher on our list, honestly. Like I could have seen this being
Yeah,
like
you're gonna see a couple things. Like
I-
it's gonna get real tight in the points right now.
I will say I had a funny story where the last couple nights I went to sleep. I forget what night it was, but I had a dream we were doing this whole freaking thing, and Final Fantasy 16 was number 1, and I unironically woke up in a cold sweat.
Bob, this was high on yours, right?
Actually, it was number
Well,
8. It was
okay.
not that high.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it still made the list, obviously, and I'm
Yeah.
happy it's here. But yeah, no, it ended up not ended up as high. But I mean, I still really enjoyed my time with it.
All right. Well, moving on to 8th place. Like, we talked about a couple games, but how about we talk about 2 games at once because of a tie?
Oh.
Ooh.
Coming in at 28 points, we have both the Dead Space remake and Sea of Stars.
Whoa!
Dang.
I was
Sea of
not
Stars is
expecting Dead
low.
Space.
I adored Dead Space. I think that was
Wow.
Dead Space remake is just such a good game. Loved
This is
my
a
time
game
with
that
it.
I need to go back to.
You
Yeah, it was a
bought
good
it.
time. It was
in
on mine. It was
January, like
pretty
a
high
year
on my list. I think
ago.
it was like 4 or 5 on my list.
Don't remind me that I bought it, Bench.
It's been sitting on the shelf for $70.
It looks really good on the shelf.
It does.
Yeah, no, this
I have
is-
a hard copy.
I was debating on this. I could have broken the tie because I was thinking of changing some places. I was lazy and did not do it.
Oh, just give me a moment. I have a story about some of the points in the next slide.
Yeah, I was gonna because I've realized I like this more than RE4 remake.
Base, me too.
Wow.
Same.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like
Oh
it
same.
my
better, too.
god, Fusion just had to like wake
gonna
up
go with
to.
This wasn't on my list, so good. I ruined that for you guys.
Yeah, Fusion didn't put any remakes.
I did
He
not
stood
put any
fast in his
remakes.
Yep.
philosophy.
All right. Well, you thought that tie was really fun. How about another?
Oh my
Oh,
god!
shit.
Because at the 7th place, we have a tie of 29 points.
Whoa!
Wow.
Super Mario
Oh,
RPG
let's
and Super
go.
Mario Brothers
Yay!
Wonder.
Oh.
Wow!
The two Marios hand in hand.
That's what I
Both
thought. Was
amazing games.
Okay, so I have a story I have to tell
Wolf.
about this. So the only person to change their ballots was Dark after he played Super Mario RPG, giving it 10 points because it was his new third place game. So
Oh,
that made that
thank God.
tie to Super Mario Brothers Wonder. But here's the kicker. That tie we also had with Dead Space Remake, because he made Super Mario RPG his number 3, that means all of his other games went down a point. So Sea of Stars went down a point, making it tie with Dead Space. So both ties are because of Dark.
I'll take it.
I think I'm the Sea of Stars now?
Dark.
You have
That's
multiple
so
limitations
based.
of me. Let's go.
This is why
Dark just
like,
throwing
Sea of Stars
everything.
deserve better.
And
No,
listen,
no. Okay, hold on.
I mean,
Yeah, Sea of Stars would have
Mario-
been above Dead Space if it wasn't for Dark changing everything.
Mario
Mario
RPG deserves this. All right, that game
No.
was it was a
Bench,
masterpiece.
calm
I don't want to
down.
hear it.
This
This
is a
game
celebration.
was
Well,
incredible.
you can't say that.
He's a changed man. It's character development.
I will
I was,
also-
I was told to tone it back, so I toned it back. All right, yeah, I can talk about FF16 again if you guys.
No,
really
no.
want.
I will say, yeah, Super Mario RPG was number 4 on my list. This game was an absolute delight. It was just super fun the whole time, and I just had an amazing experience with it. But also Super Mario Wonder, that was number
That's
7
the
for
problem.
Really
me.
good though.
Yeah, Wonder is amazing. I absolutely loved it. As a 2D, I mean, I'm a Mario fanatic. It's pretty high on my list. Just it did everything I really wanted it to, and like everything that it needed to do is not enough to really break into the top 3 or number 1. But that's just because it's a 2D Mario. If this was a 3D Mario, that's a whole different story. Because I've always just preferred those games. But Wonder is kind of just in a lot of ways a wonder. They absolutely nail the aesthetic, the vibe, and it is. It just reminds me why I love Nintendo.
Yeah, I'm surprised this didn't get like. I'm
without
surprised
question,
Wonder didn't
it's
get like art
creative.
direction.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
good art direction, but not to the number 1 spot, I'd say.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it just the creativity on
yeah, I
display is
really.
unreal.
We all know my thoughts on Mario RPG. Disappointing, but I did really like Mario Wonder, and I thought it was just a good good path for the franchise. So I did all the Wonder Seeds and all that, and had a good time.
Yeah, same. I'm like really happy with both Mario Wonder and Mario RPG. And I thought like before playing a Mario RPG and just beating Wonder, I'm like, all right, there's no way I'm gonna rank Mario RPG over Wonder because I'm like Mario Wonder was really good. But no, I ended up ranking Mario RPG as number 4 and
Wait, chat.
and Wonder as 6.
No, Super Mario RPG was an absolute delight from beginning to end. And
So,
it was very
another
solid
thing-
experience.
Wolf, you beat it?
No,
No, that didn't mean it. That was a bit.
I
Alright.
would have beat it, but like I don't know. I
No,
got
you
things to
wouldn't
do.
have.
I would have. It's a 10-hour game. Of course I would have. It's gonna happen in 2024. Watch.
No, it's not.
Backlog game of the year,
Yes, it will.
baby.
All right, and then last thing regarding Super Mario RPG's Dark's last inclusion, because
Is
of
that
the
another one?
big 10-point jump, he actually Super Mario RPG wouldn't have been in the top 12 if it wasn't for Dark.
Oh, you are so
Oh.
base, Dark. You are so
Dark's
base
yeah,
for that.
Dark.
Let's go.
So
Dark
it wouldn't have
goes.
been in this slideshow if it wasn't for Dark playing it and putting it as number 3.
No,
Oh,
he
that's
ruined,
awesome.
He ruined Cocoon's chances or something. I just feel it.
Bench
Greg
just
was
texted
supposed to
me
be in here.
Bench just texted me he's going to drive over to Dark's house. We should be worried. Dark.
Yeah, we should
Okay,
be
I'm
worried.
in this snowstorm. Let me see what's going on.
All right. So we have no more ties after that. So
Aw.
moving
Yeah,
on
really.
to
2 ties is crazy.
and so close to like 29 points and 28 points
Yeah, that's
respectively.
insane. It could have been a
Yeah.
4-way, bro.
All right. So coming in at number 6 with 35 points. So now we're getting into the like
Ooh,
really
good job.
top tier stuff now. As Baldur's Gate 3.
Ah!
Wow.
Maybe
I
if these
thought-
kids played it.
No,
I
there
thought
was-
it
there
was
was
wrong
no-
with you.
There was no way it was going to be higher.
I thought it was going to
The-
be higher.
I
Only
hate
3
Fusion.
humans played it. Like,
Only like
Yeah.
2 of us.
Yeah, see, that's the
played
thing you have to consider is not everyone here played it.
It
I
made my
think if
top
you-
12.
Fusion is sitting here. I tell him
why-
he should
why-
just
why
go
does
into
it
Baldur's
matter?
Gate 3, and he's like, "No, I have to do Divinity: Original Sin 2." Like it's like Lariat is standing behind him. Like you have to play that game first.
should I
I
just
think-
put it 1 on my list for you?
I think
Yeah,
this,
just do that.
I think this was my number 10, maybe.
Yeah, he's Bench had it the lowest.
Oh, shocker!
It was funny. It
This-
was like Dark, Wolf, and I can't remember who else had it like in their number 1 or number 2 spot, and then there was Bench at like number 10.
Yeah, no, it's my number.
I think
1.
that
It's
was
my
the
game of
biggest
the year.
discrepancy on any game. Like everyone else had games like relatively in the same spot, but yeah, this was like the biggest difference between a game on
I
someone's
mean, yeah,
list.
it was both
Not
Dark and
even a-
Wolf's number 1.
Yeah,
Interesting.
no, I mean to talk about it, like this is my game of the year. Spoiler alert: Tears of the Kingdom is going to be higher, but like to me, my viewpoint is while Tears of the Kingdom is an incredible refinement of what they did with Breath of the Wild, Baldur's Gate 3 is a game that is pushing the RPG genre forward. It is a game that is taking the genre of RPG, saying, "Hey, actually, we can make a game that is on the scale that we're seeing like Sony first-party games do, that has full-on voice acting, that has characters, that have these deep and enriching stories that have multiple branchways. Because it was always that lie that was told. That was like, well, we can't have a game look and play good while also having like all these branching storylines. That's not possible. And Larian said, no, actually, you can't do that. And I think they absolutely nailed it. And it's a genre that like CRPGs are not my thing, but like just the fact that I put it on easy and then I was like, you know what? No, this combat fucking hits now, and I'm having way more fun with it. And just every character so well developed, and a genuinely like Act 3, the way that they resolve every single storyline is just an absolute masterpiece. This is easily without question my game of the year. It's not even a doubt in my mind.
This was the first CRPG I've played, and it was incredible. And it was thanks to Wolf I played this. I cannot take. He got me this as a
Oh,
gift
you're
for
so
my birthday,
cute.
and it's because of him I was able to play this. Everything this game was just for me. It really came down to just the choice. Like if I felt like doing something, 9 times out of 10 I can probably do it if I got the dice roll, and it was incredible. But yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to,
I
I was
mean,
about to jump you once you said it was because of. I thought you were saying like he hyped the game up or something.
No,
But
I mean,
I
No, you
respect
literally
it. No,
bought him the game.
yeah, I know where you were going, but that's not where I thought you were going with it. And we are gonna have a conversation.
I mean, Fusion, like you talk so much about how much you love Larian because of Divinity Original Sin, and like right now, I'm a Larian fan too. I think this is a
I am
studio
with
that
it as well. I want to go play that.
they they have a path forward, and Divinity Original Sin, that's a game on my backlog now. I'm like, you know what,
And
I want to play that now.
apparently, Baldur's
It'll be
Gate 1
on-
and 2 is coming to Game Pass, so we can all play that too.
Look, if anybody can save KOTOR, it's Larian Studios. All right, just putting it
Okay,
out.
let's calm down. Let's calm down. Let
I'd,
it
I'd
rest.
play Divinity 1 and 2 if they like went on sale.
They
They
always
went on
do.
sale,
I
like,
think they're.
They're always on
More
sale.
than-
Not on
Yeah.
PlayStation.
I
On
think they
Xbox,
probably
they're
are.
like, more often.
I got it on sale on PlayStation. It was a PS Plus game.
Dude, they were just on sale, bro.
Oh, well, I missed that, so I guess I can't play them.
Pro
You
was
didn't look hard
asleep.
enough.
All right, so moving on to number 5 with 36 points, so beating Baldur's Gate 3 with 1
Okay,
point.
which one of you screwed me over?
Resident Evil 4 remake.
Oh,
I screwed myself
disgusting.
over. I should have put this down one.
Okay, I put this game pretty high. But this game deserved it. I no life the crap out of this game. I played this game relentlessly.
Yeah, bro
Good
was like
game.
doing replays every 5 seconds.
I
Like,
think
he
it was.
speed
I
running.
was doing speed running. Like, I think the speed run I have now is literally impossible to get because they patched it.
How high was it on
Right.
your list, Dark?
This was pretty high.
Like
I
top
don't
three?
remember the exact. No,
Oh well.
but
For me-
this game is incredible. I remember Moon got into the game and he started playing, and I beat the game like 4 to 5 times by the time it took Moon to beat it.
He's got a full-time job. Let the man rest. I do want to real quick, like just like with Resident Evil 4 remake, what I gotta give the most props for is that they took a game that I genuinely thought was just a masterpiece that really couldn't be touched, that original RE4, and said, you know what, actually, let's try something new. And to me, it's like I do still personally prefer the original RE4. I understand why people prefer remake. I get it. But like it is just like I think RE4 original still hits for me just a little bit more. But I also just think of it as like the two cake fallacy where at the end of the day, I got two cakes. It doesn't matter which one's better. Like this is two versions of Resident Evil 4 that I'm definitely going to go back to both of these versions multiple times and just relive that experience, that story, that gameplay. Everything that I love about Resident Evil as a franchise just culminates in this remake.
I do want
So,
to say,
yeah, Dark put it as number 4 game.
yeah, it was right there. I do want to say though
Yeah.
that this game I did have issues with it until Separate Ways came out. Separate Ways not only fixed every single issue I had of this game, but it evolved from the original in a lot of ways, and Separate Ways is incredible. I know like the $10 was like pissing me off, but like it is very much worth the $10.
That's too rich
Yeah,
for my liking.
Separate
Like,
Ways
Roman
is
podcast.
very good, and Resident
Built a
Evil 4 I
PC this
really
year.
enjoyed.
This game is really good. I'll give Resident Evil props.
If you guys
It's
have
a
not played
very
Separate
good video
Ways,
game.
Where was
Like-
it on your list, Fusion?
Wasn't on it.
It was a remake.
And because of
Oh.
that, moving on
Wait,
to number
Jet,
4.
wait, hang on. Jet,
yeah,
Jet
yeah,
also.
yeah. I was gonna say,
I
yeah.
want to
This was on my number 3, and yeah, I was
Oh
just
wow.
yeah. I ranked this really high, and then this came out like in March, and this was just a few months after I caught up to the RE engine games, and man, this hit hard, and I'm so happy that we got to play it this year.
Right.
That's my boy.
All right, so moving on to number 4. Now, here's the crazy part. difference between number 5 and number 4. We're going from 36 points to 47 points.
Oh wow,
Oh.
Jesus Christ!
11
You
points.
got some heavy hitters.
To
Yeah.
Alan Wake 2.
Whoa!
No.
Oh,
That's too
Fusion is in
low.
shambles.
Oh man, that's too low.
I
That's
thought this
peanuts,
would be
please.
second.
Fusion, I'm so sorry. It's
I
because
thought
of
this was
me.
gonna be second
Yeah.
also.
It's because of me.
Yeah,
Probably because of
Wolf
me
put-
too.
Wolf
Yeah,
put
me and Buck.
Alan Wake 2 at like number 10 or something.
Yeah,
It didn't
it's
make
on-
my list.
It's on site.
I would have
Listen.
if I would have played this, I could have changed some things.
All I'll say about Alan Wake 2, as much as I love that story, I just don't like the gameplay. I don't like
Yeah.
flashing a light at shadow puppets,
That's
and I
what
don't
knocked
like
it down
those
on mine as well.
cheap jump scares where it's just boo. That's
They
all
got
that was.
me. They got me in bop. That's all that matters.
Well, no,
Yeah.
that's the thing though. To me, it's like that's such a cheap way of scaring. But of course, I want to sing the praises of this game as well.
Yeah,
I can't
gameplay is what
believe-
keeps it low on my list.
It's no surprise, but this was my number one. Like I assume everyone know that by now. This was my number one, and like
I
it
think it was
just
like my
cements
number 4.
it like cements Remedy into a top 5 studio for me easily. Like I just think this was their like what's the word I want to use?
Magnum opus.
Yeah, it's just like they did it so well, and I feel like it was all the Remedy games finally coming together and being like, hey, everything like the Remedy verse, everything we are finally built into this one game, and it's just like Remedy's always been on the map, but they've never been on the map like Alan Wake 2 has putting them on the map. So I'm like so excited to see like the future of Remedy and seeing like more people actually be there day one and buy the game, and like I don't know, I think Alan Wake 2 is like a borderline masterpiece to me.
But
I
not
thought
a
it was
10 out of
I
10.
thought it would be higher.
Say it's a
No,
masterpiece.
I thought it was
going
going to be higher too.
I 100% thought this was going to be top
I
2.
thought it would be like number 3. Well,
So like this
I
does
wonder
surprise me a
what's
little bit.
wait, I
I-
know what's
I know
above
what's-
this. Holy shit!
Like
I'm surprised.
Jat had to have had this game high.
Yeah, it was his number 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was my number 1 too, man.
And Cybers.
Yes.
And Cyber
So,
had to have had it in his top 2.
It was his number 1.
Had
No,
to
I think it
have
was
been.
his number 2.
Oh,
Moon, you
maybe.
can check.
What?
What do you know
It's
what
Cyber.
Cyber put this game as?
I think it was number 1. Let me double check.
Dude, 3 people
Well-
be put this as number 1?
But that's what I'm saying. Based on the math, if it's 47 points, it seems like 3 number 1s and 1 number 2, and then 4
Okay.
people didn't have it.
Yeah.
I didn't play it.
Yeah, it was his number 1.
This is
Yeah,
our game
don't
of the
you-
year, actually. If you
Well,
think about it,
well,
like,
let's go.
logically.
Don't do the kind of funny thing because, like, if that was the case, then the 2021 Goatee for kind of funny would have been Psychonauts too. All right, we're not going to do this. Who did the most number 1s?
Oh.
Hey, I respect
I mean,
the way we're doing
shut
it.
up. I am so excited for the Control 2. I am really excited for that.
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
Alright.
and oh,
Hmm?
sorry, just
Oh,
one
no,
like
you're
final
going to say
thought.
something. Go ahead.
Yeah. This year was just a fucking good year for horror action games. Dead Space, RE, Alan Wake. I'm just very happy this year.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh shit.
All right, moving on to number 3 with 51 points, so only a 4-point
Pikmin
difference.
4, baby.
Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
Yo,
I'm surprised this
Jam.
is it. It's honestly kind of disappointing that it's
I'm on
this
my
high.
knees in Walmart right now.
This is just too high.
Too high. Those
But this game
bastards
is
at Insomniac.
amazing.
This game
But-
deserves the praise.
Yeah, like I have no problem. I just thought Alan Wake was better.
I just
Yeah,
thought there were
if
better
Wolf
games.
and Bop would have put it higher, it would have beat Spider-Man because it's literally only 4 points.
Wait, for what?
Well, Bob
no,
didn't put
Bob
it on
didn't
the
I
list,
didn't
so
put. I
no.
didn't. Well, I didn't play Spider-Man
goes on-
2, and I didn't put Alan Wake
yeah.
2 on my list, so
That's
I'm,
true.
yeah, I'm exempt from any of this.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh,
Never
really?
mind.
Yeah, he's just the third party.
Okay, then we can
That's-
blame Cyber then because he didn't play Spider. He didn't play Spider.
I shouldn't have wasted my fucking points on Pikmin. God damn it. God damn
So who,
no,
was this
no,
anyone's
I stand
first?
by it.
No,
this
it
is my
wasn't
second.
anyone's
No.
first.
Wow.
I mean,
A
let's
lot of
talk about
people's
the
high
game.
vote.
Yeah, it came
This
in a
game
lot
is
of
really
like
fucking
3rd,
good.
4th, 5th.
Where did I put it?
Bench.
Mine was. I had it
Well.
a second. Well,
Bench. There we go.
Fourth
it's
or
the first
fifth?
one. You put it number 4.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
there's a
as
lot
many
of number
before.
4s and 5s and stuff. So that it
That
just
checks
added
out.
up. All right.
I mean, to me, Spider-Man. To talk about Spider-Man 2 real quick without just the voting. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just this is an absolutely incredible
It's
game.
good.
I think it nails everything a sequel needs to do. I will say I still prefer Spider-Man 1, just
Yeah,
mainly because
same.
of the story. But I do overall think Spider-Man 2 is a very worthy successor, and Listen, as a Venom fanboy, they did my boy justice. I'm fine with that. That's all that matters to me.
It's very good. I feel like it's the game not deservingly so, but like there's been a lot of backlash in the media of like fanboys and stuff being like Spider-Man 2 didn't win a single Game of the Year award. It hasn't won a single
No.
award like ever. But it just wasn't gonna happen in this year. Like I'm sorry,
Not
like
this
as
year.
good as Spider-Man 2 was, when you have generational games in Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom, and then you have a game like Alan Wake that drops out of nowhere and is getting 10 out of 10s, like Spider-Man had no chance, which sucks because Insomniac somehow never brings an award home. Like they're 0 for 26 at the
That's
GAs. They've never won a
Jeez.
single award.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think when they've made 2 Spider-Man games and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and they've not won a single award. It's just like it just happens. It's the way the
So
dice rolls.
crazy. Now, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I don't know. This is like Insomniac. Just like they just get me. They know what I like about a video game, and traversal is one of the big things. And the way
They're
the
so
traversal was perfected.
they're so good at making 9 out of 10s. Like 9 out of 10, they just can't break the 10 out of 10 like barrier yet. And it's just like when will it happen?
Oh, they
Spider-Man
did that.
3.
They did that in 2009 Fusion with
I'm-
Ratchet and Clank Future:
okay.
A Crack in Time.
Fair, maybe.
I know
I'm
what you
talking
mean, I know
about
what
like
you mean.
yeah, like a modern, like with TGA, like when people are actually giving out game awards and like they just can't break the numbers for some reason. They're always so close, but I just think their narratives are never strong enough.
All right. So coming in at number 2 with 56 points,
Pikmin 4.
Legend of Zelda Tears of the
Wow.
Kingdom.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh my
I'm not
god, I
on
know
my
what
knees
number
anymore.
1 is.
Yep.
I know what number
Yep.
1
Okay,
is.
okay. Talk about Tears of the Kingdom though.
Number one is
Listen,
crazy.
no, fuck.
That's insane.
I thought this was for sure number 1. Oh, Bench is on his knees in Walmart right now.
He's next to me. We're in the milk aisle.
Yeah,
Bench is
it
gonna
is.
die when he sees what the next game is.
I know what it is. It's Hi-Fi Rush.
Okay.
Oh, shush. No, we don't. We don't know what the next game is.
So I'll start off with Tears of the Kingdom. This was my number 1.
It was mine as well.
I just the experience I had with this game was so meaningful to me this year. Like just every day loading it up, having new shrines and new objectives to go do, and just like making my way through the map and just all the unique ideas that went on in this game. Like I cannot speak enough to just how incredible it was. And then you add like stuff like the temples and the big set pieces and the big like story moments, and it just all came together so well. And there's so many moments of like, oh, this is how I can get this to work, like with all the puzzles and everything. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe this is the idea they had for this shrine or whatever. It was just so unbelievably well done. I can't sing enough praises about Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an incredible. It's an impossible game. It shouldn't exist for the stuff you can do and the way this game works. It was mind blowing for the almost 100 hours I put in, and it's easily like one of my favorite games of all time.
I thought it was your favorite game of all time. You said that outright. Is
I
it
mean,
not?
it's probably number 1, but I haven't looked at a list of
Oh,
stuff
fair
out
enough.
in a while. So
No, this was my number 2. It was my number 1 for most of the year. I thought it was untouchable.
This was
To
my
me,
number
like,
one too.
yeah, no, I mean, like Tears of the Kingdom just kind of like, as a person who really loved Breath of the Wild, I think Tears of the Kingdom just takes everything that Breath of the Wild did and improves upon it in every way possible. It's just those moments that really hit you. And I still think about the moment I knew this game was a 10 out of 10 was I just saw a big ass cliff and I was like, I don't know what the hell to do about this. And then I just saw like a random grate and an air balloon. And then I created a fire, put it in that air balloon, and it connected to the grate. And I used it as a makeshift elevator. And I just said, just out loud, it's like, this is one of the greatest games of all time. And it's just that ultra hand, fuse, all these abilities. That's the part of the game that got to me because it is this creativity, this level of excitement, just in the mind, the insane levels of possibilities. And as someone who loves dungeon crawling, an entire third of the map they just didn't reveal up until the game's release, the depths. And just going around that place, I know a lot of people didn't love it. I fucking adored it. I just loved dungeon crawling, seeing my way through this place. To me, it exemplifies everything that I love about video games. And Tears of the Kingdom is so close to being my number one. Like Baldur's Gate 3 and Tears of the Kingdom are literally neck and neck for me. So I just want to point that out.
This game had the infamous Fallout moment where like you first see the world for the first time when you're falling down, and it is utterly incredible. At that point, I was like, man, they really did it. Because this game was in development for so long, so it finally coming out was amazing. And then we got confirmation that this is how Zelda games will be going. This is like the formula now, whether it be physics engines and stuff. So this game did so much right.
All right.
Hold on, let me. As someone who loves Zelda,
Oh my god!
Okay.
Shut
I
up!
would
Get
just
to number
like to
one.
say,
Yo, name 10 Zeldas.
I
Don't
anyways,
try.
this was a good game, man. That's all I gotta say. It just
The
wasn't.
mention of
It wasn't good
Ultra
enough
Hand
to be won.
The mention of Ultra Hand just makes me think we should have like a game mechanic category next year.
Oh, I want.
I mean,
that,
like
yeah.
every
Real-
single of like the mechanics in Tears of the Kingdom could have just been their own game for how
I mean,
much they worked.
one of my favorite moments was going through the tutorial, and in my head, I'm like, what if I just cut a bunch of logs and stuck them together with
No,
Ultra
I
Hand?
did that, bro.
And the game was like, yeah, go ahead, do that. And I just created this giant log where to the point where it's like, yeah, you can't add any more logs. And I just used that to get through the tutorial island. And it's just that level of experimentation. I love when a game it's the same reason I love Baldur's Gate 3. It's like, can I do that? And the game's like, yeah, go ahead. And yeah, no, Tears of the Kingdom deserves this.
All right. Well, we've reached the end of the Soggy Award ceremony, and with a total of
Let's
64
Go
points,
Pikmin 4,
Wow, my
baby.
gosh.
is your Soggy Game of the Year is
God
Hi-Fi
damn.
Rush.
This is so based.
No,
I am
it's not.
shocked.
So here's
I'm
the
very
fun thing
happy.
about Hi-Fi Rush. It was the only game that was on everyone's list.
Mm.
This is the
We just
same
pulled a
thing with
kind of
Kinda
funny in
Funny.
2021.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing with Rift Apart winning that year.
And
Wow.
also, fun fact of me counting the votes here. So when everyone was voted except for Fusion, he hadn't had his ballot in yet. Tears of the Kingdom and Hi-Fi Rush were tied.
You guys are
Wow.
welcome.
And I knew he wasn't going to be voting for Tears of the Kingdom. So
You just saved it.
Fusion.
Wow.
And so, yeah, the complete point difference between Tears of the Kingdom and Hi-Fi Rush is all from Fusion.
Yeah, that'll be targeted by Binks. You shouldn't have made this public.
I mean,
All right. I mean, we've talked a lot about
the
Hi-Fi
most
Rush. I don't know if there's not much
disturbing
else to
game
say.
of the year. Like,
I mean,
listen,
Yeah, go
it
ahead,
got
Wolf.
snubbed. Yeah, no, I mean, like, we all talk about how it got snubbed, and
Yeah.
I'm just happy that it won something. Because, like, this
It
is
won
a
the
game
most
of the
important.
year any other year. Any other year. This was just too strong of a year for games. But Hi-Fi Rush, to me, like, I've said it before, it is a Saturday morning cartoon as a video game, and they fucking nail that aesthetic to the highest degree. I love the boss fights. I love the combat. And I just want to exemplify. Rhythm games are one of my favorite genres, and action games are one of my favorite genres. And they said, hey, what if we just combine your two favorite genres together? And it works. It just fucking works. It's like these two genres that shouldn't be combined, but they combined them and said, you know what, we can make it work. And they fucking nailed it. I absolutely love this game. This is 100% deserving to win Game of the Year.
I think it
Well,
also just speaks to like how many categories like throughout this whole night that it was nominated in. Like, you know, as much as I love Zelda and it was my number one game of the year, the only category it got nominated was by mistake. Like, you know, I think Hi-Fi Rush just does so many things right, and just the charm of the game, how unique it is, how it just came out of nowhere.
Literally nowhere.
Yeah, like I really did I really did enjoy my time with it, and honestly, I'm really glad I replayed it late last month because it actually did slip a little bit, not enough to affect the outcome at all, but it did slip to like 4 or 5, I think by the end of the year, and I was like, I need to replay this because it's been so long for me, and replaying, I was like, oh no, this really is like that good of a game, and yeah, I even though like I put way more time in Tears of the Kingdom, I think Hi-Fi Rush will ultimately be a game I will go back to and replay like probably once a year, and B, just have hold a high reverence for me. Like I even bought the plug to Bethesda's website. They sell the mural in the game as like a poster.
Oh, fuck off! Give me a link. Give me a
Oh,
link.
Yeah,
think I need that.
I can post it later. It is one of the coolest thing that is like hung up in my apartment. I just it's awesome. I love this game so much. I'm so glad it won something.
I'm gonna jump in real quick and just say, this makes me so happy in a year where we had like 100-hour Baldur's Gate, 100-hour Tears of the Kingdom, like all these games that were just so large and massive on scale and like took 50, 60, 70 hours to play, and Hi-Fi Rush comes in at like 10 hours, and it's just the total package of just like dropped out of nowhere,
Perfectly paced.
perfect. Like it's such a good game to see. Like, hey, we had all these absolute crazy high budget stuff. They're not always the best game of that year. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to see like this obviously isn't an indie by any means, but it's closer, you know what I mean, than a lot of things that came out this year. So it's like it's just cool to see a lower budget, smaller scale game be like, hey, we dropped more games in the industry need to be like Hi-Fi Rush.
Definitely not what I would have picked. However, it is still definitely a great game that I just really enjoyed all the way throughout.
Bruh, to hit the
Yeah.
snide, I would have picked
I
it,
wouldn't But yeah, it would sat in most people's around 4, 5, 6 range, and
It was number
but
6 for me.
but me and one other person put it as number 1. I can't remember who it was.
Whoa, wait, Moon, it was your goating?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you, you're cool. I wish I was as cool as Moon, honestly. I put stinky ass Baldur's Gate 3.
So, but I did
Triple
throw
A
in a couple like
knob.
so. If we're done singing the praise of Hi-Fi Rush, I did throw a couple extra slides in here,
Oh,
so we could just
real quick,
quickly go over them.
did
So 13th through 20th, we
Oh
can go
wow.
through Lies of P, Star Wars Jedi, Persona 5, Diablo 4, Fire Emblem Engage, and Pikmin 4 tied at 10
Hey,
points.
Pikmin's
this
out
is
there, bro.
fucked. This is fucked. Where are these Fire Emblem fans coming from?
Yeah, well,
Pikmin 4.
yeah,
I want to point out Pikmin 4 is literally just the best Pikmin game. They just made the best Pikmin game. They just did that, and
I
then
just
it's
haven't
not even
played
on
it
the
yet.
I wish Lies of P was higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's funny, that's also a result of Dark's change with Super Mario RPG. It would have been our number 12. Lies of P would have been our number 12.
That's
Oh,
funny.
fuck
you
you,
can't
Dark.
you can't trust this man ever.
Oh,
Fuck
what
you,
the
Dark.
I
I should have never given you Baldur's Gate 3.
I wouldn't have
Well, no
changed.
one shouldn't have given him Super Mario RPG. That's what changed everything.
Jedi was high up there.
Who rated
Yeah.
Metroid Prime? That's-
Cyber was the only one who voted for
Cyber.
Metroid Prime.
Gotcha.
I gave him
I
8
would've,
points.
Yeah,
That's
I was gonna
alright.
say that looks like one person voting for it.
Cassette Beasts. Real quick, I want to point that out.
Oh, wait.
Look at
Cassette
Dredge.
Beast.
Who
Yeah,
else
one
voted for
per-
Cassette Beasts? Was it
Probably
just
me and
Bob?
Dark.
I don't
Or
think
no,
Dark-
maybe not Dark. Maybe it was just me.
Yeah, I think it was just you.
Yeah, it was my number 6 game. So that
Jedi
checks out.
Survivor, Jat and what is that guy's name? Fusion. You guys were like surprised it wasn't on the list.
Yeah,
What is that
I
guy's
really
name?
was, but then I
Yeah.
remember you and Binks like hated it, but I
I
thought
did
it
not
hate it,
hate
it
it.
just-
What the hell?
It was just 7 out of 10. It was disappointing.
did it make your
It
list?
was-
Binks?
Underwhelming.
It didn't make mine. I'll tell you that. It's a fine game. Like it's just like I don't know. To me, it was like Jedi Fallen Order was so good, and I feel like Survivor didn't follow up enough for
I
me.
just thought it was a
personally.
lot better, but I respect where it
Then
is.
yeah, 21 through 28.
I think Dregs get
Could-
last.
The
No, it's not last.
Cocoon
We have one more page.
disrespect.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Oh.
Dreg is a survivor.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dredge-
Cocoon.
like a Dragon Gaiden, I think I was the only one that
Yeah,
picked.
you were the only one who voted for that. We actually had
I
2
wish I
people
voted.
vote for Hogwarts Legacy, and it only managed to scrounge up 5 points with 2 people.
Yeah, bro, that was me and you, dude.
Yeah,
I'll take
it
it
was
with
us.
pride. I'll take it with pride.
That
That's a good
Fusion got
game.
the same taste. Holy shit.
It's a good
Fusion,
game right
Fusion
there.
were the only ones who voted for Stray Gods.
Hey, Stray God should have been higher. That's a great game.
Wait, Bop, you were with me on Cocoon, right?
Yes, Cocoon was 11th.
Hey, I put Cocoon
for me.
also.
Yeah.
Fusion, don't try to get in.
I just did. It was 12.
It's
but
kind
it
of
was
weird.
there.
And then yeah, it looks
Fusion's
like I
like-
was the only person who voted for the finals.
Yeah.
And then,
but,
oh yeah, I forgot about. Let's go back to the previous one. I forgot to mention. I just want to anger Wolf some more.
Oh my god.
So Fire Emblem Engage originally had 11 points because it was Dark's number 12,
Hey,
But
Dark,
because
I hate you.
of Super Mario RPG, it knocked Fire Emblem Engage off his list, so it got no points from Dark. So it then tied for Pikmin.
Who
Hey,
voted
Dark, I
for
hate you.
that? Because I wasn't on my
Wait.
list.
Wolf, if I would have put it higher, it would have been like above.
Yeah, it would have been above. So
It's
You should be
incredibly
praising
above,
him.
isn't it?
No, it's tied. They're just like they're
Oh, I
both at
didn't
10.
look at the points. Isn't it crazy? Again, they just made the best Pikmin game. I want to point that out again. All of those points are me because it was my number 3. They just made the best Pikmin.
and then here are all the 1 pointers.
Yeah, I
everyone's
drank
bottom
his
of the
better
list.
than these games.
Okay,
Remnant, woo!
you guys want me to be completely honest?
You forgot.
F099 is only on my list at number 12 because then I would have had to give Jedi Survivor a point.
Oh
That's
wow.
insane. That's insane.
That's
That's
so I said
disgusting.
I like to. I have a more positive opinion on F099. That was a really fun game.
You probably played 12 minutes.
I did not. You look at my Switch online. You can check it out right now. I played it for like 2 hours, probably
I'm just
3 hours.
You don't understand how thrilled I am. Dragged was it not last?
Wait, are there 2 more games?
No, that's it.
Oh, it says 33rd. That's why.
That was from my original copy.
Gotcha.
I had to change that.
When
Yeah,
I
'cause
get
originally I split up the ties, and I
Right.
decided to put the ties in the same spot.
That
Gotcha.
makes sense. Yeah.
Fusion, I want to say I want to put.
for making the list because he did this.
Yeah. Shout out.
Nobody
Moon for
asked him.
Shout out
Yeah,
to
Took a lot
Moon.
of time.
Enjoy
Shout out
Moon.
to Moon.
Yeah.
And then I guess you can say shout out to Wolf for the doc.
This is
every week.
insane.
I guess. Maybe.
Look.
I don't know.
I think after
lot of
listen, Bench was gonna say all these nice things about me, and then I went a little
Yeah.
too hard on FF16.
A lot
No,
of these podcasts throughout the entire time we've been doing this have been solely off of the backs of me putting in extra hours every day. When
cut
we're
out.
tired, they put in a lot of
Very
hours
cool.
and they're doing a lot of
I
work.
mean,
behind the
listen,
scenes.
I do it because it's fun. I like
It is
video
fun.
games. I like talking about video games. Like I like just putting up these docs. Like they're a ton of fun, even if no one reads them. I have a blast making them. So yeah, it's just
Yeah,
like
I mean-
this is the best medium of entertainment. And I think just like looking at this year of games, this exemplifies why video games are number 1 for me.
We just haven't done a show in a month, and it's kind of disappointing because I've played a lot of really good games that I want to talk about.
Yeah, you
well,
don't get
we're
to
coming
talk
back.
We'll
I think
talk
it's
to
the
in 2
same.
weeks.
I think it's the same
wanna
for
go to
all
bed.
of us.
Shout out Hi-Fi Rush,
know.
man.
Yeah, shout out to Hi-Fi
I
Rush.
feel Rush
So,
is one,
This
yeah.
is so based. I cannot believe this one.
It's so sick.
I had to
I
sit on this
can't believe it.
information for a week in
Hey,
the
it won by a
Discord.
majority of points. Like it won by like 7 or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I thought by certainty that Zelda would win.
Oh, yeah, I was
like,
convinced.
too.
Zelda win.
I was convinced. I was like, Zelda's first, and Alan Wake might have a chance at second. Well, no, it goes down.
Yeah,
a
we
little
were
bit,
talking. We were talking about it, me, Fusion, and Moon. We were like, oh, like Alan Wake might be on all of our lists, but he didn't even think about Hi-Fi Rush, which is just funny to think about. Just that is a high quality game.
Doing a slice of anime returning soon.
Pikmin
Yeah, so I
4
guess
is
I'll
better
just start
than
plugging
all these
everything, so-
games.
We're just going to plug now that next week is another special episode. It's technically like a regular podcast episode, but it's a special episode. We're going to be discussing our most anticipated, not only like a ranking system like we did with our Game of the Year here, but also our fantasy critic draft will also be part of that. So it'll be a nice twofer for that. And then the week after that, we'll be returning back to the regular podcast of news, because hopefully some news will happen by then. So hopefully tune in for that, and Slice of Anime will be returning as well
Wolf,
to its
do you wanna-
bi-weekly
And
schedule.
real quick, I want to say, like, after the anticipated episode, we're gonna do kind of like a big predictions for Microsoft, Nintendo, and PlayStation. Not for like, it's like it's gonna be separate weeks. So like, first is probably gonna be PlayStation, then Nintendo, then Xbox. Really excited for that because I want to look at these companies and see like what we're working with.
Yeah. The
coming
next
up.
3 normal episodes of the podcast will have a special topic in them of discussing each company individually each week. So that'll be good.
Make sure
to tune in.
like, subscribe, share, follow, rate.
YouTube,
whatever, 'cause-
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, Audible.
We're growing,
And
and
check
we
out the
hope to
Twitter account.
continue to keep doing this. We hope there be at least a second Soggies for sure.
So
I will
thank you
say-
all
One
for
of us is gonna die.
I will say just real quick, as the scummy part timers, I appreciate that you guys let me come on and get to talk about games with you and stuff. It's always a lot of fun to be on these, and I really enjoyed tonight. I think tonight was like a really good episode, even though is this our longest one?
It's
Yes.
probably our
Without
longest.
Yeah.
question.
I mean, thanks again for Jat, Bop, Cyber, and then other guests, Beef and Navi. for
Other
all-
guests, Beef
Yeah.
Hammer and Navi. That is insane. Other guests, hey, Beef Hammer
They're
and
just-
Navi. Thank you guys.
I've never
Yeah,
been on a
like, y'all
podcast with them, so it'd be
contribute.
cool.
Y'all
Because
bring
you're
your,
always late.
give us your y'all give us your time, and we literally ask for nothing, and y'all still show up, and y'all are all great hosts.
Yeah, it's not like we're getting paid. So
Yeah.
the fact that you
Yeah.
guys showed up it means a lot.
But you guys are like incredible podcast hosts, and even like not on the episodes, I still love listening like every week, and yeah, it's just a fun podcast for me to look forward to.
And our listeners. Shout outs to our listeners as well. Just the
Yes.
fact that you guys watch us, even though we're so tiny. It's like, well, you know what? We're on our way. I think next year we're gonna pass Kind of Funny in subscribers, and then after that is PewDiePie. And I think
I
we can
agree.
win from there.
Hope you all enjoyed
Armored
the first
6
annual
snob.
Soggies. We hope to be doing this again next year, as well as some other plans of little special events like this that we hope to do. That will be a lot of fun. So thank you for tuning into this super long episode, but I think it was definitely worth it. We had a nice conversation the whole way through, a lot more than I thought we would, especially on those topics. So as we all said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Have a good night. Say good night, everyone.
Have a good
Good night.
Not a hi-fi rush.
Hi-Fi Rush.